scroll. Xiao Yanhe nodded repeatedly, saying, "Disciple will definitely live up to master's expectations, he. Master is the best to me." Lu Zhu frowned, scolding her. So improper. Xiao Yanhe sat cross-legged, starting to consolidate her cultivation. Lu Zhao folded his hands and walked out of the room, and the others retreated when they saw this. Lu Zhao walked straight towards Ye Tiangxin, the corners of her mouth still stained with blood. Ye Tiangxin was supported by 2 female cultivators, looking very tired and weak, and her aura was extremely fragile. Seeing Lu Zhao, Ye Tiangxin quickly knelt down and said, "Disciple knows she was wrong. Disciple should not have acted on her own authority. Master, junior sister Tiangxin was also worried about little junior sister. That's why she acted on her own." Ming Shiyin suddenly pleaded for Ye Tiangxin. "Master, junior sister Tiangxin also acted on her own because of little junior sister." Zhu Honggong, standing nearby, hurriedly echoed, "Fourth senior brother is very reasonable. Please consider it, master." Zhao Yue didn't dare to speak, only kneeling down silently. All the disciples were kneeling in front of Lu Zhu. Ye Tiangxin's heart stirred slightly, and she didn't know why she suddenly mustered up the courage to say, "Master, disciple is willing to return to the Demon Heaven Pavilion. I beg master to grant my wish." Ye Tiangxin kowtowed to the ground, earnestly pleading. Zhao Yue suddenly saw something. Turning back to see Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin kneeling down, and Zhu Honggong kowtowing to the ground, the entire courtyard fell silent. Lu Zhao's gaze turned to Ye Tiangxin. Lu Zhao looked at the disciples kneeling before him, without saying a word, his gaze shifting from Ye Tiangxin to Pan Zhong, and he called out, "Pan Zhong, this junior is here." Lu Zhao casually asked, "Suppose you wanted to return to the Pure Clarity sect. Would the Pure Clarity sect agree?" Pan Zhong immediately expressed his loyalty. "Pavilion master, this junior has already entered the Demon Heaven Pavilion, and will absolutely not have 2 hearts. If it weren't for the Pavilion master giving this junior the 6 Yang skill, I'm afraid this junior would still be enduring the torment of Ying Cold Qi. This junior lives as a person of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, and will die as a ghost of the Demon Heaven Pavilion," Lu Zhu continued. "This old man said suppose." Pan Zhong questioned the word suppose. Pan Zhong scratched his head and said, "Don't even mention returning. I'm afraid I would be chopped into 8 pieces by the elders before I even crossed the threshold." Ming Xinyin glared at him. "Little brat, what crime did you commit that you don't even have a chance to repent?" Pan Zhong replied, "It doesn't matter whether I repent or not. The Pure Clarity sect has strict rules, and the elders in it are extremely conservative and rigid." Lu Zhao looked at Zhu Jifeng again. "Zhu Jifeng, what about you?" Zhu Jifeng understood Lu Zhao's question and replied, "Although the Heavenly Sword sect has kindness towards me, it also has an irreconcilable hatred. Even if I were willing to return, they would not accept me." Elder Hua, what about you? Hua Wudao seemed to have anticipated that Lu Zhao would ask him, so he clasped his hands and said, "Does the Pavilion Master want to hear the truth?" Lu Zhao then replied, "Of course. If I hadn't joined the Demon Heaven Pavilion, and was willing to return to the Cloud Sect, then the Cloud Sect should accept me." Ming Xinyin thought to himself, "After all, Hua Wudao is a 6-leaf expert, and has now broken through to 7 leaves. Such talent is well known wherever he goes, but once he enters the Demon Heaven Pavilion, there is almost no chance to return to the Cloud Sect." Everyone heard their conversation, and the disciples didn't dare to say a word. They didn't know what Lu Zhao was thinking. The only thing they could do was kneel down and plead for Ye Tiangxin. Ye Tiangxin understood all of Zhu Jifeng and Pan Zhong's answers, which made her feel even more uncomfortable. She obediently knelt on the ground, her 10 fingertips clinging tightly to the stones beneath. Betraying her master's sect, being ungrateful and rebellious, how was she different from Pan Zhong and Zhu Jifeng? She was even not as powerful as Hua Wudao. Lu Zhao coldly asked, "Ye Tiangxin, the matter of Yulong village has been thoroughly investigated. The Wei Zhuoyan who framed this old man is also dead. Do you have anything else to say?" Ye Tiangxin's body trembled slightly. She didn't dare to raise her head to look at Lu Zhu, only bowing her head to reply, "Disciple knows that her karma is heavy and cannot be forgiven." The expression on Lu Zhu's face remained calm. He coldly waved his hand. "The master-disciple relationship between you and me is over." Lu Zhao coldly turned his back. "You may leave." The 2 female cultivators standing nearby shouted loudly, "Pavilion Master." Hearing these words, Ye Tiangxin's heart trembled. The old subordinates saw her miserable appearance, and were also heartbroken. They were powerless to help. Ye Tiangxin sighed, looking towards Lu Zhu. "Disciple entered the sect to learn the arts at the age of 10, and master raised and taught me for 20 years, and bestowed upon me the Da Qing Huang. I dare not forget this kindness. Disciple has made a big mistake, and there is no way to return to the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Returning is just a dream. Master took revenge with kindness, investigated the truth of the matter at Yulong village, and killed Wei Zhuoyan, and I owe you another debt of gratitude." Saying this, Ye Tiangxin paused and kowtowed again. "Disciple bids farewell to master." She kowtowed 3 times continuously in front of Lu Zhao. No one stepped forward to stop her. Everyone just quietly watched her. Ming Shiyin originally wanted to plead for her, but Duan Musheng held him down. "Gotta know how to read the room. Going against master right now would be bad news." Ming Shiyin naturally understood this, and reluctantly shook his head. Lu Ni remained calm. Ye Tiangxin hadn't even gotten up after kowtowing. Lu Zhao raised his hand. The Da Qing Huang emitted a faint light, floating in the air. He gently waved his hand. "Considering your merit in saving Xiao Yan'er, I grant you the Da Qing Huang. Handle it well yourself." The Da Qing Huang flew towards Ye Tiangxin. Ye Tiangxin was extremely surprised. This was the weapon that had been with her for so long. The understanding had reached its peak. Even if Master destroyed it, she could only accept it. But unexpectedly, Master returned the Daqing Huang to her. A moment later, when Lu Zhao turned his head, Ming Xinyan thought to himself, even if Master destroyed Senior Sister's weapon, we could only accept it. But I didn't expect Master to return the Daqing Huang to her. When she got her weapon back, you could feel Senior Sister's spirit, energy, and vitality had a clear change compared to before. Ye Tiangxin circulated the weak yuan qi in her body, enveloping the Daqing Huang. When Ye Tiangxin held the Daqing Huang in her hand, everyone felt that her spirit, energy, and vitality had changed very clearly. Seeing this scene, Duan Musheng couldn't help but admire. The Daqing Huang is truly made for Tiangxin's senior sister. But thinking about it, his overlord spear wasn't bad either, and he felt balanced again. He turned his head to look at Ming Xiyin. Hey, poor fourth junior brother. You can be happy to forget yourself, even with a useless piece of junk with no outstanding characteristics. Hua Wudao sighed. It can be seen that this child is repentant, but I still agree with the sect leader's actions. Betraying your master and destroying your ancestors is unforgivable by both gods and men. At first, Ming Xiyin wanted to say a few words of pleading, but Hua Wudao's words choked him back. Oh well, you're leaving anyway, it's useless to say more. Ming Xiyin cupped his fist and said to Lu Zhao, Master, this disciple would like to see Tiangxin's senior sister off. After all, we were once siblings. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. Go? Yes, thank you, Master. Ming Xiyin then rushed down from the high platform. On the way, he stepped on a bird's head, which squawked. Immediately after, he stepped on a dog, which barked. Ming Xiyin stepped out of the south pavilion and saw the female cultivators of Yanyu Palace gathered there. He frowned slightly. What are you doing? The female cultivators of Yanyu Palace all stopped. They didn't forget to salute, Fourth Immortal. One of the female cultivators bowed and said to Ming Xiyin, We are very grateful to Fourth Immortal for helping us before, and also very grateful for taking care of us during this time. My sisters and I have followed the Palace Master for many years. Wherever the Palace Master is, we will go. Ming Xiyin was speechless, loyal and righteous, but too stupid. The female cultivators said yes. Ming Xiyin ran down the mountain, catching up with Ye Tiangxin. Ye Tiangxin turned around in confusion. Fourth senior brother, junior sister, don't blame Master for being ruthless. You saw the situation just now. Senior brother already pleaded for you. Saying that, Ming Xiyin turned to look at the female cultivators, then pointed. You don't plan to rebuild Yanyu Palace, do you? Fourth senior brother's meaning is, Ming Xiyin continued, your cultivation hasn't recovered yet. If you take them around, you will easily attract attention. Ye Tiangxin nodded slightly. She can't even protect herself now. How can she swagger around like before? Ming Xiyin smiled. Don't be so down, Master didn't kill you, and even solved Wei Zhuoyan. This is a great kindness. Moreover, Master only told you to leave just now, but didn't say anything about expelling you from the sect. This shows that Master is not so heartless. Since being brought back to the Demon Heaven Pavilion, Ye Tiangxin hasn't had much contact with Maester, so how would she know that his personality has changed a lot? She asked blankly. Fourth senior brother means I still have a chance. Of course, Ming Xiyin nodded and said, I will keep an eye on things for you. Master is probably still angry, that's why he's like this. Hopefully that's it. Ye Tiangxin's expression improved. Ming Xiyin then said happily, Besides, you saved little junior sister, and Master loves little junior sister the most. I will find a way to persuade little junior sister to say a few good words for you. Ye Tiangxin nodded. Thank you, fourth senior brother. We are fellow disciples. No need to say thank you. Ming Xiyin told Ye Tiangxin, Don't take the main road. Take the small road. Also, don't show yourself before your cultivation recovers. At the same time, the female cultivators also arrived. Ye Tiangxin turned to the female cultivators. The aura on her body instantly became noble and cold. Although I regard you as sisters, following me will be dangerous. Stay in the Demon Heaven Pavilion and take good care of Master for me, Palace Master. The female cultivators immediately knelt down. Ming Xiyin thought to himself, Tiangxin's senior sister was originally a cold person, and her whole aura has become noble and cold. Ye Tiangxin saw the sisters who had followed her for many years kneeling down. She sighed softly but didn't say anything more, just bowed deeply to them, then turned and went down the mountain. Ming Xiyin saw that the female cultivators still wanted to say something, so he said, Saying you guys are stupid is really no mistake. The young man came to the female cultivators and said with a smile, Just do whatever she tells you to do. The female cultivators were stunned. At the same time, in the courtyard of the South Pavilion, Hua Wudao sighed softly. It can be seen that this child has repented and is remorseful. It's a pity. Duan Musheng said, Master, 6th junior sister's cultivation has just recovered, and she was injured again from the backlash of helping Zhao Yan'er, letting her leave Golden Court Mountain like this. I'm afraid she will be in danger. Lu Zhao glanced at Duan Musheng and said, Then that is her fate. Zhu Honggong gently nudged Duan Musheng's back, signaling him not to say anything more. Duan Musheng took a step back and stood obediently. Lu Zhao pondered. Just like they said, Ye Tiangxin is very weak now. With her status as a commoner, once she leaves the Demon Heaven Pavilion, there will be many people who want to eliminate her. But Ye Tiangxin was able to achieve the position she is in today. If she doesn't even have the means to hide, then it's a waste of the Demon Heaven Pavilion disciple name. Even a divine tribunal realm cultivator like Old Eighth could set up a stronghold at Menghu Mountain peacefully until he was brought back to the Demon Heaven Pavilion, so how could a shrewd person like Ye Tiangxin have problems? Lu Zhao instructed. Remember to take care of Zhao Yan'er, disciple obeys. Lu Zhao returned to the Demon Heaven Pavilion and entered the secret chamber. He sat cross-legged, ready to comprehend the heavenly book. Before starting, Lu Zhao opened the mission interface in the mission list. Teaching disciples didn't include Ye Tianxin at all. But what's done is done, no use overthinking it. He opened the heavenly book interface at Sugre. He'd memorized the entire content of the Ren character scroll. Except for the chicken scratch symbols, Lu Zhao wasn't sure if any new content had appeared. He scrolled down to check. Having attained the sound, one reaches thorough understanding, therefore what can be understood cannot be spoken. Cannot be spoken. Dust like seas, at the end of countless worlds, all kinds of utterances of all living beings, one can surely distinguish and understand. Having attained the formless nature, one achieves divine powers, therefore one can move the fundamental essence, and go to the 10 directions of all killing grounds to benefit the multitude of beings. Having attained the exhaustive future, one achieves divine powers, therefore one understands that the future cannot be spoken like dust, the events of countless kalpas. Still the same content, nothing added or removed, and still utterly incomprehensible. Comprehending the heavenly book had become a never-ending, cyclical loop. On the surface, it looked boring, but the benefits from comprehending the heavenly book were extremely obvious. This motivated Lu Zhao to continue comprehending, day and night. And when will this end? Staring at the chicken scratch text, unable to understand a thing, Lu Zhao shook his head slightly, and then entered the state of comprehension. Time flew by, and unknowingly, a day had passed. Early the next morning, Lu Zhao regained consciousness from his state of comprehension, immediately hearing a voice from outside. Master, your disciple has come to pay her respects. Lu Zhao slowly stood up, opened the door of the secret chamber, his eyes fixed on Xiao Yanhe, who was brimming with excitement. Xiao Yanhe was prostrating on the ground. As soon as she saw her master appear, she jumped up excitedly and said, Master, I can now cast the 100 Tribulation Insight with ease, look. She gently waved her hand, and a tiny 100 Tribulation Insight Dharma body appeared. The Dharma body flashed with golden light and then disappeared. Retracting and releasing naturally, Lu Zhu nodded with satisfaction. The nascent soul realm is truly entering the path of the strong. You must not be arrogant, Xiao Yanhe replied. Disciple understands. The Blackwood Lotus has tremendous medicinal properties, you just ate it directly. If not for Lu Zhao paused, then changed the subject. Swallowing the Blackwood Lotus like you did, your little life almost ended, Xiao Yanhe muttered. Master, I heard from senior brothers that it was senior sister Tianxin who saved me. Seeing that she wanted to plead for her, Lu Zhao snapped. Don't mention her again, I've already gone out of my way to help her. Xiao Yanhe didn't dare to say anything more. Lu Zhao clasped his hands behind his back and walked into the main hall. Apart from a few female cultivators sweeping, the main hall was empty. Lu Zhao was wondering. These female cultivators are so dependent on the Moon Reflection Palace. Ye Tianxin has left. Why are they still willing to stay here? Seeing Lu Zhao appear, the female cultivators put down their cleaning tools and bowed to Lu Zhao. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Lu Zhao nodded slightly and sat on the master's seat. Xiao Yanhe came to his side, her face full of flattery, massaging his back and shoulders, giggling. Let me massage your back, master. Let me rub your shoulders. Lu Zhao raised an eyebrow. Being so attentive for no reason, it's either mischief or evil. Lu Zhao reprimanded in a low voice. Speak your mind. What's with all the hiding and concealing? Xiao Yanhe held out her hands, smiling, and said, Master, it seems like you've forgotten something, haven't you? Lu Zhao raised his hand and flicked Xiao Yanhe's forehead. You little rascal. He naturally knew what Xiao Yanhe was talking about. Lu Zhao had promised Xiao Yanhe that as long as she entered the nascent soul realm, he would reward her with a weapon. Speaking of which, it was coincidental. If he hadn't casually bought time-limited treasures before, he really wouldn't know what weapon to give her now. Neither the life-severing saber nor the pile of junk in the secret chamber was suitable for Xiao Yanhe. Lu Zhao slowly raised his hand. A thought flashed through his mind, and a dazzling 5-colored glow shone forth. The fiery red Brahma celestial silk appeared in his palm. A pure red ribbon, more than 2 meters long, looked as radiant as a flame, and had dragon patterns. When Xiao Yanhe saw the Brahma celestial silk, her eyes widened, her mouth stammering. Master, what is this? Brahma celestial silk, a body-wrapping treasure, can be made longer or shorter depending on cultivation. Lu Zhao looked at Xiao Yanhe. You don't like it? As long as it's something master gives, this disciple likes it. Xiao Yanhe's eyes didn't leave the Brahma celestial silk. When she first saw it, she felt that it wasn't imposing enough. But the more she looked, the more she found it extraordinary. Then, Master bestows the Brahma celestial silk to you. Lu Zhao waved his hand, and the Brahma celestial silk rotated 360 degrees in his hand. The golden dragon patterns flickered, combined with the red light of the silk, forming a brilliant picture, flying towards Xiao Yanhe, and wrapped around her 3 times from the waist down. Xiao Yanhe exclaimed. After wrapping up, the light on the Brahma celestial silk suddenly disappeared. The system notified. Ding. Brahma celestial silk successfully recognized its owner, activating heaven grade status, rewarding 1,000 merit points. Xiao Yanhe was ecstatic. She grabbed the Brahma celestial silk and jumped around like a little monkey. Thank you, master. Xiao Yanhe obtained the Brahma celestial silk. Overjoyed, bowed to Lu Zhao. Disciple will definitely not disappoint master's expectations, Lu Zhao. Lu Zhao waved his hand and said, The Brahma Celestial Silk has already recognized its owner. You must take this opportunity to practice and quickly familiarize yourself with it. Do not be lazy. Xiao Yanhair nodded repeatedly. Disciple will definitely practice well. After saying that, she couldn't wait any longer and rushed out of the Dark Heaven Pavilion. Lu Jiao nodded with satisfaction. He had high expectations for Xiao Yanhair's future. With her talent, it wouldn't be long before she surpassed the other disciples. He was about to return to the secret chamber to continue comprehending the heavenly book when he suddenly heard a scream outside. Ninth mister, no. Lu Jiao saw that Pan Zhang was bound by the Brahma Celestial Silk, flying past the door of the Dark Heaven Pavilion main hall. Lu Jiao transmitted his voice. No messing around. Yes. Xiao Yanhair stepped on the roof. Preparing to land on the ground, Lu Jiao shook his head slightly and returned to the secret chamber to continue comprehending the heavenly book. Outside the Dark Heaven Pavilion main hall, Pan Zhang was beaten black and blue by the Brahma Celestial Silk. The Brahma Celestial Silk, under the control of Xiao Yanhair, left Pan Zhang, flew around her once and gradually disappeared, leaving no trace. Xiao Yanhair scratched her head and said, "How about we go to the back mountain and try again? I'm still not used to using it." Pan Zhang immediately waved his hand. "Ninth mister, how can I be your opponent?" He kept begging for mercy, not wanting to be beaten by Xiao Yanhair anymore. Even if Xiao Yanhair hadn't broken through to the nascent soul realm, Pan Zhang wasn't stupid enough to spar with her. "You're so boring." Xiao Yanhair put her hands on her hips and said. Seeing this, Pan Zhang whispered, "Ninth mister, Brother Zhu has been studying swordsmanship recently and has achieved some success. He used to be the chief disciple of the Heavenly Sword Sect and was praised as a sword cultivation genius. Where is he?" "Back mountain." Pan Zhang immediately pointed towards the back mountain. He was still planning to praise Zhu Jinfeng a few more words. When he turned his head back, he saw that only an afterimage remained where Xiao Yanhair had stood. The real person had already flown towards the back mountain. Pan Zhang sighed and shook his head, saying, "Brother Zhu, sorry." He touched the wound on his face. Fortunately, it wasn't seriously injured. Ming Xinyin happened to fly by. Seeing Pan Zhang's bruised face, he stopped to ask, "Pan Zhang, what's wrong with you?" Pan Zhang bowed and said, "Greetings, fourth mister. I'm fine. I just accidentally fell while walking." Ming Xinyin wasn't stupid. How could a cultivator fall so badly? Ming Xinyin asked, "How can falling make you like this? Where's my little junior sister?" Pan Zhang looked towards the back mountain and said, "Ninth mister has obtained the heaven-grade weapon Brahma Celestial Silk and is worried about not having anyone to fight with. She must be going to Zhu Jifeng." Ming Xinyin asked in doubt, "What? Heaven-grade weapon Brahma Celestial Silk?" Pan Zhang clenched his fist and said, "How could I forget? Fourth mister and third mister, the two of you have extremely high cultivation and both have heaven-grade weapons for self-defense, which are very suitable for helping ninth mister test new weapons." Cough cough. Ming Xinyin landed on the ground, pretending to be nonchalant. "Finding third senior brother is enough. If you see little junior sister, tell her that I am busy with many things." After saying this, Ming Xinyin slipped away. "Remember, tell her that I'm busy with many things." Pan Zhang scratched his head, muttering the 4 words, "busy with many things." Wasn't he just about to go find ninth mister? Suddenly, a scream came from the back mountain. "Help!" Someone was accelerating and flying past. Pan Zhang's whole body trembled. As if understanding something, he seized the time to escape immediately. For the next 5 days, a green-haired female cultivator exclaimed on Golden Court Mountain, "Chickens flying and dogs running. The shadows of the Brahma Celestial Silk are everywhere. The chicken I raised doesn't even dare to lay eggs," the red-haired female cultivator said. "I heard that young Jia Zhu that has been..." "Shush, be quiet, don't talk anymore. You'll bring trouble on yourself." In the secret chamber of the Dark Heaven Pavilion, Lu Zhu was still peacefully comprehending the heavenly book. Unaware of the situation outside, Lu Jiao's Divine Court Realm sublimation stage had been consolidated. With a thought, he opened the information panel. Name: Lu Zhu. Race: human. Cultivation: Divine Court Realm sublimation. Merit points: 12,820. Dharma body: 7-star soul shift. Remaining lifespan: 6,249 days. Items: fatal strike card quantity: 1 damage immunity quantity, 1 fatal blow block quantity, 7 passive binding cage quantity, 4 refining talisman quantity, 2 zenith tian dao state, 1 white zalong has rested bin and azure jade shard number, 1 weapons, nameless life severing saber, fierce silver gong methods, 3 heavenly scrolls from the previous time. Lu Jiao had noticed that Bai Zi's rest period was complete. He calculated that Bai Zi needed about 5 days to rest after using his auxiliary abilities. This was an unexpected delight for Lu Jiao. Lu Jiao planned to see if there were any new item cards in the shop. Sadly, from top to bottom, they were all the same old item cards. Nothing more, nothing less. But that was fine too. At least these item cards hadn't gone up in price. The Jade Flute Fragment, Lu Zhu, opened the mission panel again to take a look. The teacher-disciple's mission was always there, but he still didn't know how to get rewarded with merit points for teaching. He couldn't just pointlessly nitpick and dig up their faults. The system definitely wouldn't allow such loopholes. Lu Jiao found some information about the Jade Flute Fragment in his mind. Too bad Jitian Dao never cared about the Jade Flute Fragment back then, and didn't bother with it even after losing it, leaving no clues behind. Maybe Elder Hua would know something. Lu Jiao slowly stood up. Suddenly, he frowned, thinking of something. He raised his right hand, and the unnamed sword appeared in his hand. He waved his left hand, and the Jade Flute Fragment appeared. If the jade flute fragment was a system item, could the unnamed sword cut it apart? For some reason, Lu Zhao felt like he had OCD in this area, wanting to test everything solid with the unnamed sword. Lu Zhao raised his hand. A flash of cold light appeared, and boom! To Lu Zhao's surprise, the jade flute fragment was cut in half, breaking into 2 pieces that fell to the ground. The cut was perfectly clean. The unnamed sword remained flawless, without a scratch. Finally, it was cut. Lu Zhu looked at the broken pieces of the jade flute fragment, and sighed in doubt. What a piece of junk. Even if you collected all 8 jade flute fragments, it'd still be a pile of garbage. Then why was the system making him collect them? Just as Lu Zhao was silently dissing it, the 2 cut pieces of the jade flute fragment slowly merged back together, restoring to its original form. What's this? Self-healing? Lu Zhao released a surge of astral energy, pulling the jade flute fragment back into his hand, carefully examining it, confirming that it was indeed perfect, without any cuts, as if it had never been cut apart. How interesting. Lu Zhu put away the jade flute fragment and turned to leave the secret chamber, entering the main hall of the Evil Sky Pavilion. He saw Ming Shi Yin pacing back and forth inside the main hall. When Ming Shi Yin saw his master appear, he hurriedly bowed. Disciple greets master. May master live 10,000 years. Seeing Ming Shi Yin's unusual attitude, Lu Zhu was speechless for a moment. Lu Zhu thought to himself, did he learn this flattery from old 8th, Zhu Honggong? Lu Zhu asked. What's the matter? Ming Shi Yin replied. Disciple has 2 things to report. One is that Pan Zhang has returned home to worship his ancestors. Disciple saw that master was resting and told him to go ahead. Hearing the words worship ancestors, Lu Zhao narrowed his eyes and repeated, worship ancestors. Ever since Pan Zhang cultivated the 3 yin arts, he was neither human nor ghost. He hadn't been home in 3 years. Now that he's learned the 6 yang arts, he's finally looking presentable, Ming Shi Yin said. It's just that he originally came from the Jingming Dao. Disciple is worried that once he leaves, the Jingming Dao won't let him off. Pan Zhang joining the Evil Sky Pavilion is like becoming a demonic cultivator. The Jingming Dao couldn't catch old 8th before, so how could they let Pan Zhang go this time? Lu Zhao nodded slightly. The Jingming Dao has allied with the Jingyi Dao. It's not unexpected. The Jingming Dao is on the second prince's side. I'm afraid Mo Li is stirring things up from behind the scenes. Master, Mo Li has always been targeting us. Why don't you just go to the divine capital and kill him directly? Lu Zhao replied. The Great Yan imperial family isn't as simple as you think. What's the second thing? Speak quickly. The second thing is related to little junior sister, Ming Shi Yin said with a smile. In 3 days, little junior sister will turn 16, which is adulthood. Disciple, along with 3rd senior brother, 5th senior sister, and 8th junior brother, have discussed doing something to make little junior sister happy. Lu Zhao sighed softly. Time really flew by. In the blink of an eye, little Yanner was almost an adult. Just then, outside the main hall, little Yanner and the others were filing into the Evil Sky Pavilion. Master, Pavilion Master! Lu Zhao's gaze swept over everyone, then suddenly frowned. He saw a white rice dumpling with a face beside him. It was Zhu Jifeng, who was covered in injuries from being little Yanhair's training dummy. Lu Zhao had to stare blankly because he didn't know why Zhu Jifeng was bandaged up like that. Lu Zhao asked, what happened to your injuries? Zhu Jinfeng hurriedly bowed and said, Pavilion Master, I was careless, and fell. Zhu Jinfeng was the most miserable, his eyes were swollen, and the female cultivators all had bruised faces. Little Yanner shrank her head and stuck out her tongue. Before they could answer, Lu Zhu shouted loudly, Nonsense! Little Yanner timidly said. Disciple was wrong. Lu Zhu thought to himself, she's going wild as soon as she gets the heaven-sundering orb, with no discipline at all. Lu Zhao shook his head. You're almost 16 and still don't know better, acting like a mess. You even dare to hit your senior brothers. There's no discipline at all, and with Duan Musheng's cultivation base, how could he not beat little Yanner? She has no senior brothers in her eyes. That's disrespect, and who knows, she might be disrespectful to me later, Lu Zhu shouted. Kneel down. Thump thump. Zhu Jifeng instinctively knelt down in front of little Yan Chair, trembling and saying, Ninth senior, I was wrong. Zhu Jifeng's action left little Yan Chair, Duan Musheng, and Zhu Honggong all confused. Even Lu Zhao was speechless. Zhu Jifeng's kneeling was clearly a habit. He'd been bullied by little Yanjie countless times. Lu Zhu was displeased and said in a deep voice, Yanjie, kneel down. Little Yanhair was startled and immediately knelt on the ground. Only then did Zhu Jifeng realize what was happening. His face turned red with embarrassment, and he shuffled to the side. Lu Zhao scolded. Now that you're almost 16, you're an adult and should be sensible, not still a child. How dare you disrespect your senior brothers like that? Little Yanner pouted. From ancient times to the present, educating someone has always been a huge problem. Lu Zhao asked little Yanher to apologize. Ji Tiandao had neglected this, or perhaps he had special reasons for raising so many wicked disciples. Now that it was Lu Zhao's turn, he couldn't repeat the same mistakes. Little Yanher obediently turned around, looked at her senior brothers and sisters, and apologized. Senior brothers, senior sisters, Duan Musheng, simply waved his hand, indicating that it was nothing. It's just a small matter. I wasn't injured. I should have been the one guiding junior sister. Old Eight's face showed some embarrassment. It's okay. It's all what a senior brother should do. Zhu Honggong hurriedly covered his mouth. Wasn't he contradicting what Master was saying? Lu Zhu didn't pay attention to the opinions of the others. It's good that the senior brothers and sisters take care of little Yanner. It doesn't contradict my teaching her. After she apologized, Lu Zhou said, As your master, I'm punishing you to copy the Tai Ching Jade Scroll 100 times in the Jade Ripple Cave and reflect on your mistakes for 3 days. Everyone was startled. Little Yankoer was speechless after hearing this. Ming Shi Yin thought to himself, Master is really coming down hard this time. They had never seen Master punish little junior sister before. Why today? Little Yanner was also very shocked. A child who had never been beaten since she was young was suddenly given a heavy punishment, and she naturally felt wronged and aggrieved. But she still obediently replied, Disciple accepts the punishment. Little Yanner stood up and left the South Pavilion, with a bunch of little chicks following behind her. Lu Zhao looked around at everyone, seeing the unnatural expressions on their faces, and asked, Do you have any questions? Ming Shi Yin immediately said, Master, little junior sister is still young. She's not young anymore. Lu Zhao raised his hand, interrupting Ming Shi Yin. A 16-year-old is no longer considered a child. Seeing Lu Zhao's extremely resolute attitude, no one dared to plead for her anymore. Lu Zhao's gaze swept over everyone. Elder Hua was so startled his head went fuzzy thinking about Ming Shi Yin. He bolted out faster than lightning. He was originally going to bring up throwing a birthday bash for Zhao Yan'er, but forget about it now. Soon after, Ming Shi Yin and Hua Wudao entered the main hall of the Golden Court Mountain. Hua Wudao bowed respectfully to Lu Zhao, Pavilion Master. You called for me. Lu Zhao waved his hand, and the Biluo mystic glaze flew to Hua Wudao's face. Do you recognize this? Hua Wudao took the Biluo mystic glaze in his hand, and chuckled. Isn't this originally the Pavilion Master's thing? Heard that one year, the Golden Court Mountain's barrier vanished, and Yan Ziyun III from the Divine Thief sect stole it. True or false? Hua Wudao's face was all spill the tea. He was dying to hear Lu Zhao confirm the gossip. His expression was practically screaming. The mighty Golden Court Mountain got robbed by a petty thief? Lu Zhao casually replied. This old man never cared for the thing, tossed it around, no surprise it got stolen. Hua Wudao's jaw dropped, his eyes wide, then snapped shut. Other people are fighting tooth and nail for treasures, and in his eyes, it's just trash. Something just chucked carelessly on this land. I bet only the Golden Court Mountain's Pavilion Master would dare say something like that, Hua Wudao curiously asked. Pavilion Master, why are you asking about this? Lu Zhao flatly stated. Find it. Hua Wudao was completely baffled. If you consider it trash, why bother finding it back? Although Hua Wudao had his doubts, he didn't dare show it, It said the Biluo Mystic Glaze has 8 pieces, but I don't know where each piece is. Finding all of them will be super tough. Lu Zhao slightly nodded, not surprised. Hua Wudao not knowing was normal. Then, Lu Zhao said, instead of searching for a needle in a haystack, why not find the thief from back then, Yan Ziyun III? True that. The Biluo Mystic Glaze is considered a precious treasure to outsiders. It can't just disappear from the world without a trace, Hua Wudao said. But the Divine Thief sect disappeared from the cultivation world a long time ago. Finding Yun III now won't be easy. Lu Zhao pondered for a moment, then said, Ming Shi Yin. Ming Shi Yin, hearing his name called, replied, This disciple is here. Old Seventh's information network is spread across the entire world. Tell him to investigate Yun III's current whereabouts. At this, Ming Shi Yin was stunned. Old Seventh had already left the Golden Court Mountain, so technically he's a traitor. Asking a traitor to help them, is that a bit too much, Master? What if Old Seventh doesn't agree? Lu Zhao calmly continued. He's a smart one. He'll know what to do. Ming Shi Yin scratched his head. But the thing is, I don't know where he is. Zhu Honggong raised his hand. I know, Zhu Honggong happily said. Seventh Senior Brother's dark web is spread to every corner of Great Yan. Si Wuyai is also in Anyang City. He's super cunning. Anyone knows he intentionally left a point of contact for you. So Ming Shi Yin didn't need to ask again. He immediately dragged him away. I'll go send a flying letter right away. What are you spacing out for, old ape? Hua Wudao laughed heartily. It's said that the Golden Court Mountain's 7th disciple is sinister, cunning, and full of stratagems. Looks like that's all true. Even Ming Shi Yin can't find him, let alone anyone else. Lu Zhao nodded, saying, Old 7th is indeed very cunning. Hua Wudao asked. I've always been curious. From my observations lately, you're nothing like the heinous person from the rumors. Although there are some things I don't agree with, I can still accept them. How could someone like you cause your disciples to leave the Golden Court Mountain? When Hua Wudao asked this question, everyone looked over, especially Duan Wusheng and Zhao Yu. Zhu Honggong and Ming Shi Yin, after running a few steps, also turned around to look. Hua Wudao. Lu Zhao's expression remained calm. Lu Zhao casually replied, Elder Hua, you're talking too much. I have a stomachache, so I'll leave you with that. Hua Wudao realized he'd overstepped and hastily cupped his hands and retreated. Only after Hua Wudao left the main hall did Lu Zhao speak. Send a flying letter to Jiang Aijian. Tell him to investigate Yun III's current whereabouts. In a few moments, Ming Shi Yin dragged the tied-up bird in. Master, Jiang Aijian sent a flying letter. Lu Zhao questioned, why can this guy always happen to show up at the right time? Read it. Ming Shi Yin opened the flying letter and read, Senior Ji, I have missed you since we last parted. Senior Ji, your techniques are indeed masterful. Your trick of changing snakes is extremely awesome. This junior cannot resist clapping his hands. Ming Shi Yin tucked the flying letter under his arm and clapped, pat, pat, pat. Everyone looked up at him, their eyes filled with disdain, as if they were looking at an idiot. Just read it. Who asked you to clap for illustration? Lu Zhao didn't even care and just said, continue. 3 days later, Wei Zhuoyan went to Anyang City to quell the chaos by order. Mo Li and Yu Fei's forces all have intentions of getting involved. Winds and clouds gather. There are many things that can't be explained clearly in the letter. This junior wants to meet the old senior once, hoping for a reply. After reading it, Ming Shi Yin threw the letter wanting to faceplant the bird. Who does this Jiang Aijian think he is to demand a meeting with Master? Is Master someone he can just meet if he wants to? Zhu Honggong was dumbfounded and asked in a low voice. Fourth senior brother, who is this Jiang Aijian? Ming Shiyin contemptuously replied. The third prince of the Great Yan dynasty, Liu Chen. Jiang Aijian's real name is Liu Chen. At this time, somewhere, the name Jiang Aijian was being served and bathed by two girls, and the name Jiang Aijian yelled, Xia Chui. A girl said, Young maester, give us the sword to wash. Is all right, together, don't know, together do what here? Return to the Golden Court Mountain's main hall. Zhu Honggong heard Ming Shiyin read the flying letter, and then took out a super big green onion, old eight thought. This green onion seems a bit big already, Duan Wusheng asked. Hasn't Wei Zhuoyan's identity been exposed already? Ming Shiyin replied. The last time Jiang Aijian sent a flying letter notifying us of Wei Zhuoyan's location, and this time he knows Wei Zhuoyan is a fake. This shows that there are ears and eyes of his beside Wei Zhuoyan. Lu Zhuozhuo fell into deep thought. Jiang Aijian's intelligence will not be wrong, and Ming Shiyin's speculation is also very reasonable. Even if the important people in the palace know that Wei Zhuoyan is a fake, they will not publicize this matter. He is the commander of the three armies. If the military's morale is disturbed, then the overall situation will be over. So the one who wants to move against Wei Zhuoyan must be someone who wants to disrupt the overall situation. Could it be Yu Fei who wants to take this opportunity to mess with Great Yan? After all, she comes from the western regions. The motivation is the most obvious. Mo Liyan, even if he is at odds with Wei Zhuoyan, he is also a force of the second prince. They will not expose each other. Then who exactly wants to take Wei Zhuoyan's life? The more I think about it, the more confusing it is. Instead of sitting here guessing, why don't we meet him once to talk clearly? A female cultivator suddenly stepped into the main hall and bowed to report. From An is under the mountain, requesting an audience. Zhu Honggong thought for a moment. From An? What green onion is that now? Ming Xingyin scratched his head for a while and then slapped his forehead, saying, Master, I remember now. He's a clansman of little junior sister. He came here once before. Duan Musheng frowned and said, Could it be something happened again? Lu Zhao waved his hand to let him up. Yes, not wearing nice clothes. From An nervously and fearfully appeared in the main hall. He knelt down and stammered. From An pays respects to the old senior. Although From An had been to the Golden Court Mountain once, he still felt very nervous. And on the way he kept looking around as if he was afraid that a devil would jump out and kick him. Ming Xinyin asked, What's wrong? Did you get kidnapped again? No wonder when the Golden Court Mountain took disciples. The old man master laid down the rules. Once they enter the Golden Court Mountain, they must cut off with the past. Like little junior sister's clansmen, one thing after another happens. Who can deal with that? Maybe they will even be captured by the enemy as hostages to threaten us. It's the same with Pan Zhong. We have to warn him once he returns. From An waved his hands continuously. No, it's not being kidnapped, Ming Xinyin asked. Then what is it? Speak quickly. From An sighed and said, The old man and wife are planning to leave Anyang City, and the two are worried about the young miss, so before parting they want to meet the young miss one last time. Ming Xinyin folded his arms and asked, Do you know the rules of the Golden Court Mountain? From Anyang was scared to death. This little one knows. Ming Xinyin glared at him. You know, and you still dare to come. Ever since the incident in Xingyang City, the master and madam have always missed Little Miss. Coincidentally, Little Miss is about to turn 16, and the master and madam want to see her one last time. They definitely won't bother you again after this. Please, sect leader, have mercy. After saying this, Zhu An knelt down and kowtowed repeatedly. Lu Zhao found it strange. How could an ordinary person have so much courage as to repeatedly come looking for the evil sky pavilion? Speaking of which, it was odd that during the kidnapping in Xingyang Mountain, Master Shu was unconscious the whole time and didn't even get to see his daughter. But, according to the evil sky pavilion's rules, once you enter the sect, you must sever ties with the past. Sentimentality cannot be allowed to ruin the rules. If every disciple were entangled in so many worldly affairs, where would they find the mind to cultivate? But Lu Zhu wasn't in a hurry to refuse. Lu Zhao asked, Why did you leave? Shu An replied, Anyang City has been unstable recently. Murders have been occurring frequently, and it's said that foreign races have appeared. In the past, the Shu family had the protection of the government, but now they've all run away. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. Compared to the information from Jiang Aijian and Wei Zhuoyan, it was true that they were ordered by the royal family to pacify the chaos in Anyang City. So, Shu An wasn't lying. Shu An lowered his head, his whole body trembling. The main hall was extremely quiet. He secretly raised his head to glance at the number one devil of the time, then quickly lowered his head again. He didn't know what Lu Zhao was thinking, only that this kind of silence was too oppressive. After pondering for a long time, Lu Zhao finally waved his sleeve and said, See him out. Ming Xinyin cupped his fist towards Lu Zhao, and then turned to Shu An, gesturing for him to leave. Shu An raised his head, dripping with sweat. Sect leader didn't seem to have heard this person agree or disagree. Suddenly hearing see him out, he still hadn't come back to his senses. Ming Xinyin couldn't help but say, Still not leaving? Yes. Shu An hurriedly stood up. He followed Ming Xinyin out of the main hall. The others didn't leave either. At the same time, at the Darknet headquarters, in the main hall, a subordinate reported, Leader, the fourth senior brother of the Evil Sky Pavilion has sent a flying letter. Si Wu Yai slowly stood up, a hint of curiosity in his heart. What's the matter? He had been away from the Evil Sky Pavilion for many years, and the Evil Sky Pavilion had never contacted him. This was the first time, the subordinate reported. The outpost in Anyang City received information. The flying letter has been forwarded to headquarters. The Evil Sky Pavilion wants you, leader, to investigate Yun-san's current whereabouts. Si Wu-Yai asked again. Yun-san? Yes, the only heir of the Divine Thief sect, swallow Yun-san. Si Wu-Yai felt very strange. The Divine Thief sect hasn't existed for a long time. Now there's only Yun-san left. What does Master want him for? The subordinate quickly replied. This subordinate doesn't know. Yun-san, to put it nicely, is the heir of the Divine Thief sect. To put it bluntly, he's just a thief. What kind of figure is Jin Tiandao? How could he contact Si Wu-Yai for a thief? This made Si Wu-Yai unable to figure it out. The subordinate standing beside him couldn't help but say, I heard that Yun-san once stole something from the Evil Sky Pavilion. Could it be because of this? Si Wu-Yai nodded slightly and smiled wryly. Master, your heart is getting narrower and narrower. After all, the Darknet doesn't belong to the Evil Sky Pavilion. They have every reason to refuse. So, leader, should this subordinate investigate Yun-san? But Si Wu-Yai said calmly, just do as he says. He's old anyway. I just hope he can live comfortably in these last 10 years. This subordinate understands. The subordinate was about to turn and leave. Wait, please give your orders, leader. Si Wu-Yai clasped his hands behind his back and asked, has there been any movement from the Jingming Dao and the Zhengyi Dao recently? The Jingming Dao and Zhengyi Dao gathered at the Fierce Tiger Mountain but gained nothing. They returned empty-handed yesterday. They must be furious. Very good. Si Wu-Yai twirled the peacock plume in his hand. Is there any movement in the palace? Wei Zhuoyan has left the divine capital to pacify the chaos in Anyang City. Hearing this, Si Wu-Yai laughed loudly. A little fake is so brave. What should we do, leader? No need to pay attention to him, yes. On the other hand, spread the rumor that the heavenly silkworm hand sheath has appeared in Anyang City. The subordinate was immediately startled upon hearing this. Is it a bit of a waste to use this method to lure Yun-san out, leader? Si Wu-Yai analyzed. Yun-san is indeed a very skilled thief, but his vision is not ordinary. Master wants to find Yun-san. How can I, as his disciple, sit idly by? The heavenly silkworm hand sheath is the most suitable bait. This subordinate obeys. I'll go do it immediately. Back at the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhu Jifeng said to the female cultivator beside him, for the past 3 days, 9th Senior Brother has been busy copying the Grand Purity Jade Scroll. For 3 days, 9th Senior Brother copied in the South Pavilion, until his back ached and his hands were sore. At night, he goes to the cave to face the wall and repent. Fortunately, 9th Senior Brother is very obedient and accepts the punishment. No one else can help. Only Zhao Yue, Senior Sister, has been comforting 9th Senior Brother with a few words. How do you know? I guessed it. Zhao Yanhe fell asleep after copying the Grand Purity Jade Scroll. This was the 100th time she copied the Grand Purity Jade Scroll. After some time, Zhao Yanhe asked, Senior Sister, is Master really very angry? Zhao Yanhe said while organizing the 100 copies of the Grand Purity Jade Scroll. Master is doing this for your own good, so that you won't make mistakes in the future. Zhao Yanhe nodded to herself. Then how should I practice using the Brahma Sky Shroud in the future? Just practice, but you can't attack without distinguishing between superiors and inferiors. I won't say anything about you hitting Zhu Jifeng and Pan Zhong, but you even attacked your senior brothers and sisters so viciously. How could Master not be angry? You're right, I'll go easy on them next time. After Zhao Yanhe finished organizing the Grand Purity Jade Scroll, Zhao Yu said, Go, yes, Senior Sister. Wait for me to come back. I've already mastered the Brahma Sky Shroud. Zhao Yu hurriedly waved her hand, signaling her to leave quickly. Zhao Yanhe carried the 100 copies of the Grand Purity Jade Scroll towards the Evil Sky Pavilion. She walked on the small path, passing by corridors and pavilions, and then entered the main hall of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Seeing her master sitting on the chair in contemplation, Zhao Yanhe smiled softly and walked over. Disciple greets Master! Her small hands held the 100 copies of the Grand Purity Jade Scroll high, expressing her respect. Lu Zhao turned his head to look at Zhao Yanhe. Have you thought it through? Zhao Yanhe immediately replied. Disciple will definitely respect senior brothers and sisters and be filial to Master in the future. Lu Zhao was somewhat satisfied. It's good that you understand. If you repeat it in the future, I will never forgive you, Disciple understands. In the Evil Sky Pavilion, if she doesn't know her place, she still has senior brothers and sisters to protect her. But after she enters the world, on the treacherous path of cultivation, who will protect her? 500 years? 1,000 years? Lu Zhao couldn't be sure if everything would go as he thought. Would he be able to use the system's loopholes to be reborn? After discovering that item cards would increase in price, he became extremely cautious and didn't dare to use them casually anymore. Zhao Yanhe has reached her sweet 16, and her path of cultivation has just begun. Etiquette before knowledge, this saying has its own logic. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and asked, Yantre, you've turned 16. Do you have any wishes? Disciple only has one wish, hoping Master lives a long life. Her answer caught Lu Zhao completely off guard. Lu Zhao pondered and couldn't understand why Zhao Yanhe, barely 16, an age with so many desires for herself, would wish for someone else. After stroking his beard for a while, Lu Zhao pressed. Why, Zhao Yanhe replied, everyone says Master's great tribulation is coming, that you'll only live for 10 more years at most, but I don't believe it. They can all die of old age, but not Master. Hearing this, Lu Zhao finally understood and thought, this girl isn't inherently bad. From the start, This little disciple has helped him with many things. Now that she has entered the nascent soul realm and possesses a heaven-grade weapon, the Brahmalutian, how can he let her go astray? He must slowly teach her later, and there will be hope for the future. Lu Zhao continued, Yanzhe, do you remember your family? Xiao Yanzhe shook her head, retracting the Supreme Clarity jade slip in her hand. She didn't miss her family much. Perhaps it was because she was too young when she left home, having grown accustomed to life in the Evil Sky Pavilion for the past 6 years, so the concept of family was no longer clear. Then Xiao Yanhe replied, Master, disciple, and the Evil Sky Pavilion know the rules of this place very well. Lu Zhao sighed softly. You are not the same as your senior brothers and sisters. They suffered hardships from a young age with no one to rely on, so they have no ties. Just as the master and disciple were conversing, Ming Xiyin rushed in. Ming Xiyin, with a mix of joy and urgency, reported to Lu Zhao, Master, your predictions are divine. 7th senior brother has agreed to help us search for Yun San. Lu Zhao nonchalantly replied with a single word. Good. Ming Xiyin glanced at the little junior sister. Yan Ger, Master, Xiao Yan Ger, hearing Ming Xiyin's unfinished sentence, was confused, filled with question marks. Lu Zhao raised his hand to interrupt him. Send a flying letter to Jiang Aijian, arranging a meeting with him in Anyang City. Ming Xiyin hurriedly knelt down. Yes, Master. During this time, Lu Zhao appeared extremely cold. Ming Xiyin excitedly said to Xiao Yan'er, Little junior sister, quickly thank Master. Xiao Yan'er didn't understand what was going on, but obediently said, Thank you, Master. Lu Zhao waved his sleeve and turned to return to the secret chamber. Given his current situation, besides comprehending the heavenly writing, he could only draw lucky draws these few days. He had seen through the system's tricks. It seemed to enjoy playing him. He had accumulated 89 luck points, but hadn't seen a single reward. Forget it. Let's comprehend the heavenly writing for something practical. Lu Zhao closed the system interface and began the process of comprehension. Tedious! The densely packed words in seal script swirled incessantly in his mind. Damn. Time flew by like an arrow. Before long, a night had passed. The system announced, the host has comprehended the human scroll a total of 100 times, gaining 100 merit points. Lu Zhao opened his eyes and stood up, stretching. Sitting for an entire night made his ass sore. He had read so much, spending so much time, and only now was he considered to have finished reading the contents of the human scroll. This made no sense to him, but he could clearly feel that his mental state was fuller than all previous comprehensions combined, as if he had returned to his most youthful and passionate days. He reached out to touch his beard, touching his skin. It was still that of a frail old man. Lu Zhao slowly stood up, exercising his body, stretching his tendons and bones once more. He performed his usual relaxation exercises, discovering that he hadn't changed at all. In other words, comprehending the heavenly writing only improved his mental state. Recalling that the heavenly writing could restrain witchcraft and countersound, Lu Zhao speculated that the power of the heavenly writing was a spiritual power, specializing in matters of will. Lu Zhao opened the system interface to check, seeing that everything was normal. Unexpectedly, Lu Zhao was startled. A small notification appeared on the item column. The price of item cards will change according to the increase in cultivation and the number of purchases. He checked the prices of the item cards, and sure enough, they had increased. The Fatal Strike card cost 800 points. The Damage Immunity card cost 600 points, and even the Thunder Blast cost 400 points. In Lu Zhao's heart, 10,000 grass mud horses galloped past. What a scam! So, the price of item cards not only increased with the number of purchases, but also increased with his own strength. He had previously thought it was due to excessive use, but a misunderstanding. Both conditions were applied to prevent the host from relying too much on item cards while also encouraging the host to quickly increase their strength. When the host was weak, it provided the host with the ability to protect themselves. Lu Zhao wanted to hug his head and scream, This damn system doesn't leave a single loophole. Lu Zhao silently looked at the reverse card, still at 500 merit points. Thankfully, it hadn't increased in price. He was still counting on it to increase his lifespan. If even the reverse card increased in price, he wouldn't be able to afford it anymore. This time, after comprehending the heavenly writing, he truly felt anemic. Once bitten, twice shy, Lu Zhao thought and decided that in the future, every time he planned to comprehend the heavenly writing, he would buy some item cards in advance to stockpile. Ming Shiyin's voice came from outside. Master, the flying chariot is ready. Lu Zhao then replied to Ming Shiyin. I know. Lu Zhao waved his hand slightly, and the system interface disappeared. He left the secret chamber and went outside to the flying chariot. The disciples and others cupped their hands in salute. Greetings, Master. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Lu Zhao's eyes swept over everyone. Then he got straight to the point. This trip to Anyang City must be done with humility. There's no need to use the flying chariot. Ming Shiyin was startled and said, Master? There are so many people, Lu Zhu replied with a somber face. That's why the number of people going will not be many. Lu Zhu had a premonition. The matter that even Jiang Aijian wanted to meet and talk about was not suitable for a large group of people. Too cumbersome. The current strength of the Evil Sky Pavilion was not too high, still far from the glorious days of the past. Even though the Evil Sky Pavilion had recently had an 8-leaf expert, Fan Xuan, join, it couldn't be compared to its most prosperous time. During that prosperous period, who didn't fear the Evil Sky Pavilion? The eldest disciple, Yu Zhanghai, independently established the Nether sect, becoming the #1 demonic sect. His strength went without saying. The second disciple, Yu Shengrong, had never lost a battle. If these two were still here, the calamity of the 10 great experts besieging Golden Court Mountain would never have happened. Therefore, the Evil Sky Pavilion had to leave some people behind to guard it. Lu Zhao only brought Xiao Yanhe, Ming Shiyin, and Duanmu Sheng to Anyang City. Xiao Yu and Zhu Honggong's cultivation was weak. It was better for them to stay at the Evil Sky Pavilion. Bai Zi then appeared. It swooped down from the sky, perhaps due to being severely punished by Lu Zhao once. Xiao Yanhe, unlike before, jumped up and down, cheering, demanding to ride on Bai Zi's back. When Bai Zi's auspicious aura appeared in the sky above the Evil Sky Pavilion, in the eyes of old 8th Zhu Honggong, his eyes almost popped out. Master. Master has tamed this mount since when? Zhu Jifeng praised. Ordinary mounts can only be found and captured in exotic realms or forested areas, but mounts with the ability to wield certain divine powers can only be heard of by word of mouth. I heard that the great senior once went to the Misty Forest and tamed a legendary griffin beast as a mount, but no one has ever seen it. Spit. Are you tired of living? Zhao Yu warned everyone to shut their mouths immediately. Zhu Jifeng then covered his mouth with both hands, terrified as if he was about to pee his pants, because he knew he had slipped up. Discussing Yu Zhenghai's matter at the Evil Sky Pavilion. He's dead for sure if Master hears that. Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhe rode Bai Zi away, while Ming Shiyin and Duanmu Sheng could only fly through the air as usual. Even so, cultivators in the nascent soul realm, though not as fast as a mount, were not slow either. An hour later, in Anyang City, Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhe appeared on the streets. What surprised them was that there weren't many people on the streets. Anyang City seemed desolate. Xiao Yanhe also felt strange, remembering the senior sister's instructions. Now she would ask Master for his opinion before doing anything to avoid making mistakes. Xiao Yanhe held Master's hand tightly and asked, Master, should we stop someone and ask for information? No need. Xiao Yanhe nodded vigorously, saying in a heavy nasal tone, yes. The number of merchants selling goods had also decreased by half compared to the last time they were here. Whether Anyang City prospered or declined was a headache for the Emperor of Great Yan and had nothing to do with him. Lu Zhao decided to go straight to the Shu residence. Before long, the two arrived in front of the main gate of the Shu residence. Xiao Yanhe, understanding the situation, said, Master, let me knock on the door. Lu Zhu stroked his beard and nodded, feeling very pleased. It wasn't a waste to teach this girl. If it were before, she would have directly kicked the door open. Knock, knock. She knocked twice. But, Xiao Yanhe's 2 knocks shattered the Shu Manor's door. This move of Xiao Yanhe startled the people inside. It's true that foresight is useless. But Lu Zhao's mumbling was spot on. He said she wouldn't kick the door down, but fly in. Too accurate. She didn't kick the door. She punched it to smithereens. The grand gate creaked and splintered. A man stood rooted to the spot, shocked. It was Shu An, who she'd rescued at Qingyang Mountain. He'd met her once. He'd also seen her at the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Now that Xiao Yanhe was standing right in front of him, how could he not recognize her? This humble one will inform the master and madam immediately. Shu An turned and ran inside, shouting, The miss is back! Xiao Yanhe didn't bother with such things. She turned to look at her master. Master, I didn't control my strength well. Lu Zhao walked beside her and said calmly, The door's quality was too poor. Let's go in. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they saw a middle-aged man in brocade robes and a woman being escorted by about 10 guards. These must be Xiao Yanhe's father, Shu Yuan, and mother, Madame Zhang. Shu Yuan, in his middle age, looked every bit the imposing family head. Shu Zhangxi was dignified and elegant, her charm still present. She must have been a stunning beauty in her youth, capable of captivating cities. But what surprised Lu Zhao was that when Shu Yuan saw him, he was neither arrogant nor flattering, and not even afraid, but seemed only to be intensely observing him. It was rare for an ordinary person to possess such courage, Yange, Lu Zhao said mildly. Kneel and kowtow to your father and mother. Yes, Xiao Yanhe knelt down. Kneeling and kowtowing to one's parents was a matter of course. She needed to be taught well. This kneel moved Shu Zhangxi to tears that flowed like a river. Shu Zhangxi rushed forward and hugged Xiao Yanhe tightly. Xiao Yanhe was stunned by the hug. Not knowing what to do, Shu Yuan glanced at Xiao Yanhe, his heart fluttering slightly. He stood at a distance, cupped his hands and bowed deeply to Lu Zhao, his eyes filled with reverence and respect. Thank you, old immortal. Lu Zhao only nodded slightly in response. After all, Xiao Yanhe hadn't seen her parents for 5 years, and felt a little unfamiliar. Mother and daughter chatted for a long time. The servants didn't recognize Lu Zhao, nor did they know that Xiao Yanhe had become a disciple at the Demon Heaven Pavilion. But these people were, after all, worldly people. Lu Zhao had nothing to say to them, especially since the purpose of this trip had nothing to do with the Shu Manor. Suddenly, Lu Zhao said, This old master is tired. Please lead the way inside for a chat. Shu Yuan hurriedly told Zhu Ang to arrange a bedroom. He knew what level of person this was, and ordered anyone unrelated to stay away. The room was much quieter. Lu Zhao sat down and indifferently looked at the Shu Yuan couple. There were no outsiders in the room. The Shu Yuan couple respectfully walked in front of Lu Zhao, intending to kneel down. That day, Old Immortal saved the entire Zhu Manor from danger. Please accept our bow. Just as they were about to kneel, Lu Zhao gently waved his hand, and a faint surge of energy lifted them up. Lu Zhu said, Since you are Yanhe's parents, then you are considered equals to this old master. There is no need to kneel. Gratitude showed on the faces of the Shu Yuan couple. Lu Zhao looked towards the two of them, and got straight to the point. This old master has something to ask you. Think carefully before answering. Xu Yuan didn't dare to be disrespectful, and quickly said, Old immortal, please ask. What happened in Anyang City? Xu Yuan replied, Rebellious armies are causing chaos. The people are suffering beyond words. I fear that before long, the people of Anyang City will all have to wander and beg for a living. Lu Zhao continued to ask, Is the commander of the 3 armies, Wei Zhuoyan, not present in Anyang City? Xu Yuan replied, A few days ago they came to the north of Anyang City but did not enter. I don't know the reason why. Lu Zhuju stroked his beard and nodded. Wei Zhuoyan is, after all, a fake, so it's normal for him to be a little careful. One last question. Since Yan Care joined the Demon Heaven Pavilion at the age of 5, she has to sever ties with the past after joining the Demon Heaven Pavilion. What happened in Qingyang City before? This old master forgave you out of consideration for your clan's risk of being exterminated, but this time, what is your purpose? Hearing this, Xu Yuan waved to Xu Zhangxi, and Xu Zhangxi immediately presented a brocade box. With both hands, Xu Yuan said, Please, old immortal, take a look. Lu Zhao waved his hand, and a leaf fell from above. This item surprised Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhe. It was a blackwood lotus. Xu Yuan looked toward Xiao Yanhe, not saying a word. He wasn't convenient to tell Xiao Yanhe the reason. Lu Zhao understood his intentions, and randomly found a reason. Yanhe, go outside and take a look. Disciple obeys. Xiao Yanhe turned and left. Outside, several servants were carrying something. Xiao Yanhe walked out of the Shu Manor and looked up at the sky. It was still early, and the flight speed of her senior brothers wouldn't be too fast. They wouldn't arrive in time. Xiao Yanhe felt that the people in the Shu Manor were very boring. Xiao Yanhe didn't like interacting with the Shu Manor's people too much, so she went towards a corner of the courtyard where there was no one. Hello? A gentle voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Xiao Yanhe was startled. She raised her head and looked around. Who is it? She turned to ask. Who are you? Right in front of her, a cyan-robed swordsman with a straight back, tall and towering, was carrying a long sword. Standing with his back to her, he nodded slightly and said, Indeed, it's just like I thought. Xiao Yan'er looked at the person in front of her suspiciously, remembering her master's instructions. She didn't dare to underestimate him, so she said, Who are you? The cyan-robed swordsman slowly turned around, a warm smile on his face, looking toward Xiao Yan'er. What's like you thought? Don't look anymore. Xiao Yan'er originally wanted to say another sentence. Look again and I'll poke your eyes out. But fearing that her master would be angry again, she had to hold back. I warn you, you're not allowed to follow me. That cyan-robed swordsman kept looking at Xiao Yan'er. Xiao Yan'er walked around the cyan-robed swordsman, going forward along the way. Seeing that cyan-robed swordsman keep following her, Xiao Yan'er started to get annoyed. Xiao Yan'er raised her eyebrows, she stopped, turned her head back and said, Don't follow if you keep following. She lifted her foot up and stomped down hard. Bam, the ground caved in. She used the strength of the 5th stage of body tempering, originally thinking that the cyan-robed swordsman would be scared when he saw this. Who knew? He was very relaxed and carefree, not paying attention at all, and kept following behind, staring at Xiao Yan'er. He kept smiling, and still smiling, without the slightest fear. Xiao Yan'er suddenly thought of something. This guy isn't one of those perverts, is he? She stopped, tilted her head slightly and looked behind her. Then Xiao Yan'er sat down on a stone ruin. You really want to follow me? Yeah? Why, looking at you, I don't like that. It doesn't matter, Master said. I'm not allowed to hit people casually. Master is right. Master also said, one must not be merciful and soft-hearted when dealing with bad guys. Thinking this, Xiao Yan'er continued to walk. That cyan-robed swordsman continued to follow. Bam! Xiao Yan'er suddenly dashed towards the cyan-robed swordsman like an arrow. The burst speed of the Tai-Ching Jade simplified nascent divinity realm was not to be underestimated. Looking throughout Anyang City, there wasn't a single nascent divinity realm expert to be found. Xiao Yan'er originally thought that the cyan-robed swordsman would be scared SHT less. However, a trace of surprise flashed in the cyan-robed swordsman's eyes, and then he quickly returned to his unperturbed appearance. His protective ki field blocked all of Xiao Yan'er's attacks. Bam bam bam! Xiao Yan'er was showing off her super refined Tai-Ching Jade simplification movement technique. All you could see were after images of her, and every punch that landed on the protective Q left behind a tiny, ring-shaped mark. The green-robed swordsman just stood there, watching her with a smile. His powerful ki didn't push back, but instead acted like soft water, dissipating the force, and not causing any backlash on Xiao Yan'er. The more Xiao Yan'er attacked, the angrier she got. She clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. 100 Tribulation Dao Manifestation. A golden glowing Dharma body, as tall as she was, appeared, vaguely in the shape of a delicate and exquisite young girl. The green-robed swordsman watched this scene, and smiled slightly. He raised a hand forward. Swoosh. The key disappeared, and the trembling Yuan Qi vanished too. Everything went silent again. The green-robed swordsman placed his hand on Xiao Yan'er's forehead. Xiao Yan'er's hands were flailing around like crazy, but she couldn't reach the green-robed swordsman. I'm so mad, let go now, the green-robed swordsman said. How amusing. After flailing around until she was exhausted, Xiao Yan'er had no choice but to give up and stopped moving. Fine, you win. Xiao Yan'er's wary side resurfaced. She gave up resisting and backed away, thinking that if the man in front of her was a bad person, she could tell that he was incredibly strong with formidable cultivation. The green-robed swordsman gave a casual smile and then released his hand. Hello? He greeted Xiao Yan'er again. No hello, Zhao Yanhe replied. The green-robed swordsman bent down, and then flashed a friendly smile. Little Junior's sister has to say hello too. Zhao Yanhe stared at the green-robed swordsman with wide eyes. Huh, I don't understand what you're saying. The green-robed swordsman raised an eyebrow, and said softly, I am your second senior brother. In Xiao Yanhe's memory, there weren't many images related to her first and second senior brothers. Strictly speaking, she had never officially met them, let alone be able to recognize them. Xiao Yanhe mumbled, second senior brother. Two guys nearby whispered to each other, did you hear that? That polite guy is that fierce little girl's second senior brother? Those two don't look like they've ever met. Is he a con artist? Don't be so nosy, just get back to being a beggar. Xiao Yanhe glanced at the green-robed swordsman and thought to herself, there's no way that the green-robed swordsman standing in front of me right now is my second senior brother, Yu Shangrong. He was smiling in a creepy way just now. Seeing that she didn't seem to believe him, the longevity sword behind Yu Shangrong came out of its sheath, flashed once, and appeared in front of Zhao Yanhe. He still had a smile on his face. The red sword floated in front of her eyes, indescribably otherworldly and detached. Xiao Yanhe was startled, and blurted out, red sword, longevity sword. She stared hard to get a clear look. Xiao Yanhe was surprised, both happy and frowning. Ah, second senior brother. Right after 3 second senior brothers, Xiao Yanhe backed away warily. That's not right. A traitor. Yu Shangrong didn't care, and with a slight thought, the longevity sword went back into its sheath. Then Yu Shangrong asked, does little junior sister also think I'm a traitor? Xiao Yanhe looked at Yu Shangrong's otherworldly and detached appearance, and his unwavering smile. Recognizing that this person was completely different from what she had imagined, her second senior brother gave her a gentle and warm feeling, like the big brother next door. For a moment, she didn't feel like he was a traitor, so she shook her head and said, I don't know. If master says so, then I guess it's true. Yu Shangrong said, let's not talk about this anymore. Xiao Yanhe then followed Yu Shangrong closely and asked, what are you doing in Anyang City? Did you come to see me? The two walked back side by side, at a leisurely pace, as if they were taking a stroll. How did you know I was here? Xiao Yanhe's curiosity was piqued, and she kept asking questions. 7th junior brother said so. 7th senior brother is here too? Don't know. What about 1st senior brother? Don't know. 2nd senior brother, can you let me see your sword for a little bit? For a swordsman, a sword is life, something inseparable. The two beggars lying there continued to whisper. One dares to ask, one dares to answer. Definitely senior and junior siblings beyond a doubt. Don't meddle. For a swordsman, a sword is one's life-bound weapon, never to be separated. But Yu Shangrong still answered casually, sure. He handed the longevity sword to her. Xiao Yanhe cautiously and carefully received it. As soon as she took the longevity sword, its immense weight made her almost bend over, but luckily her cultivation wasn't low, so she managed to adjust in time, without any difficulty. Xiao Yanhe held the sword, and admired it for a moment, and even swung it a few times, marveling at it. Then she respectfully offered it back to Yu Shangrong with both hands. Yu Shangrong asked, how is it? Zhao Yanhe answered honestly, I don't know how to say it, I feel the sword is very good, but it's not easy to handle. Yu Shangrong sheathed the longevity sword and laughed. Little junior sister isn't suitable for using a sword. That's right, I have the Brahma wheel. Senior brother, do you want to see it? No. Yu Shangrong stopped, looked up at the sky, saw the Shu mansion right in front of him, and said, little junior sister, 2nd senior brother has a gift for you. Xiao Yanhe excitedly clapped her hands. Really? Yu Shangrong raised his right hand, and a brocade box flew over from afar, clearly something he had prepared in advance. Xiao Yanhe took the brocade box and asked curiously, what is this? I only hope little junior sister likes it. Xiao Yanhe opened it to take a look. And inside the brocade box was a set of blue clothing, looking very exquisite, neatly folded, and radiating a faint glow. When she looked up, Yu Shangrong had already embraced his sword and walked in the opposite direction. Second senior brother, it was a pleasure meeting you. I have business to attend to. Goodbye. Yu Shangrong left these words behind, and walked further and further away. Xiao Yanhe put away the brocade box, looked towards Yu Shangrong's back, unexpectedly very sensible, nodded, and thanked him. Thank you for the gift, 2nd senior brother. Yu Shangrong let out a soft chuckle. Swish. Yu Shangrong's figure disappeared, leaving no trace on the suddenly empty road. The world-renowned sword devil seemed to have never been here. Xiao Yanhe hugged the brocade box in her arms. Feeling puzzled, Miss Shu An suddenly appeared in the distance, and called out, old mister wants to see you, come quickly. Xiao Yanhe returned to the Shu mansion. Upon entering the room, Lu Zhao's gaze immediately fell on the brocade box that Xiao Yanhe was holding. Xiao Yanhe hurriedly explained, Master, I didn't steal it from someone. 2nd senior brother gave it to me. Xiao Yanhe respectfully offered the brocade box up, and then opened the lid. Master, this really is a gift from 2nd senior brother. A set of clothes. Who would steal clothes anyway? Lu Zhao looked towards the set of clothes radiating a faint glow, and presented it. Xiao Yanhe obediently placed the brocade box on the table, opened the lid. Shu Yuan and Shu Jiangxi also looked at the clothes in the brocade box. They were ordinary people, and although they had made friends with some cultivators over the years, they didn't know the origin of this item. Lu Zhao recognized it immediately. He calmly said, cloud weave feather garment. Xiao Yanhe's eyes widened. Cloud Weave Feather Garment? It is said that the Cloud Weave Feather Garment is made by 3 cultivators who are skilled in weaving over 100 years. The collection of materials and the formation of patterns as well as the structural shape of the ornaments take dozens of years to prepare. All the materials are taken from the Misty Forest. The Cloud Weave Feather Garment can reduce most of the damage caused by Q attacks. It is a type of treasure with the same properties as the Treasure Silk Armor, but the level is slightly higher than the Treasure Silk Armor. Lu Zhao didn't expect Yu Xiangrong to cough up such a huge treasure. He pondered for a moment and said, "Put it away. It's a shame to just waste such a precious item." Xiao Yaner scratched her head. "Can I keep it?" Lu Zhao gently nodded. Xiao Yaner said, "Oh," and happily stowed the Cloud Song dance dress away. Lu Zhao raised his eyes to look at Shu Yuan and his wife. "If there's nothing else, you can leave." Through the short conversation before, Lu Zhao learned that little Xiao Yanher had been seriously ill. Shu Yuan went everywhere, seeking high-level doctors to diagnose that Xiao Yanher's qi wasn't flowing smoothly. After Xiao Yanher joined the Evil Sky Pavilion, Shu Yuan still remembered this, and now that he found the Blackwood Lotus, he sent Shu Yuan to the Evil Sky Pavilion to request a meeting. What Lu Zhao found strange was, with Shu Yuan's abilities and status, how could he have obtained the Blackwood Lotus? He pondered slightly, but didn't think too much about it. Lu Zhao didn't want to explain too much about Xiao Yanher's qi. The Blackwood Lotus is a precious item left in the Exu family. It would become a disaster. It wasn't until the afternoon that Ming Xinyin and Duan Musheng arrived at the Shu residence. Xiao Yanher ran out to greet them. "You're so late, it's almost dinner time." Afterwards, the two were arranged to stay overnight. Night fell, the moon was bright, and the stars were sparse. Outside the Shu residence, all kinds of noises suddenly arose, as if something was happening on the streets. "There's a rebel army!" someone shouted a reminder. Lu Zhuozhu was snoring away under a blanket printed with a pig. Bei, ba. Lu Zhao opened his eyes, seeing 2 rays of light shining outside the door. Perhaps due to the extraordinary power of the heavenly book supporting him, he didn't feel tired at all, but was full of energy. Ming Xinyin reported, "Master, there's a rebel army on the streets. Do you need your disciple to go clean them up?" Ming Xinyin's voice came from outside. Afterward, Lu Zhao said, "Don't pay attention to anything outside the Shu residence." Ming Xinyin cupped his fist and bowed. This disciple understands. Lu Zhao continued to close his eyes, adjusting his breathing and circulating his vital energy. The sound of horses' hooves appeared on the streets of Anyang City. Pacifying the rebels was Wei Zhuoyan's duty. It had nothing to do with the Evil Sky Pavilion. Immediately afterward, Anyang City echoed with the sounds of slashing and killing. Occasionally there were sounds of flying in the air, and after a while, everything became quiet again. The next morning, Lu Zhao slowly opened his eyes and gently shook his head. Through practicing cultivation techniques, his cultivation base increased extremely slowly. But a little is better than nothing. It's much better now than when he first transmigrated and couldn't cultivate at all. Lu Juju had a lot of cultivation techniques in his mind, and his experience and insights into cultivation all surpassed other cultivators. But these things were of little use to him, and could only be used to coax his disciples. Just then, a flying chariot quickly flew from the north of Anyang City. The flying chariot was so huge that people had to rub their eyes to see it. Around the flying chariot, there were also dozens of cultivators flying in a formation. Although the people of Anyang City had seen many flying chariots, this was the first time they had seen one so majestic. This flying chariot had a big background. The people seemed to have forgotten about the commotion last night, and everyone was looking up at the sky. The flying chariot steadily flew to the top of the city wall, and then stopped. At the same time, alarm smoke appeared in Anyang City, and thick smoke rose to the sky. On the flying chariot, a large number of masked cultivators jumped down and rushed towards the soldiers of Anyang City. Rebels, rebels. The people immediately woke up and fled in all directions, each going back to their own homes. In the big streets and small alleys of Anyang City, there was soon no one to be seen, and all the people had fled into their homes. Anyang City was in chaos, but the target of those cultivators was not the people of Anyang City, but the soldiers standing on the city wall. The sound of slashing continued. The North City gate was broken by the masked cultivators, and thousands of cavalrymen quickly squeezed in. Ming Xinyin and Duan Musheng jumped onto the roof to observe the scene from afar. At the same time, in the south of Anyang City, a large number of soldiers and cultivators were rushing towards the masked cultivators, and the two sides were fighting fiercely again. Ming Xinyin shook his head and said, "There's a rebel army in Anyang City. This is no small matter." The soldiers of the city and the black-clothed people were engaged in a fierce battle. Ming Xinyin and Duan Musheng continued to observe from above. A soldier shouted loudly, "The north gate has been broken. The soldiers of the south city will go with me to help." Ming Xinyin observed carefully and repeated once again, "The target of these people is not the people of Anyang City, but the soldiers on the city wall." Duan Musheng asked, "Are we going to ignore them?" Ming Xinyin followed his master's instructions and replied, "What are we going to do with them? This is a matter for the imperial court. What does it have to do with our evil sky pavilion? Just watch the fun." The Zhu family and the maids and servants all closed their doors tightly inside the house. The battle situation on the street was extremely fierce. Below was a continuous series of cuts, and red liquid splattered everywhere. Ming Xiyin and Duan Musheng sat on the roof and observed from afar. Ming Xiyin teased, "Is Wei Zhuoyan finally going to do it or not? Is he sending these shrimp soldiers and crab generals to die?" In just a short moment, half of the soldiers had been lost. Duan Musheng continued. The people who jumped down from the flying chariot are all cultivators. Even those in the nascent soul realm and Qi condensation realm are more than enough to deal with ordinary soldiers. It's like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. Ming Xinyan frowned and said, fake things are just fake things. If he can't even pacify the Anyang City rebellion, I'm afraid he won't be able to keep his position. Just then, Ming Xinyan saw two 10 directions Qiangkun avatars appearing in the north. Oh, they're making a move. The 10 Directions Qiangkun avatar proves that this person has at least a mid-stage divine court realm cultivation base. With two such people, it should be enough to suppress these masked cultivators. Sure enough, the masked cultivators retreated one after another. The Qi condensation realm and nascent soul realm were nothing in front of the divine court realm, but the number of masked cultivators was very large, and in addition to the fact that they had opened the city gate for the cavalry to enter, the situation on both sides was still equal. The streets of Anyang City were full of corpses. All of them were cultivators and soldiers, and did not pose a threat to the people in the city. However, the destructive power of the cultivators was very great, and many buildings in the city had been damaged, and the ground was uneven everywhere, and they were in a stalemate. Ming Xinyan sat on the roof and watched the battle situation with great interest. I can understand why Wei Zhuoyan didn't take action, but what about his subordinates? He's also the commander of the 3 armies, and he's here to pacify the rebellion. If he can't quell the Anyang City rebellion, wouldn't he be losing face for the imperial court? Just after he finished speaking, in the area north of the city gate, 100 Tribulation's insightful mind avatar suddenly appeared, breaking through the air and attacking as fast as lightning. Ming Xinyan raised his eyebrows. An expert. The two almost retreated at the same time, gathering at a corner on the roof. The group of black-clothed people stood still and observed the 100 Tribulation's insightful mind, a 6-leaf expert. The reason why she was called an expert was because the 100 Tribulation's insightful mind avatar was 7 zang tall. And when it flew past, it did not cause any damage to the buildings. On both sides, below the 100 Tribulation's insightful mind avatar, a woman wearing brocade clothes with a delicate face was attacking the masked cultivators, and the masked cultivators were blown away wherever the avatar went, and in an instant, hundreds of people simultaneously looked up to the sky and spewed blood. The scene was extremely magnificent. Ming Xian muttered, the avatar can be used like this. Duan Musheng had never seen this scene before either. It should be someone from Wei Zhuoyan. Strange. That day, Master easily took Wei Zhuoyan's dog life on the flying chariot. Could it be that she wasn't there? With one move, all the masked cultivators fell to the ground with a bang, causing the roof to collapse and damaging many buildings around them. Some of the people whose roofs were damaged rushed out and ran around in the streets. The attackers were also very principled and did not pursue the ordinary people. The rebel army gathered in one direction, staring at the woman. The 100 Tribulation's insightful mind avatar disappeared, and the woman in green brocade clothes slowly descended, her eyes looking straight ahead and her face calm, saying, those who surrender will not be killed. Those who continue to rebel will be killed regardless of guilt. The woman in brocade clothes' voice was very soft and weak, but it was full of power in the gentleness. Ming Xinyan and Duan Musheng didn't expect that there would be such a powerful woman beside Wei Zhuoyan. What now? Duan Musheng scratched his head. As soon as he saw people fighting, he wanted to rush up and fight with them. Don't act rashly. This matter has nothing to do with us. Our old man Master has a high cultivation base. He would have known about such a big commotion long ago. If Master wanted to get involved, he wouldn't have waited until now. Junior brother makes sense. The streets were now unbearably chaotic. The smell of blood was overwhelming, and some of the corpses had flies buzzing around them. Under the sunlight, those flies seemed to have found the most delicious food, but these dirty things could not get close to the 3 meters radius around the woman in brocade clothes. The masked cultivators were as nervous as if they were facing a great enemy, and they kept retreating. The soldiers holding spears around them were just people who were destined to be buried with them, not worth mentioning. Who could stop such an expert? Did you see that? Who will answer? The woman in brocade clothes stepped forward. Behind her were the soldiers and several cultivators wearing armor. People advanced, and people retreated, seemingly sensing danger. That massive flying chariot in the sky was slowly moving, heading towards the south gate of the city, while also descending. The brocade-robed woman stopped what she was doing and looked up, her brow furrowing slightly. A flying chariot this huge needs at least 50 Qi condensation cultivators, pouring their primal Qi into it at the same time just to keep it afloat. If they want it to fly, they need at least 5 nascent soul experts, which means there are still cultivators on that flying chariot, a powerful one at that. The brocade-robed woman said softly, since a senior has arrived, why use the rebels in the city? Quote. The woman's voice, mixed with primal Qi, flew toward the sky. The brocade-robed woman understood that her voice could reach the flying chariot very clearly, but there was no movement from the flying chariot, as if the person had no intention of paying attention to her. The two sides fell into a stalemate. The brocade-robed woman suddenly tilted her body. The soldiers behind her split to the left and right, and Wei Zhuoyan rode a tall horse step by step into the streets of Anyang City. At this time, apart from the rhythmic sound of horses' hooves, there was no other sound. Everyone's eyes were focused on the person sitting on the warhorse. This is Wei Zhuoyan, the supreme commander of the 3 armies of the great Yan royal family, rumored to be a 7-leaf expert. General. The soldiers immediately saluted. The brocade-robed woman just bowed slightly and immediately looked at the flying chariot. Wei Zhuoyan didn't look at the flying chariot but said, Jin Yi, do you know why the emperor sent this general to put down the rebellion but only gave me 5,000 soldiers? The battle between cultivators is not about quantity but quality. This woman is Li Jin Yi, she continued. The emperor also wants to test the general's ability. It's good that you understand. Li Jin Yi knew she was wrong and said, Jin Yi shouldn't hide her strength. Wei Zhuoyan nodded slightly, then transmitted his voice to the person on the flying chariot. The land and the world belongs to the king. What are your intentions in impersonating the rebel army and disturbing Anyang City? The huge flying chariot still floated there as before, without moving at all. Streams of majestic primal chi, like a tide, meandered around it, and the aura was no less than that of a strong man. Li Jin Yi saw Wei Zhuoyan's appearance. Trisk, nodding in her heart. She couldn't help but be surprised by his acting skills. If she didn't know the truth, she might have believed that this was the real Wei Zhuoyan. The truth and the false. Wei Zhuoyan has changed a lot. Moreover, from their conversation, he can understand that the person named Li Jin Yi is a master next to Wei Zhuoyan, showing off the 100 Tribulation Insight Avatar technique, which moves a six-leaf expert, and calling it hiding strength. What is her real strength then? Ming Xinyin took a deep breath. If he said that there were as many experts as clouds in the divine capital, he would believe it. But how could this damn Anyang City have such a strong man? Is there treasure hidden everywhere in the ground? Is there sweetness in the air? Duan Musheng replied, It's not sweet, and it smells rotten. Hearing the somewhat silly answer, Ming Xiyin was a little angry. Hey, third senior brother, please stand a little further away from me. Li Jinyi's eyes shone like lightning, looking towards the roof. Crap, forgot to transmit my voice. Speaking normally will naturally be noticed by a master of this level. On a roof more than 100 feet away, Ming Xiyin stood up embarrassedly, waving his hands repeatedly. You guys continue. You guys just continue. I'm just an ordinary citizen. Continue. Ming Xiyin successfully attracted the attention of everyone. Ming Xiyin and Duan Musheng stood on the roof, with their backs to the sun so people can't see their faces clearly. Li Jinyi said softly, You have no business here. Get out of my way. Retreat. I'm retreating. Ming Xiyin and Duan Musheng jumped to the roof 2 houses away. When the two of them first arrived in Anyang City, they hid their aura, and now, at a glance, they look no different from 2 noobs who have just stepped onto the path of cultivation. The 2 sides continued to stalemate. In the sky, the huge flying chariot radiated a ripple of vibration. A voice came, Wei Zhuoyan must die. The voice rolled like a tide. Wei Zhuoyan went crazy when he heard this. Wei Zhuoyan shouted coldly, Kill! The deputy general waved his hand, and dozens of cultivators standing behind immediately pounced on the rebels. All kinds of Dharma bodies, from the 5 Chi Grandmaster to the 8 Laws, were summoned, and all the Dharma bodies glowed with golden light, illuminating the entire street. This must be the feeling of the whole city being immersed in the golden light of the golden armor, and the thousands of soldiers became the background. However, just as the masked cultivators and the rebels began to attack, a giant sword flew out of the huge flying chariot. The thick blade looks like a saber, and the giant sword is surrounded by a strong gang chi, and then quickly rotates like a giant millstone. Profound heaven stellar light. Li Jinyi's delicate eyebrows frowned slightly, and she exclaimed, Nether sect. Retreat quickly. Seeing this scene, Ming Xinyin looked up at the sky. Is that senior brother's profound heaven stellar light? Senior brother, Duan Musheng, also quickly looked up, but after a while, Ming Xiyin felt that something was wrong, and had to say, But that's not right. Duan Musheng looked nervously at the huge flying chariot, turned his head, and was about to leave. What's not right? I have to report to master to catch that evil creature. But Ming Xiyin quickly grabbed his arm and held him back. Ming Xiyin calmly analyzed. Senior brother's saber is always inseparable from him. This giant sword looks quite like a saber, but it's not. Moreover, the power of the profound heaven stellar light is not enough. With senior brother's methods, these people would definitely not be able to survive. Duan Musheng realized the problem after hearing these analyses. You mean someone is impersonating senior brother? Hearing Duan Musheng's question, someone is impersonating senior brother, Ming Xinyin immediately raised 2 fingers and replied, That's right, Ming Xinyin reminded. Duan Musheng also looked closely again. It does look very similar, but it's still not him. Duan Musheng muttered, I didn't understand why senior brother was so weak, so it turned out to be a fake. Fake senior brother is fighting against fake Wei Zhuoyan. Don't you think it's very interesting? If you don't look carefully, it will be difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake. Even the disciples of the Demon Heaven Pavilion have to look carefully to recognize it, so how can others suspect that this person is fake? Duan Musheng commented, This person is also very good. Being able to imitate senior brother's profound heaven stellar light in such a similar way, how can this person's strength be weak? The 2 of us will continue to watch the battle. Seeing her own people being blown away by this move of profound heaven stellar light, Li Jinyi couldn't believe it, General. Retreat quickly. Li Jinyi reminded Wei Zhuoyan in a low voice with wide eyes. Wei Zhuoyan said, This general believes in your ability. Li Jinyi replied, In a high-level battle, this subordinate is afraid that I can't protect you. If you die, the world will be in chaos. Ming Xiyin and Duan Musheng, who were grilling sausages, were a little surprised. Li Jinyi's address had changed. She called Wei Zhuoyan you. Wei Zhuoyan said nothing. Wei Zhuoyan followed Li Jinyi's suggestion and retreated to the back, and the 4 great deputy generals also retreated to protect him. Wei Zhuoyan sighed softly, looking at Li Jinyi's slender back. Who would have thought that the strongest support that helped Wei Juoyan climb to his current position was this woman, Li Jinyi? Wei Juoyan felt very tired. Somehow he had been pushed into this position. Somehow he had been tied to the entire world. Li Jinyi looked up at the sky and said softly, "The sect leader of the #1 demonic sect in the world, the Nether sect, has arrived. This little girl is being rude." The loud voice from the flying chariot still carried a powerful force. "This seat wants Wei Juoyan's life." Few words but with many meanings, speaking straightforwardly, without beating around the bush. This little girl doesn't understand why the Nether sect is involved in this matter, preventing General Wei Juoyan from quelling the rebels. Is this wanting to be an enemy of the Great Yan? From the flying chariot, a shout rang out. Seeking death. The loud shout carried powerful sonic force, causing everyone's ears to ring. That giant sword reappeared, even more powerful than before, leaving Li Jinyi gaping. Both sides retreated, as even allies were wary of the Xuan Tian starburst technique. Boom! In the contested area, the giant sword struck the ground, creating a deep chasm, and surrounding buildings collapsed. "General Wei, fall back!" Li Jinyi warned again. Seeing the situation was bad, Wei Juoyan turned his horse and fled, his deputy following closely to protect him. Wei Juoyan's group retreated towards the north gate. A murderous aura emanated from the massive flying chariot. "Since you insist, this seat will grant you your wish," Li Jinyi thought. "This little girl knows she's no match for the Grand Sect leader. But I absolutely will not yield." A violent surge of primal qi rippled from the giant chariot. Seeing this, Ming Shiyin and Duanmu Sheng, who were eating sausages, shook their heads slightly. Ming Shiyin didn't expect this brocade-clad woman to have such courage. Although the person on the chariot was a fake, their cultivation was genuinely powerful. Could it be that this brocade-clad woman was actually hiding her strength, and her cultivation could actually contend with such a powerful opponent? Duanmu Sheng exclaimed, "Someone's coming from the manor." At this moment, a faint blue glow suddenly appeared in the sky above the manor. This unique aura immediately attracted everyone's attention. Ordinary soldiers couldn't see it clearly, but the cultivators in mid-air were astonished. Inside the faint blue glow, a cute and beautiful girl was flying up to the roof. "Little sister apprentice." Duanmu Sheng's eyes lit up, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This was the effect of the cloud garment dance. Ming Shiyin was also amazed by Xiao Yanhair's cloud garment dance attire. "It really is the cloud garment dance," Ming Shiyin said while eating his sausage. "Master is so unfair. Isn't one Brahma Laksana weapon enough? Now she gets the cloud garment dance too." The person sitting in the huge flying chariot in the air was also attracted by this scene. Xiao Yanhair looked like a skylark, gently flying and dancing. Xiao Yanhair saw Ming Shiyin and telepathically said, "Master instructed that Li Jinyi and Wei Juoyan cannot die." Xiao Yanhair glanced at the situation of the battle before her. She flew back to where Ming Shiyin and Duanmu Sheng were standing and observed the stalemate between the two sides. Ming Shiyin startled. "Do we have to get involved?" Xiao Yanhair nibbled on a chicken leg and said, "Jiang Aijian sent a flying letter urgently requesting Master's help." Ming Shiyin nodded while eating his sausage. "Master is indeed soft-hearted. However, Jiang Aijian usually works diligently and is considered one of us. But why does Jiang Aijian have to help Li Jinyi?" Several thousand soldiers and several hundred cultivators looked at each other. Who are those people? Li Jinyi also saw the girl wearing the cloud garment dance. Could this girl wearing the treasure cloud garment dance be an ordinary person? Although she was just a little girl who had just entered the nascent soul realm and hadn't even manifested a leaf yet, no one dared to underestimate her. At this moment, Xiao Yanhair flashed a bright smile, and a powerful voice came from the flying chariot. "Which little girl is that?" Xiao Yanhair looked up at the flying chariot and said, "My master instructed that no one is allowed to touch Li Jinyi and Wei Juoyan." The flying chariot was silent for a moment. As if pondering something, Li Jinyi cupped her hands and said, "Thank you, little sister, for upholding justice. But it's best if you don't get involved in this kind of matter. Protect yourselves." Xiao Yanhair blinked and looked at the sternly standing Li Jinyi. "You're Li Jinyi." "Yes, I am," Li Jinyi replied with great elegance. Li Jinyi continued, "Little sister, the person on that flying chariot is sect leader Yu Zhenghai, the #1 demonic sect in the world, the Nether sect. You should still run for your lives." Xiao Yanhair raised an eyebrow and looked up at the flying chariot. "Is senior brother on it?" Because second senior brother Yu Shengrong appeared yesterday, and she had never met the eldest senior brother, she didn't suspect anything. Ming Xingyin didn't expose this, and eagerly looked at Li Jinyi. Xiao Yanhair pointed to the flying chariot and asked, "Sect leader of the Nether sect?" That's right, Li Jinyi saw that this girl was not very old, but had a good heart, so she took the opportunity to remind her. "In this world, there's the Devil Sky Pavilion, the founder of the demonic path, with 9 personal disciples, all devils. This sect leader of the Nether sect is the eldest disciple of the Devil Sky Pavilion. Rumor has it that this person's cultivation is already at the 8-leaf golden lotus, and he has no rivals to this day." A voice suddenly came from the flying chariot in the sky. "Since you know this Siet's reputation, why don't you quickly surrender?" Li Jinyi replied, "Sect leader, if you know already, why bother asking? I cannot retreat." This sounded so sarcastic. The safety of Anyang City, even the safety of the entire Great Yan, was placed on a woman. Ming Xingyin didn't consider himself a hero, nor a noble gentleman, but he felt that this woman had great courage. Then die. A giant sword shot out from the flying chariot again. spinning as it rushed towards Anyang City, with the force of a dragon stirring the sea. Li Jinyi lightly tapped her toes, her entire body soaring straight into the sky, her white right hand raised above her head. A circular defensive astral key appeared around her, the light on the astral key, swirling and emitting a radiant glow. Capture that girl! Understood. 4 cultivators jumped down from the flying chariot, all of them masked. Even the 4 great protectors were fake. Clearly, their strength and cultivation couldn't compare to the real ones. Ming Xinyin said in a deep voice. My master has said, Li Jinyi cannot die. Boom! Ming Xinyin rushed towards one of the masked cultivators, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Seeing this, Duan Wusheng's entire body shot towards another masked cultivator like an arrow. Holding the Overlord spear pointed straight at the opponent's face, Duan Wusheng spoke cryptically. With your strength, you certainly. The Xuantian starburst collided with the protective barrier around Li Jinyi. Astral Ki interweaved and shot out in all directions, creating waves of Astral Ki within a 100-meter radius. Li Jinyi looked up at the flying chariot, then glanced at Xiao Yan'er. Little sister, run! She lifted her hand. An array of Astral Ki like a drill struck towards a masked cultivator. Her intention was to buy Xiao Yan'er time to escape, but Xiao Yan'er shouted, Do I look like a coward to you? The cloud garment dance fluttered, and her entire body radiated a fiery red light, her eyes filled with determination, preparing for a decisive battle. Any auras from the Astral Ki shockwaves that touched her disappeared without a trace. Brahma Laksana appeared, with 7-star rainbow cloud steps, and red silk flew across the sky, wrapping around and binding the cultivators. Everyone stared at her in astonishment, especially the cultivators watching from the sidelines. That little girl has an extraordinary background. She has so many treasures. Although the cloud garment dance isn't a weapon, its quality is no less than a heavenly grade weapon. Xiao Yan'er glared and shouted, Is that all you've got? The Brahma Laksana in Xiao Yan'er's hands displayed its mighty power. Li Jinyi was extremely surprised to witness this girl, her eyes simultaneously looking at Ming Xiyin and Duan Wusheng. Ming Xiyin and Duan Wusheng absolutely had the upper hand. At this moment, a strange purple energy suddenly shot out from the flying chariot, resembling Astral Ki. But it wasn't Astral Ki. That purple energy flew towards Xiao Yan'er. Li Jinyi flew to block in between. Then she waved her hand and unleashed a ray of Astral Kree. The Astral Kree defensive shield was ineffective, and she realized in shock, this weird purple energy is witchcraft, and it's heading straight for Xiao Yan'er. Everything happened so fast, from the moment she leaped up and attacked. Only a few seconds have passed. Li Jinyi yelled. Careful! Li Jinyi glared. Too bad for you, kid, I tried my best. Li Jinyi looked up and continued speeding toward the giant flying battleship. To catch bandits, you gotta catch the leader first. Yun Changwu's clothes suddenly emitted a deep blue light, and the weird purple energy was completely negated the moment it touched her. Duan Wusheng and Ming Xiyin were extremely worried when they saw this, junior sister. Even though more than half of the attack power was reduced, the residual force still forced Xiao Yan'er back several steps before she could stand firm. Miss. The servants from the Shu residence ran over and looked up at Xiao Yan'er. Xiao Yan'er looked at the sky in surprise, shouting, I'm okay, Shu Yuan. Seeing the serious situation, hurriedly ran to the outside of Lu Zhu's room. After a moment of hesitation, Shu Yuan mustered his courage and said loudly, Yan'er is in danger. Please, old mister, lend a hand. Although he was much braver than ordinary people, he was still frightened by the scene before him. Shu Yuan stood close to the door, hoping to hear some movement or a reply from inside. Lu Zhao was still sitting cross-legged in the room, his eyes closed. He had heard the commotion outside from the beginning, but he didn't reply. There was a force stirring within him, growing stronger and stronger. This kind of feeling had never happened before. When searching for the little celestial chart, he only felt his mental state becoming more and more vigorous. When facing Fan Yin and witchcraft, he was passively triggered. This time was different. This mystical feeling seemed to be able to control this magical power, unable to be stopped. Once stopped, it would be difficult to find this feeling again. At the same time, Li Jinyi had flown in front of the flying battleship, her hands constantly spinning to form thousands of seals. Too late, a bolt of lightning shot out from the flying battleship. Jinyi, a wave of shock. This sonic attack was powerful. The soldiers below had their mouths agape in an instant, and the thousands of seals hadn't even fully formed before they were shattered by the terrifying sonic attack. Ming Xiyin shouted to Duan Wusheng, third senior brother, don't hold back. They both used their avatars, and 200 Tribulation's insight avatars appeared in the sky. The separation hook and the Overlord's spear pierced through the chests of 2 cultivators almost simultaneously. Xiao Yan'er tapped her toes and shot into the sky. The Brahma Luan, like a writhing dragon, wrapped around the bodies of the 2 cultivators, and then she shouted, Senior brothers. Understanding their junior sister's intentions, Duan Wusheng and Ming Xiyin used the Overlord's spear and separation hook to neatly decapitate the 2. Then she used the Tai Ching Jade Flute. Xiao Yan'er used the 7 stars rainbow cloud steps in perfect coordination with the Brahma Luan. Suddenly, Xiao Yan'er saw a golden streak of light high above. Li Jinyi was sent flying backward. The Brahma Luan stretched out longer and longer, and a long silk ribbon flew below Li Jinyi. Xiao Yan'er flew to her side and caught Li Jinyi. The Brahma Luan enveloped them both and slowly descended. Just my style. A giant sword appeared in the sky again. This was a truly massive sword. Li Jinyi looked up in horror and cried out, Great dark heaven palm, get out of the way! She pushed Xiao Yan'er away from her. Xiao Yan'er frowned. What are you doing? Xiao Yanhe suddenly stubbornly refused to give in, saying, I must accomplish what master has instructed me to do. Xiao Yanhe immediately returned, standing between the Great Dark Heaven Palm and Li Jinyi to confront the extremely large sword of the Great Dark Heaven Palm. A terrifying energy burst out from Li Jinyi's entire body. Xiao Yanhe used her movements with extreme agility, instantly appearing next to Li Jinyi, along with the 100 Tribulations Insight Avatar which had not yet blossomed, the Brahma Lucan blocked above her head. Boom! The energy collided in the air. Li Jinyi was a little worried. Little junior sister, you two retreat. I'm okay. Xiao Yanhe retracted the Brahma Luan. From the northwest of Anyang City, a cloud was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Li Jinyi tightly gripped Xiao Yanhe's hand as they descended together, preparing to retreat. A powerful enemy is coming. Just then, Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng had also finished off their opponents and were preparing to provide support. Duan Musheng said, Fake flying battleship detected. Obvious fluctuations in primal energy. It's changing direction and trying to escape. Ming Shiyin hovered in the air, looking toward the cloud, and replied, The real deal is here. It wasn't clear from a distance, but when it got closer, they discovered it wasn't a cloud at all, but a brown flying battleship. The people on the giant flying battleship also sensed a stronger enemy approaching. On the brown flying battleship, a flag fluttered in the wind. On the flag was a spinning jade green blade, and below it were 3 large seal characters. Nether Sect. A black-clad man then reported, Lord, Nether Sect Master Yu Zhenghai has appeared. The Lord replied, Prepare to evacuate. Yes, you little brat ruined my good plans. You won't escape, Ming Xinyin shouted. If you want to capture my little junior sister, you'll have to see if I agree. It's useless. This is witchcraft. Li Jinyi grabbed Xiao Yanhe's hand and flew away. The spinning separation hook brought with it a sweeping blast of energy, and the Overlord Spear also unleashed thousands of overlapping waves at the same time. Whoosh! The separation hook and Overlord Spear pierced through the giant purple claws on the Nether Sect's flying battleship, unleashing a surge of majestic energy that also flew towards Xiao Yanhe. At the same time, 4 figures leaped out of the flying battleship and rushed over. In an instant, neither Li Jinyi nor Wei Zhuoyan's side understood the situation, only thinking that these were reinforcements from the Nether Sect. The situation was almost impossible to resolve. Another wave of purple energy struck down, turning into a giant claw that attacked Xiao Yanhe. A lieutenant shouted, Are we gonna die? Let me confess to Lord Li Jinyi before I die. The giant claw grew closer and closer. Li Jinyi sighed. Little junior sister, you saved me once, so I'll save you once too. Take Wei Zhuoyan away. He can't die. Just as she was about to use a great divine power technique, on the roof of the mansion, a faint blue vortex suddenly appeared, bursting forth with a shockwave. SC Ram. That single word, SC Ram, was amplified by the vortex like a giant megaphone, radiating out from the mansion. That single word was like a thunderclap exploding in the ears of every cultivator. In the sky, the giant purple claw instantly dissipated into smoke, and the energy emanating from the Nether Sect's flying chariot vanished completely before it could even take shape. The leader of the black-clad men panicked. What the hell is going on? Duan Musheng recognized that voice as their master's, and Ming Shiyin warned, Quick! Land now! The sound wave is going upwards, only below is safe. Those in the sky are screwed. The 4 guardians of the Nether Sect looked horrified, hurriedly flying upwards. What the heck is happening in the sky? Stop it! We can't stop it! Retreat! On the ground, with the mansion as the center, the sound wave radiated outwards for several miles. Every citizen in Anyang City heard that single eskram. The flying chariot on the southern city wall swayed slightly, emitting creaking sounds. The flying chariot to the northwest had just arrived and was being forcibly resisted by the 4 guardians, blocking the sound wave. Horror was written all over their faces. Whoosh! The flying chariot on the southern city wall seemed to be seriously injured and quickly fled. Those floating in the sky were all knocked down. Wherever the sound wave reached, cultivators fell, Li Jinyi fell, and Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Xiao Yanhe also fell. At the same time, the main gates of the mansion slowly opened, and Lu Zhao stepped out with his hands behind his back. Master, disciple greets master. Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng knelt on one knee, and Xiao Yanhe followed suit. Master Lu Zhao didn't want to come out, gotta keep up the image, but the primordial qi remaining in his body wasn't much. Yin Day's voice said, Ji tong ji u liao ji, bu ke shuo. Sha hai wei chen, shu shi ji, zhong suo yu zong sheng zhong zhong yan zi, bi neng fen bi liao ji. This is the great divine power of the sound, from the Ren character scroll in the heavenly book. Lu Zhao didn't understand why he could unleash such extraordinary power. The primordial qi of the divine court realm accumulated in his body had been depleted by 70 to 80%, and his mental state was no longer as full as when he had just comprehended the heavenly book. Therefore, Lun Zhao had to slowly walk out, thinking about how to use the extraordinary power as he went. However, no one dared to doubt the strength of this old man. Lu Zhao walked to the crossroads, taking in the scene in all directions. On the left were the rebel forces, and on the right were Wei Zhuoyan and Li Jinyi's groups. Everyone's eyes focused on Lu Zhao. After landing, Li Jinyi's group looked around, and Li Jinyi immediately recognized that this old man was the master of those 3 experts. If his disciples are so strong, how could the master be weak? Li Jinyi knelt on one knee, cupping her hands and saying, Please, senior, help us repel the 4 guardians of the Nether Sect. Li Jinyi? Lu Zhao frowned. Looking at Li Jinyi standing next to Zhao Yanhe, Li Jinyi realized that this old man was very strong. There's no shortage of strange things in the vast world. Many peerless experts don't like to participate in worldly disputes, so they have been in seclusion for a long time. True experts are usually humble, there are people beyond people, and heavens beyond heavens. This was a truth Li Jinyi had known since she was a child. Li Jinyi hurriedly replied respectfully. This little girl is indeed Li Jinyi. Li Jinyi knelt and kowtowed. Lu Zhu's attitude remained indifferent, his expression calm. Lu Zhu didn't need to show any great power to make the four guardians in the air retreat, even though their cultivation levels were very high. The four looked at each other. Who am I? Where am I? They seemed to have forgotten their purpose in coming here, momentarily floating in the air, not daring to descend. This old-looking elder is the master of the sect leader. They were still terrified by the horrifying scram. Just now, the sect leader once said that the Grand Master of the Demonic Sky Pavilion's calamity was approaching, and his strength and cultivation level would drop significantly within 10 years. If that were true, how could the old man have shouted out such a powerful divine ability that sounded like thundering in their ears just now? Li Jinyi looked up at the sky. She found the four guardians of the nether sect hovering in the air, not daring to come down, seemingly subdued by the old man in front of her. She looked towards the south city again. All the rebel troops had trembled, collapsed, and lost their fighting power. Wei Zhuoyan's side wasn't doing much better. They gathered together, but their troops had scattered, and everyone was gasping for breath, with no time to reorganize their formation. Lu Zhao slowly raised his head and looked towards the four guardians. Just that one glance made the four guardians retreat again. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "You wicked disciples, wicked disciples." Li Jinyi was startled. Lu Zhao was only in the divine court realm, but he could still transmit his voice. He glared and roared like a madman. "Get down here now." In this world, who else would dare to talk to the sect leader of the nether sect in this tone? Speaking to Yu Zhenghai, with a scolding attitude, could only be the master of the Demonic Sky Pavilion, the demonic path founder who dominated the world. Everything was now clear. The old man who just stepped out of the mansion is the #1 demon head of the time. The faces of the four guardians turned pale. No one dared to descend, so they could only kneel in the air and pay respects. "This junior, Hua Zhongyang of the Azure Dragon Hall in the nether sect, pays respects to you, senior." "This junior, Bai Yu Qing of the White Tiger Hall in the nether sect, pays respects to you, senior." "This junior, Yang Yan of the Vermilion Bird Hall in the nether sect, pays respects to you, senior." "This junior, Dian Qing of the Black Tortoise Hall in the nether sect, pays respects to you, senior." The four knelt on one knee in the air, paying their respects to Lu Zhu. Li Jinyi looked at the old man with a complex expression. He had subdued people without a fight. Just how powerful was this person? The four people kneeling in the air were the four guardians of the nether sect. Also the heads of the four halls, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise. Yet, they were so afraid of this old man. Ming Xinyin shouted from below, "Eldest senior brother, stop hiding, come down." Li Jinyi took a step back, her mind now blank. She looked at Xiao Yancer, then at Ming Xinyin, then at Duan Wusheng, and finally at the massive flying chariot of the nether sect. She took another step back. "Don't be afraid." Wei Zhuoyan had appeared behind her at some point. Li Jinyi suddenly remembered the scene at Xingyang Lake that day, when the transcendent flying chariot of the Demonic Sky Pavilion flew by. The general was no longer the general he used to be. Wei Zhuoyan used to say he wasn't afraid of the Demonic Sky Pavilion, but in reality he was afraid to the bone. Wei Zhuoyan looked at Lu Zhu. When Lu Zhu stepped out of the main gates of the mansion, he recognized that this old man was the one sitting in the head seat at the Demonic Sky Pavilion. The head of the Azure Dragon Hall, Hua Zhongyang, raised his voice and said, I'm so sorry, senior. The sect leader isn't on the flying chariot." The sect leader knew senior was coming, so he set the four of us here first. Hearing this, Ming Xinyin burst out laughing. "Everyone says your sect leader is mighty and victorious in every battle, but he's actually so cowardly. Does he think my master will eat him or something?" Ming Xinyin's words left Hua Zhongyang speechless. Turns out, that's the gospel truth. Yu Zhenghai, just like our boy Yu Xiangrong, got the memo about his 7th disciple's intel. The old master himself was gracing Anyang City with his presence. Ain't no way he'd dare show his face. Even if he was the big cheese of the #1 demonic sect at the moment, same difference. So he had to send his underlings to play it safe. The four great protectors, their strength, cultivation, and status were practically on par with the sect leader showing up himself. Talk about giving face. Before rolling into town, the four great protectors were riding high on confidence. Talk about a stroke of luck. They stumbled right into the Anyang City chaos, and just so happened to bump into that fake nether sect's flying contraption. But what they didn't see coming was that even their combined might couldn't stand up to Ji Tiandao's casual scram. Not even their sect leader could pull that off. It was then that the penny dropped. That's why the sect leader chickened out. They floated obediently in midair, ready to bolt at the first sign of trouble. When you're facing a powerhouse like that, running away ain't nothing to be ashamed of. Hua Chongyang said, "Please trust my humble words, senior. Our sect leader heard it was 9th Mister's birthday today, so he sent us to deliver a gift. That's all there is to it." Ming Xinyin and Duan Wusheng simultaneously shot a look at little Yanxie, who put on her most innocent face. Hua Chongyang finished speaking and then, gathering all his courage, descended. When he reached a suitable altitude, he flicked his wrist, and a brocade box slowly floated down, Gang Qi enveloping it as it drifted towards little Yanyer. Ming Xinyin grinned. "Leave it to me. His figure flashed like lightning towards the brocade box, and then landed on the ground. Little junior sister, just in case there's some nasty surprise inside, your senior brother will shield you. Ming Shiyin held up the brocade box, and Lil Yanker nodded slightly. Okay, thank you, senior brother. This brocade box looked pretty similar to the one Yu Shangrong had given her. Ming Shiyin casually opened it, his protective gangqi forming a layer of barrier. Inside wasn't any deadly poison, dangerous object, or trap, but a pair of light green shoes. This thing is called the Cloud Stepping Shoes. Perfect for Ninth Mister's movement techniques and footwork. With these, Ninth Mister will be like a tiger with wings. Little Yanhair's eyes lit up when she heard that. Constantly examining the shoes in the brocade box, she stammered softly. Senior brother, my senior brother. Ming Shiyin deliberately shot her a look to signal her. Little Yanhair immediately calmed down, her expression becoming indifferent, and said, Shifu, I don't need these shoes. Lu Zhao appraised the Cloud Stepping Shoes. The Cloud Stepping Shoes, just like the Cloud Weaver's feathered robe, are no ordinary items. It's said the Cloud Stepping Shoes were woven for celestial maidens. Once worn, one would feel as light as a swallow, able to soar to the ends of the horizon. The materials used to make the Cloud Stepping Shoes are the extremely precious twin flying silk and fire essence silk, refined and crafted by a master tailor, Lu Zhao said. Go back and tell Yu Zhenghai that if he wants to admit his mistakes, he should come here himself. The four great protectors breathed a collective sigh of relief. The four of them stood up, clasped their hands, and said to Lu Juju, This junior will definitely relay your words. After that, the four of them mounted the air and retreated back into the flying Buddhist carriage. Even at this point, the four great protectors maintained the demeanor of experts, neither hurried nor slow. However, the moment the flying Buddhist carriage turned around, it was like a startled fish, unleashing its full speed and wobbling as it flew away. Wei Juoyan also let out a sigh of relief. He clasped his hands towards Lu Zhao and respectfully said, Many thanks, senior, completely losing the imposing aura of a great general he had before. Li Jinyi also bowed. Many thanks, senior. Lu Zhao looked at Li Jinyi and suddenly asked, Where's Jiang Aijian? This question stunned Li Jinyi. She suddenly remembered little junior sister mentioning her name, clearly stating that no one was allowed to touch her and Wei Juoyan. Obviously, the old man had recognized her identity, so lying was pointless. Li Jinyi bowed and said, Cloud Sparrow Tower. Ming Xinyan frowned. This Jiang Aijian has already left the imperial court, and now he even wants Shifu to go see him personally? What's he doing at the Cloud Sparrow Tower? Li Jinyi replied with two short words. Fishing. Ming Xiyan, Duan Musheng, and little Yancher were all puzzled. Fishing? Li Jinyi honestly replied. He said he likes fishing. He's been fishing at the Cloud Sparrow Tower these past few days. This little girl doesn't know anything else, Lu Zhao nodded slightly and said. Then let's go to the Cloud Sparrow Tower. Lu Zhao clasped his hands and left. Ming Xinyan turned his head to glance at Wei Juoyan and the soldiers. Don't tell me you can't handle this bunch of good-for-nothings. Were the good-for-nothings referring to the rebel army? Passing by Li Jinyi, Ming Xiyan stopped. Hey, think about it. Want to join the Devil Sky Pavilion? Li Jinyi bowed slightly without replying. Ming Xiyan had no choice but to follow his Shifu. Lil Yanhair wasn't in a hurry to leave. She bid farewell to the Shu Manor people and then went to Li Jinyi's side, saying, Big sister, take my advice, and immediately cut ties with that Jiang Aijian. He's a particularly shameless fellow. Li Jinyi nodded and said, Thank you, little junior sister. I have no relationship with him. That's good then. Bye-bye. Oh right, you're the first stranger I've actually liked, he-hey? Little Yanshi clasped her hands behind her back and skipped off to follow her Shifu. Duan Musheng was much more direct. He coldly said, Zhao Zi, Li Jinyi said she has nothing to do with Jiang Aijian, but apart from Little Yanhair, no one would believe that. To make Jiang Aijian beg for someone's life, their relationship can't be ordinary. After Lu Ju's group had all left, Wei Juoyan's soldiers all slumped to the ground. Without realizing it, their backs were soaking wet with cold sweat. They had already been shaken to the point of immobility by that sonic attack. And then they had close contact with the devils of the Devil Sky Pavilion. Although they weren't killed, they were scared half to death. Wei Juoyan, frustrated at their lack of mettle, roared, Get up! His shout startled everyone, who couldn't understand why he was angry. Li Jinyi's gaze turned indifferent. She looked straight ahead, thinking to herself, Only the useless vent their anger on those around them. Wei Juoyan was silent for a moment, then hesitated before asking, You know that Aijian is acquainted with? An unnatural expression appeared on Wei Juoyan's face. As one of the three great sword maniacs, Jiang Aijian values his sword like his life, loving swords to the bone. It's said that his character and behavior are highly criticized by the world. Li Jinyi asked, What does that have to do with you? Don't forget, even if I'm a fake, I'm still the commander of the three armies. Wei Juoyan stepped forward, looking towards the chaotic mess of rebel soldiers and masked cultivators. The aura around him seemed to grow more confident as he lightly waved his hand. Rebels! Kill them all, regardless of their crimes. At the same time, the four great protectors of the Nether sect controlled the flying Buddhist carriage, rapidly flying towards Pingdu Mountain. When the flying Buddhist carriage reached the sky above Pingdu Mountain, a figure waited in front of it, hands clasped behind his back. Standing tall with an arrogant air, the four great protectors stepped out and bowed respectfully. Sect leader, how did the matter I entrusted to you go? Yu Zhenghai seemed very concerned about this, because he had never mobilized all four great protectors for a single event before. Hua Chongyang, the chief seat of the Azure Dragon Hall, bowed and reported. Reporting to the sect leader, the gift has been delivered, and this subordinate has also seen the old senior. Yu Zhenghai simply grunted in acknowledgement. Hua Zhongyang said, The old senior's methods are heaven-defying. Our 4 subordinates combined were still no match. Upon hearing this, Yu Zhanghai's voice immediately deepened. Relate the entire matter in detail, leave nothing out. The 4 great protectors dared not be negligent. They had never seen the sect leader so cautious. Hua Zhongyang cupped his fist and recounted from the moment the 4 of them controlled the flying chariot to Anyang City, to when they encountered chaos, took action, and were repelled by the great divine power. Scram! He omitted not a single detail, especially the shocking power created by that scram, great divine power, which forced back all the cultivators present. The terrifying scene was described vividly, as if it happened before their very eyes. The matter was like this, then like this, followed by this, and finally like that. After listening, Yu Zhanghai muttered, "Sound skill, great divine power." There are not a few who understand sound skill, but those who can develop sound skill to the realm of great divine power can be counted on one's fingers. Yu Zhanghai was the eldest disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion. He considered himself to understand his master better than anyone else. In his memory, his master had never displayed any great divine power related to sound skill. Yu Zhanghai paced back and forth, lost in thought. He suddenly remembered the information that Old Seventh had provided. Could it be that master is truly cultivating the secret methods of other sects? If it were someone else, he definitely wouldn't believe that person could cultivate another sect's methods to the extreme, but this person was Ji Tiandao. Perhaps master has another friend. Yu Zhanghai sternly asked, "Are you certain that the person you encountered was my master?" Although we subordinates observed from afar and couldn't clearly see the old senior's face, we can confirm that it was indeed him. How do you know? We subordinates saw 9th senior wearing the cloud garment dance robe. It wasn't that Yu Zhanghai didn't trust the eyes of his generals, but he didn't want to miss any detail. He slightly nodded, a low sound emitting from his throat. "Second senior brother, I truly underestimated you, sect leader. When we subordinates arrived at Anyang City, we didn't see second senior brother." Yu Zhanghai continued, "Second senior brother has always preferred to act alone. With your abilities, you definitely shouldn't provoke him. We humbly obey the sect leader's command." Thinking of Yu Shangrong, Yu Zhanghai shook his head repeatedly, then sighed softly. The 4 great protectors sensed that the sect leader didn't seem too happy, and suddenly realized they shouldn't speak further on this topic. That protector then hurriedly bowed and said, "Does 9th senior really like stepping on cloud shoes? This subordinate dares not lie?" Yu Zhanghai laughed heartily. "The cloud garment dance robe is merely defensive equipment. It's only natural that little junior sister prefers stepping on cloud shoes. The sect leader is wise." The 4 great protectors bowed simultaneously. Yu Zhanghai asked again, "Where are they now?" This subordinate dared not follow. But this subordinate has received clues from the Azure Dragon Hall that 7th senior has run to Yunquei Tower. Bai Yu Cheng spoke up. "It is said that Yunquei Tower has 9 levels, and it becomes more difficult as you go higher. Each level has all kinds of trials, and whoever reaches the 9th level will obtain a treasure. I wonder if this is true or false." Yu Zhanghai turned around and walked to the edge of the flying chariot, observing Pingdu Mountain. Seeing the sect leader silent, the 4 protectors dared not continue talking about Jian Tiandao. They had never chatted with the sect leader about the Demon Heaven Pavilion until now. The 4 protectors only knew that the sect leader was the eldest disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion and possessed unfathomable strength. The rest was completely unclear. If they hadn't been ordered to work in Anyang City this time, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to discuss the Demon Heaven Pavilion with the sect leader. The sect leader was always extremely tight-lipped about matters of the Demon Heaven Pavilion. The Azure Dragon Hall Grand Leader, Hua Zhongyang, suddenly remembered that he hadn't relayed one more sentence, so he said, "Sect leader, the old senior, told this subordinate to relay to you. Speak." Hua Zhongyang recited verbatim, "If you want to apologize, then come yourself." At this moment, Hua Zhongyang's heart was also pounding in his chest. He wasn't sure if the sect leader would be angered by this sentence. Yu Zhanghai's expression remained calm, and his attitude wasn't emotional. He said loudly, "Great undertakings are not yet complete. How can they be abandoned halfway?" The 4 great protectors said in unison, "This subordinate swears to follow the sect leader to the death." Yu Zhanghai nodded in satisfaction. "Do you know who has been impersonating the underworld sect?" Hua Zhongyang replied, "The time the other party appeared was extremely short. From the flying chariot to the methods, they are all similar to ours, except for the mysterious powerhouse sitting in the flying chariot. The rest are all weak." Bai Yu Cheng said, "The other party is good at imitation. Even the mysterious Heaven Star Radiance looks like the sect leaders. Moreover, when this subordinate chased after them, I discovered that he was using witchcraft. He must be a cultivator with very strong witchcraft abilities." Yu Zhanghai said, "Is it the sect master Mo Chi of the Pure Nether Dao?" Mo Chi of the Pure Nether Dao? He does have a knack for imitating the techniques of the 100 schools, but Mo Chi is not good at witchcraft. It is said that there is a very powerful witchcraft cultivator in the Great Yan Imperial Palace. There is also a possibility that Mon Chi of the Pure Nether Dao has joined the Imperial Palace. There was more than one expert on the flying chariot at that time. This speculation is also very reasonable, but it is only speculation. In the end, it is only speculation. There must be evidence to prove it is true, otherwise wrong speculation will affect the following plans of the underworld sect. The sect since its development. The underworld sect has always been extremely cautious and steady to have the prosperity of today, and absolutely cannot let these small details fail. Hua Zhongyang took the initiative to say, "Please give this subordinate 3 days. This subordinate will definitely investigate the truth of the matter." Alright. After speaking, Yu Zhenghai turned to look out at the earth, and finally he looked towards Yun Kui Tower. He naturally knew this place. Azure Dragon Hall Grand Leader, Hua Zhongyang, was right. Yun Kui Tower had 9 levels, and each level had a type of trial. Cultivators often came to Yun Kui Tower to try their luck, hoping to gain some treasures. Yun Kui Tower was not in Anyang City, but to the northeast outside of Anyang City. That place was a cultivation holy land not protected by the city. The scenery was fascinating, located beside the Nine Bend River, no different from a paradise. Lu Zhao and his 3 disciples had just flown to the vicinity of Yun Kui Tower, and were attracted by the scenery here, with its towering mountains and secluded forests. Beside the Nine Bend River, there were all kinds of beasts and birds, Ming Xiyin said strangely. The water of the Nine Bend River is turbulent and muddy all year round, and there are no fish in all 4 seasons. Is this Jiang Aijian guy lying? Duan Musheng said. He wouldn't dare, Ming Xiyin nodded slightly. Jiang Aijian is a smart person, he shouldn't do such stupid things. This Yun Kui Tower is very strange, we should still be careful. But thinking about it, Master is here, so what is there to be afraid of? Zhao Yanhe shouted loudly. Yun Kui Tower, look! The 9-story Yun Kui Tower towered into the clouds, appearing in everyone's sight. It was worthy of being Yun Kui Tower. So high. Ming Xinyan had never been here before, and when he saw Yun Kui Tower, he was immediately shocked by its height. Lu Zhao had been here quite a few times, or rather, Ji Tiandao had been here, but he didn't remember these things clearly. Lu Zhao took the lead in descending, and the 3 disciples respectfully followed behind. Ming Xinyan couldn't help but look at his master strangely. All the way here, Master's flying speed wasn't fast at all, even a little slow. It's not in line with the speed of a nascent soul cultivator, but how could he dare to doubt his master's cultivation? He just thought that Master was old, and even flying preferred to be slow and steady, preferring to fly slowly for comfort rather than endure a bit of bumping. But Ming Xinyan also understood that his master was taking care of them, otherwise, if he called Bai Zheng, how could they keep up? Whoosh. A figure suddenly swooped down. Hey, long time no see. I really miss everyone. Jiang Aijian, as ever, was flamboyant, carefree, and met everyone again. The figure glided towards a large tree, landing on a branch. Jiang Aijian wore a long sword slung over his shoulder, with his dolphin still looking as casual as ever. Lu Zhu calmly looked towards Jiang Aijian. This old man's patience is limited. As soon as Jiang Aijian heard this, his whole body trembled, and he hurriedly said, Don't, I'll roll down immediately. Look at me, how obedient I am. He jumped down from the branch, pointed to a nearby pavilion, and said, Old senior, please come inside. The group went into the pavilion. Jiang Aijian threw the dolphin into the river, then hurriedly wiped the chairs with his sleeves and said, Please, old senior, sit. Lu Jiao wasn't polite, and sat down indifferently. Jiang Aijian originally intended to sit down on the opposite side, but seeing Lu Jiao's scrutinizing gaze staring at him, he decisively stood there. He wanted to sit but didn't dare to sit, and could only watch Ming Xiyin, Duan Musheng, and Xiao Yanhe sit down one after another. Lu Jiao didn't bother with the scenery outside the pavilion, his eyes focused on Jiang Aijian. Jiang Aijian was looked at so much that his whole body trembled, and he said, Old senior, please don't look at me like that, I feel embarrassed. Lu Jiao stroked his beard slightly and said, Go on. Jiang Aijian put away his carefree attitude, mustered his courage, and sat down opposite Lu Jiao, then said, First, please allow me to thank old senior for helping Li Jinyi. Lu Jiao asked curiously, What is Li Jinyi to you? A friend? Lu Jiao narrowed his eyes, as if looking at prey. Then how do you plan to repay this old man's kindness? Jiang Aijian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Lu Jiao's gaze made his heart tremble incessantly. He took a brocade box from his chest and placed it on the table, everyone's eyes looking towards the brocade box. These days were really strange. Everyone liked to give things in brocade boxes. Jiang Aijian's brocade box looked very delicate and beautiful. Old senior, please open it and have a look. All the disciples glared at him. Lu Zhu waved his hand, and the brocade box popped open. The jade ripple fragment was in the box. It was indeed what he was looking for. One of the 8 lost jade ripple fragments. This fragment's shape was also irregular. Lu Zhao glanced at the system's quest interface. Searching for the Emerald Fall fragments 2/8, Ming Xiyin, Duan Musheng, and Zhao Yaner were all slightly surprised to see the Emerald Fall fragments. Jiang Aijian's abilities were not to be underestimated. This caught everyone off guard. This is what I found in the Imperial Vault. The first time I went in, I discovered an Emerald Fall fragment, but I didn't take it. Hearing that you were looking for this, senior, I had to go back to the vault again, Jiang Aijian said. Even though it's just a fragment, the Emerald Fall fragment is still a rather strange weapon. It can easily break through protective chi, and you can use it to injure your opponent when they're not paying attention. Lu Zhao nodded slightly, and then retrieved the Emerald Fall fragment. Acquired Emerald Fall fragment, received 100 merit points. Finding an Emerald Fall fragment in the Imperial Vault was an unexpected joy for Lu Zhao. And this harvest wasn't bad. Plus, during the quelling of the Anyang City Rebellion, Ming Xiyin and Duan Musheng had killed many targets, earning him 1900 merit points. Lu Zhao continued to ask, Yuan-san will appear at Yuan K Tower? Jiang Aijian chuckled and said, "You should ask the senior expert about that. Everyone says that the 7th disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, Si Wuyai, has intelligence networks spread throughout every nook and cranny of Great Yan. He spread the news that a treasure called the Heavenly Silkworm Gauntlet would appear at Yankuei Tower. And coincidentally, this Heavenly Silkworm Gauntlet is Yun San's favorite item." The Heavenly Silkworm Gauntlet originally belonged to the Yuntian Luo 3 sects. Yun San claims to be the sole heir of the Divine Thief sect, but he never managed to steal this item. Later on, somehow, the Heavenly Silkworm Gauntlet ended up in Si Wuyai's hands. "Senior, isn't he deliberately setting a trap for Yun San?" Lu Zhao didn't deny it, but nodded calmly. Jiang Aijian scratched his head embarrassedly. Lu Zhao stared at Jiang Aijian without blinking. "You asked me here just for this." No, of course not." Jiang Aijian sat up straight and cleared his throat. Awkwardly, Jiang Aijian said, "Senior, I want to know which side you're choosing to stand on." Seeing this, Ming Shiyin and the others were speechless. After rambling on for so long, now he's finally getting to the point. Lu Zhao hummed. Jiang Aijian waved his hand, and a few stones on the ground flew up and landed neatly on the table. "This is the first prince, this is the second prince, this is the third prince. Oh, never mind him. This is the fourth prince, this is the fifth prince, and then there's Consort Yu." 5 stones were arranged neatly on the table. Lu Zhao said calmly, "Continue." Jiang Aijian continued, "Senior, you don't know the first prince, so you probably won't choose him. The second prince's subordinate, Mo Li, is a thorn in your side. The fourth prince has been guarding the border all year round, so his power in the palace is very weak, not very likely. The fifth prince is weak and indecisive, so he can't achieve much. As for Consort Yu, she also hates the Demon Heaven Pavilion." Jiang Aijian smiled and said, "Well, it's also good if you don't choose any of them, Senior. I'll be relieved as long as you don't get involved in the palace's power struggles." Xiao Yanhe and Duan Wusheng glared, while Ming Shiyin just rolled his eyes at Jiang Aijian's long-winded presentation, analyzing everything and then answering himself. How embarrassing. Lu Zhao stroked his beard. "The Imperial Palace has become this chaotic?" He sighed. Jiang Aijian said helplessly, "The infighting in the palace will eventually spread to the outside world. Anyang City is a prime example." Lu Zhao continued to ask, "Why did you get involved in the Anyang situation even after leaving the Imperial Palace?" Jiang Aijian scratched his head. "I told you before, Li Jinyi is my friend. How could I stand by and watch her die? If Li Jinyi dies, then Wei Zhuoyan will also die. The 3 armies will be like a snake without a head, the second prince will be furious, and if the imperial family is in chaos, then the world will be in chaos. With such intentions, you'd be very suitable to sit on the throne." Jiang Aijian waved his hands repeatedly when he heard that. "I have no such ambitions. What I seek is simple, to survive and play with swords." Ming Shiyin and Xiao Yan'er couldn't help but laugh. "This guy is truly despicable." Lu Zhao's eyes looked towards Jiang Aijian, and suddenly opened his mouth to speak. Dragon's Cry. Jiang Aijian instinctively shrank back, but seeing that it was useless, he took out Dragon's Cry sword and placed it on the stone table. The outside of the sword sheath was wrapped in canvas cloth. Removing the canvas cloth revealed a sword sheath engraved with extremely beautiful dragon patterns. Whoosh! The sword came out of its sheath, and a beam of light shone from the blade. Jiang Aijian had admired this sword a lot, but at this moment he still stared at it obsessively, as if he wanted to be possessed. "A sword fanatic is indeed a sword fanatic." Lu Zhao nodded in approval. "Good sword," Jiang Aijian said. "I think so too. I've never encountered such a good sword in my life," Lu Zhao asked. "Is it very sharp?" Jiang Aijian's eyes lit up and he replied, "Extremely sharp." Jiang Aijian revealed a proud expression. "To test its sharpness, I lost a standard heaven-grade weapon. All earth-grade weapons and below are easily sliced like tofu." Lu Zhao gently lifted his hand, and a delicate and exquisite sword appeared in the palm of his hand. The nameless sword floated in the air, gently spinning. With qi surrounding it and emitting a faint glow, Jiang Aijian quickly retracted the Dragon's Cry sword, covered it tightly with canvas, and hugged it in his chest, chuckling, "Senior, please don't make things difficult for me. If the 2 swords fight and end up getting damaged, it wouldn't be worth it." "Forget it." Lu Zhuhao saw that he was in pain, so he didn't want to force him, and retracted the nameless sword. He slowly stood up, clasped his hands behind his back, and looked towards Yunkuei Tower. In the sky, a group of cultivators suddenly appeared, flying from the banks of Nine Bend River towards Yunkuei Tower. Jiang Aijian stood up and looked at the cultivators filling the sky. "They're here, let's go take a look." Ming Shiyin saw the cultivators flying everywhere and said, "Master, it's too chaotic with so many people. How about I go alone?" Lu Zhuhao shook his head. "It's alright, Yanzi Yunsan is cunning. With Ming Xinyan's abilities, it'll be very difficult to catch this guy." Yunsan was even able to escape the encirclement of the Yuntian Luo. 3 sects experts back then, Yunsan's cultivation isn't high, but he's famous for his ghost-like, God-fearing thieving skills. Lu Zhao turned and left the pavilion, walking along the small path towards Yunkuei Tower. At this moment, quite a few cultivators had gathered in front of Yunkuei Tower. From the Profound Connection Realm to the Divine Court Realm, all cultivation levels were present. Looking up, Yunkuei Tower appeared very grand and majestic. The large and tall tower could not be seen at the top, piercing into the clouds. It's said that there's a broken sword on the 9th floor of Yunkuei Tower. I wonder who will get it. It all depends on your ability. The formation to go up to the 9th floor depends on your mind, not your strength. I heard that the day before yesterday, a nascent soul expert from the God Capital was blasted out as soon as he reached the 7th floor. Conversely, last year, a Brahma Sea cultivator reached the 9th floor and took away a treasure. The cultivators looked up at Yunquei Tower. While they were chatting, a cultivator who was on the 3rd floor was blasted out. Look! Another person failed, and at the 3rd floor again! This person looked up at the sky and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The surrounding cultivators all retreated to avoid him, with no one showing any sympathy or compassion for the person who had just challenged the 3rd floor, letting him fall to the ground. The cultivators fought each other for the lead. Let's go up, you go up, I'll go up too. Jiang Aijian shook his head and raised his hand. Senior, I'll secretly tell you a secret. There's no clear abyss sword on this Yunquei Tower, but rather 2 emerald fall fragments. Emerald fall fragments. Although they can't compare to heaven grade weapons, these 2 pieces can be used to reforge. If done properly, they can reach the heaven grade. Ming Shiyin frowned, looked around and said, no wonder there are so many people here. There are those who don't know their own limitations who dare to go up. Suddenly, on Yunquei Tower, cultivators on the 6th and 7th floors were blasted out. The viewers standing below shook their heads and sighed. No one will be able to pass this year's 9-layer formation of Yunquei Tower. Jiang Aijian smiled cheekily. Very despicable. Senior, why don't you try your hand? If you make a move, you'll definitely get it, as easy as flipping your hand. Lu Zhao turned to look at Jiang Aijian. You're plotting against me again. Injustice, great injustice. This is Yunquei Tower's 9-layer formation, and there are 2 emerald fall fragments on it, heaven grade ones. He stopped abruptly halfway through his sentence. Only then did Jiang Aijian realize that everyone was looking at him. Couldn't help it, accidentally spoke a little too loud. You guys continue. All the cultivators watching Yunquei Tower were in an uproar. It's the emerald fall fragments, this time it's the emerald fall fragments. The cultivators, upon hearing about the azure glazed fragment, immediately burst into a clamorous discussion, vying for position. I have a big head, I was here first, get out of the way, I'm going in first. Then the whole crowd swarmed into the Cloudfinch Pavilion, each pushing and shoving. The azure glazed fragment was worthless to the Evil Sky Pavilion. After all, a fragment was just a low-grade weapon, not even considered a real weapon. That's why Yun-san was able to steal it. But to outsiders, it was an extremely valuable material. The azure glazed fragment wasn't a complete weapon, but an excellent material for forging weapons. Even 1,000-year-old cold iron might not compare, with its ability to break through protective Q. The azure glazed fragment became a highly sought-after material. However, the forging process was difficult, so the cultivators at the Cloudfinch Pavilion all thought that obtaining it meant selling it for a high price, or trading it for other items. Lu Zhao looked at Jiang Aijian with a questioning gaze. Jiang Aijian shrugged and said, Alright, I did it on purpose. He pointed at the group of cultivators in front of him and said, the more of you, the bigger the force. The 9-layered formation of the Cloudfinch Pavilion isn't something you can conquer with just cultivation. Ming Xinyin chuckled and said, so you want to wait for them to rush in, get the azure glazed fragment, and then we'll go in and rob them? Jiang Aijian gave a thumbs up in admiration. Ming Xiyin, 4th senior brother, you're really smart. Ming Xiyin ignored the praise and just asked, how did you know there was an azure glazed fragment in the Cloudfinch Pavilion? Jiang Aijian grinned, revealing a few rat-like teeth. The owner of the Cloudfinch Pavilion is a friend of mine. Ming Xiyin felt an urge to rush up and beat him up. If he's your friend, why didn't you say so earlier? Just tell him to bring it down, and that's that. Seeming to see through Ming Xiyin's thoughts, Jiang Aijian said, the 9-layered formation of the Cloudfinch Pavilion is always active. It disappears after a certain period. Only then it is easy to take it. See the 9-bend river? The formation disappears when the tide rises. Ming Xiyin nodded. I didn't expect you to know so much. Thank you for the praise, 4th senior brother. The cultivators at the Cloudfinch Pavilion were itching to move, and some were blocking the entrance. More and more cultivators entered the Cloudfinch Pavilion, and, of course, many were blasted out. Many people had too many distracting thoughts, hoping to get treasures, and were blasted out as soon as they reached the 1st floor, falling miserably. News of the azure glazed fragment spread quickly, and some nearby cultivators also rushed over. Jiang Aijian was speechless, bowing his head and hunching his back, saying, unexpected, I didn't expect so many people to come. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and looked at the Cloudfinch Pavilion, saying, it doesn't matter to him whether there are many or few people. They are just a bunch of kids, not worth his effort. Lu Zhao wasn't in a hurry because he was waiting for someone to appear. Yan Ziyun-san from the God Thief sect. With such a lively situation, would he come? Now Lu Zhao was a hunter, and a good hunter must be patient enough to wait for his prey to appear. Right or wrong, why is this year's 9-layered formation even harder than last year's? Last year I reached the 3rd floor, but this year I failed on the 2nd floor. One cultivator began to complain, a person nearby retorted, nonsense. If it's not made harder, people would break through it every year, coming every year to break through. Wouldn't that be the same as giving away treasures for free? Sigh, I'm not destined for this thing. Farewell. Below the entrance of the Cloudfinch Pavilion, there was a staff member specifically in charge of collecting fees, money, and items. Please leave them first. Those who fail to pass the level must either pay or leave an item. Ming Xiyin said to Jiang Aijian, this friend of yours really knows how to make money. Jiang Aijian said, he's one of the richest people in the divine capital. Do you think he knows how to make money or not? Jiang Aijian was the 3rd prince, so it was not strange for him to know such influential figures in the divine capital. Ming Xinyin looked at the cultivators who were constantly being blasted out and smiled. What's the use of having so many people? In the end, no one succeeds. Jiang Aijian scratched his head. Who knows? Facts speak louder than words. Who told those guys to have no skills? Jiang Aijian looked at Lu Zhao. Senior, what do you think? The knowledge and experience of the young cultivators were far inferior to Lu Zhao. Perhaps he would know some methods. Lu Zhao looked at the Cloudfinch Pavilion and said, "A heart without distracting thoughts." Jiang Aijian didn't understand. Just that. Lu Zhao immediately replied to him, "I'm not here to be a teacher." Boom, boom. Two sounds came from above. The crowd looked up, and two cultivators were blasted out of the windows on the 8th floor of the Cloudfinch Pavilion, with Q swirling around, forming ripples. The crowd exclaimed and then stepped back one after another. When the two people fell, they flipped in the air and unleashed a wave of Qi, then stepped on the air to descend. Good! The crowd watching below applauded in praise. Being able to reach the 8th floor and still have the strength to protect themselves after being blasted out meant they were clearly experts. The two landed on the ground, staggering for a moment before barely standing firm. Someone asked, "How was it?" "That's right. Pass on some insights and experiences to us." The cultivators surrounded them, wanting to ask about the situation. One of the two, who had just fallen, wiped the sweat from his forehead and swallowed. "Difficult. Very difficult." "Just that. How difficult?" "Explain clearly." The other person replied, "I advise you to give up." That person sighed and shook his head. "I've never seen a formation so difficult to pass." This person could reach the 8th floor, so his understanding of formations clearly surpassed those present. "Try again." "No need, no." "Who can possibly reach the 9th floor?" "Zhang Mu can only say so much. Believe it or not is up to you." He had already failed, so he didn't want to say much. After speaking, he turned and walked toward a nearby pavilion. The cultivators looked at each other. Although this person's words seemed negative, they had affected them quite a bit. People who could reach the 8th floor said that it was impossible to pass, so this formation must be extremely difficult. Xiao Yanhair jumped out. "Let me say it, master. How about I give it a try?" Lu Zhao nodded indifferently. Go. Xiao Yanhair was playful by nature. Although she had recently left the Evil Sky Pavilion, she had been very well behaved, so he couldn't be too hard on her. Xiao Yanhair was excited when she got permission from her master. "Thank you, master. Watch me." Jiang Aijian smiled and said, "Little girl, good luck." Hearing Jiang Aijian's words, Xiao Yanhair glared at him and shouted angrily, "Shut up! Who are you calling a little girl?" Jiang Aijian instinctively shrunk back. Oops! Still the same as before. Not easy to provoke at all. As Xiao Yanhair walked towards the Cloudfinch Pavilion, Jiang Aijian said, "Senior, this little girl." Before Lu Zhao could speak, Ming Xinyin said, "I advise you not to provoke her. You may not be her match now." Jiang Aijian clapped his hands and cheered, "My lady, go for it!" Ming Xiyin, hearing Jiang Aijian's address, was confused. Is this guy really the third prince of the Seven Flame? Jiang Aijian, one of the three great sword freaks? Xiao Yanhair walked to the entrance of the Cloudfinch Pavilion. The crowd jostling at the gate were all boorish men. She originally intended to unleash her divine power and scare them away, but remembering her master's teachings, she said, "Please make way." These cultivators, unexpectedly, were very polite, and they all parted to make a path for her. Xiao Yanhair, dressed in her cloud silk dance attire, looked exquisitely beautiful and stood out like a crane amongst chickens. At the age of 16, with a face like a full moon, she was naturally radiant. This young lady has such a beautiful face. Looking at her attire and bearing, she doesn't seem like someone from an ordinary family. She must be some noble lady from Anyang City. Such a knowledgeable and well-mannered female cultivator is rare. Xiao Yanhair entered the Cloud Sparrow Tower, and the gatekeeper glanced at her before raising his hand to gesture her in. The cultivators were also very considerate, letting her go first and not crowding her. Everyone watched Xiao Yanhair until she disappeared behind the door, and then each of them waited with anticipation for the result. Jiang Aijian crossed his arms and said, "Old senior, aren't you worried at all?" "Why should I be worried? If she can't break the formation, she'll be blasted out by the array. At worst, her vital energy will be disordered for a few days. At worst, she'll be injured for half a year." Lu Zhao calmly replied, "It's fine." Lu Zhao continued to wait for the target to appear, never once taking the ninefold formation seriously. Seeing that Lu Zhao didn't seem to care at all, Jiang Aijian was puzzled. "Don't you want to retrieve the Biluo fragment?" Lu Zhao simply ignored him. Suddenly, an excited voice came from the Cloud Sparrow Tower. A voice that made Jiang Aijian also curiously look up. Lu Zhao heard the voice and raised his head, seeing that Xiao Yanhair had reached the 5th floor. She was jumping and playing, completely forgetting herself. The people standing below watching all exclaimed, rubbing their eyes, thinking they were seeing things. After rubbing their eyes and looking carefully again, they saw that the little girl had indeed reached the 5th floor, and in her state, she didn't seem to be exerting any effort at all, not being affected by the great formation in the slightest. How? How is this possible? The cultivators couldn't understand it. Jiang Aijian also looked at Xiao Yanhair standing on the 5th floor in astonishment. From the moment he watched Xiao Yanhair enter the gate until she appeared on the 5th floor, the time was very short. In other words, after entering the Cloud Sparrow Tower, Xiao Yanhair hadn't stopped at all, continuously going up each floor. Jiang Aijian was dumbfounded. Ming Xinyin looked at him with disdain. The ninefold formation of the Cloud Sparrow Tower from the 1st to the 3rd floor is an illusion realm, from the 4th to the 5th floor is a maze realm, from the 6th to the 7th floor is inner demons, the 8th floor is hallucination. How could these first 8 floors possibly trouble my little junior sister? Jiang Aijian nodded, saying, "That's right, Lu Zhao's Xiao Yanhair is innocent and pure, with no distracting thoughts in her heart. The first 8 floors of the Cloud Sparrow Tower all attack distracting thoughts, so they're naturally ineffective against her. This was also what Lu Zhao had predicted from the start. Jiang Aijian said, "The 9th floor probably won't be easy to reach, because the test to get to the 9th floor is a question that tests intelligence. Even someone as intelligent as me might not be able to solve it." The 2 Xiang fellows thought to themselves, "Heh, even we couldn't pass it. How could anyone in this world possibly pass it?" Suddenly, a loud bang came from the Cloud Sparrow Tower. The people looked up, and the bang carried with it a heavy, layered force, making the surrounding space ripple. The cultivators revealed expressions of pity. This kind of situation usually appeared when someone failed the challenge. Failure came at a great price, judging by the sound. "It must be on the 8th floor." "Not bad," the coconut head cultivator said. "That brother just now also only made it to the 8th floor. Perhaps the test to get to the 9th floor is very difficult. When this young lady comes down, let's ask her about it." While everyone was expressing sympathy, a figure suddenly appeared on the top of the Cloud Sparrow Tower. The people were stunned, widening their eyes to look at Zhao Yanher standing on the 9th floor. In Zhao Yanher's hand was a brocade box, which she was constantly waving around. "Master, I got it!" The entire Cloud Sparrow Tower fell silent for a short time. After a moment of silence, the people began to exclaim, "Ah, she's up there! She actually got up there! How is this possible? When I was her age, I wasn't even weaned yet." "I'm still not weaned now. I'm actually not as good as a little girl." Jiang Aijian clicked his tongue in wonder. She actually reached the 9th floor of the Cloud Sparrow Tower. "How is that even possible?" Ming Xinyin then replied. "You have doubts." Jiang Aijian stroked his chin, unable to figure it out. "The test to get to the 9th floor tests intelligence. That friend of mine once said that in the entire divine capital, there are definitely no more than 3 people who can solve that question. How could such a little girl have such high intelligence?" Ming Xinyin said. "You're overthinking it. Just ask 4th senior brother to explain it clearly. Just kick the door open." Hearing this, Aijian's teeth stood still in disbelief. The 2 people who made it to the 8th floor staggered a step and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The coconut head cultivator turned to ask, "Ah, brother, what's wrong? How could Zhang Mu not be angry? He was only 1 step away. Most people only made it to the 7th floor, and very few made it to the 8th floor." Everyone thought that the test to get to the 9th floor was the most difficult, but in reality it was the simplest test. You just needed to kick it open. The exclamations finally stopped. The formation has been broken, and the item has an owner. Cloud Sparrow 9-fold Tower. See you all next year. As soon as this statement was announced, the cultivators on the ground all activated their vital energy and stepped on the ground, rushing upwards. They all pounced towards Zhao Yan'er, standing on the 9th floor. "The formation has been broken. Charge up. The treasure is mine." The remaining cultivators were stunned, then quickly retreated. "It's not the jade's fault. It's the one who carries it." The 2 Zhang cultivators rushed up. "Little girl, the Biluo fragment is not something you can hold." In just a flash, there were more than 10 cultivators who rushed up. Clearly, they had already discussed it thoroughly beforehand. This often happened in the Cloud Sparrow Tower. People without background, cultivation, or strength, even if they made it to the 9th floor, would only benefit others. Duan Musheng and Ming Xiyin didn't move at all. Cultivators of this level weren't enough for them to take action. The Fan Tianling, on the 9th floor of the Cloud Sparrow Tower, bloomed like a sea of roses, dancing all over the sky with a rumbling sound. The Fan Tianling swept around in the blink of an eye. Those cultivators were all hit, spitting out blood and flying backwards. The cultivators below stared blankly, utterly shocked. Xiao Yanher stepped on the void, the heaven-grade weapon, Brahma Wheel floated around her, the sky was full of weapon shadows. Some sharp-eyed cultivators recognized the grade of Brahma Wheel. Xiao Yanher giggled. "You dare to snatch my stuff, I'll beat you to death." The Brahma Wheel went back and forth, hitting those cultivators flying backward square in the chest. Jiang Aijian felt a pang of fear, retreating a step. This little girl is getting stronger. Her cultivation has broken through, and she has a heaven-grade weapon. Compared to the first time we met, Xiao Yanher is now countless times stronger. Xiao Yanher's powerful strength shocked all the cultivators, and the rest became obedient, not daring to act rashly. Suddenly, the coconut head cultivator pointed and shouted. Above the 9-winding river, a flying Ludian suddenly appeared, flying through the clouds like a ghost, flying past the forests and ridges, and heading towards Cloud Sparrow Tower. At the speed of a shooting star, the flying Ludian slowly stopped at the highest floor of Cloud Sparrow Tower. The cultivators at Cloud Sparrow Tower didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They could only look up at the flying Ludian. Xiao Yanher, standing on the 9th floor of Cloud Sparrow Tower, which was also the highest floor, had a very clear view. For a moment, she was also attracted by this ghost-like, flying Lucan. Ming Xinyin said, "Master, this disciple will go help junior sister." Lu Zhao rejected his suggestion. No need. Lu Zhao's intuition told him that Yan Ziyun III was likely to appear. Perhaps he is hiding in some dark corner observing everything. Or perhaps he is standing among the cultivators present here. Yan Ziyun III is just a title, no one knows his real name, nor is it clear how high his cultivation is, perhaps the Vitarna realm, or perhaps the nascent divinity realm. At this moment, a cultivator in grey robes appeared on the flying Lufian, holding a brocade box in his hands, stepping on the void, slowly descending. The mysterious cultivator exuded a strange aura all over his body. His cloak covered his entire body, and no one could see his face or appearance clearly. The mysterious cultivator stopped several dozen feet away from Cloud Sparrow Tower and said, "Congratulations on Ninth Gentleman's birthday. I am ordered by the sect leader to present Ninth Gentleman with a gift." The cultivators at Cloud Sparrow Tower, with relatively low cultivation, only felt that the person who had just arrived was a master, but they had no idea how high his cultivation was. High-level cultivators usually hide their aura, not allowing others to easily sense their cultivation. But even so, this level of showmanship was enough to shock the crowd. What is the identity of this little girl anyway? Why would it make such a mysterious cultivator so respectful? A girl below was struggling to cover her overly large chest. Jiang Aijian smiled and said, "Si Wu Yai of the demonic sky pavilion truly lives up to his reputation. The treasure in that brocade box must be the heaven's silkworm handsheath." A weak Gang Chi supported the brocade box, flying towards Cloud Sparrow Tower. The Cloud Sparrow Tower cultivators looked at this scene in surprise. Everyone saw the brocade box slowly flying towards Zhao Yaner, and Zhao Yaner also looked towards the brocade box with anticipation. Eldest brother gave her cloud stepping shoes, second brother gave her rainbow feather garment. What will seventh brother give her? When the brocade box was close at hand, suddenly, a hook, similar to a fishing line and a rope, with a hook, flew out from a small boat docked on the nine-winding river. Rushing into the air and towards the brocade box, Jiang Aijian smiled slightly and said, "Fish on the hook." With a light tap of his toes, Jiang Aijian's figure shot towards the nine-winding river like lightning. Ming Xinyin and Duanmu, unwilling to be left behind, simultaneously stepped on the water like dragonflies, flying towards the small boat on the nine-winding river. The crowd exclaimed. Three nascent divinity tribulation realm experts. Lu Zhao didn't bother with the brocade box in midair but eagerly looked towards Jiang Aijian. Since knowing Jiang Aijian, he had never really seen Jiang Aijian take action. This guy was no less capable than Ming Xinyin as soon as he made a move. Boom! Jiang Aijian was the first to set foot on the small boat. The rope with the fishing hook, which was heading towards the brocade box, suddenly retracted. Whoosh whoosh, from inside the Cloud Sparrow Tower, from the bottom of the nine-winding river. Several ropes with hooks simultaneously attacked the brocade box. At an extremely fast speed, so fast that no one could react in time, Jiang Aijian said. "There's no one on the boat." Duanmu Sheng, holding the Overlord's spear, plunged into the bottom of the nine-winding river with a bang. "Get out of the way, I'll go underwater and take a look." One spear strike created a huge whirlpool, drilling deep into the riverbed. Suddenly, a hook shot out from the cool pavilion, startling Jiang Aijian. Damn, there's even a cool pavilion. Ming Xiyin changed direction. He had a feeling that Yan Ziyun III wanted to obtain the Heaven's Silkworm Handsheath, and wouldn't just prepare a simple rope and hook. Little junior sister was likely to become the target of Yan III, who was flying in midair, so Ming Xiyin stopped. 100 Tribulations Profound Understanding. He unhesitatingly cast the Dharma body. 100 Tribulations Profound Understanding simultaneously used the Great Divine Power technique towards little junior sister. Jiang Aijian flew towards the Liang Pavilion. The rope with the hook had wrapped around the brocade box. The cultivators below shouted, and there were also mechanisms in the tower. Zhao Yanhair looked around, saw the hook hooking the brocade box, and immediately used the Brahma wheel to stop it, and shouted loudly, "Mine!" The Brahma wheel flew towards the brocade box. How could Zhao Yanhair let her gift be snatched away right in front of her eyes? The Brahma wheel was a heaven-grade weapon, and in a blink of an eye, it flew out, tightly wrapping around the brocade box. Zhao Yanhair stepped through the air, and then she informed Ming Xiyin, "Yan III isn't here." Ming Xiyin frowned. "If he's not on Cloud Sparrow Tower, then where is he?" Suddenly, Ming Xiyin seemed to see something, and warned Zhao Yanhair, "Little junior sister, be careful. There are crossbow mechanisms in the water carrying Gang Chi." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Also proficient in mechanisms. To be able to do this, there is no other explanation other than he is very proficient in hidden weapon mechanisms." With the cultivation of Ming Xiyin, Duanmu Sheng, and Jiang Aijian, how could they not sense the existence of a living person? Duanmu Sheng even jumped into the water to investigate. Zhao Yanhair turned around. The Brahma wheel wrapped around her body, and streams of fiery red Gang Chi swirled around her body. Lu Zhao wasn't worried that Zhao Yanhair would be injured. She had the Brahma wheel, the rainbow feather garment, and her nascent divinity realm cultivation. She could cast the 6 unison combined Daoyo seal for defense in an instant. Zhao Yanhair used the Brahma wheel to form a protective circle around herself, and she shouted, "I blocked an arrow with golden Gang Chi." It shot towards Zhao Yanhair, but at the same time, another arrow with blue Gang Chi flew over. Zhao Yanhair was startled, a question mark of confusion. When the arrow with blue Gang Chi blocked the remaining arrow, Lu Zhao also focused his attention on Zhao Yanhair. The arrow with golden Gang Chi was broken in half. Zhao Yanhair had also landed on the ground along with Ming Xiyin, who had just flown over. Holy moly, that was intense. All the cultivators at Yunquei Tower thought that little Yanhair was a goner for sure. They were all gawking and gossiping like, "I thought that little girl was toast." Then, BAM! A crimson arrow came out of nowhere, faster than lightning, and blocked it. Looks like it was shot from the forest, and I could feel this crazy powerful energy swirling around it. Whoosh! Duanmu Sheng burst out of the water like a freaking dolphin, and then he slowly floated back down to the ground. And guess what? Duanmu Sheng was holding a whole bunch of crossbows and arrows he'd collected earlier. Duanmu Sheng was like, "There's no one in the water, just a bunch of crossbows. I took care of them all." Ming Xiyin piped up, "One got away." To pull off something like that, it has to be one mechanism at a time. Ain't no other way. Like, with their cultivation levels, how could Ming Xiyin, Duanmu Sheng, and Jiang Aijian not sense something like that? Xiao Yanher bowed her head and offered the Binluo fragment. "Master, I'm happy to say that I didn't fail in my mission. I retrieved the Binluo fragment." Lu Zhao calmly said, "Good job. Are you hurt?" No, master! Zhao Yunhe was super stoked to get praised by her master, but Lu Zhao wasn't all that thrilled. Pocketing the 2 Biluo fragments and getting a measly 200 merit points. Getting the fragments back was cool, but not catching Yun San bummed him out. Now there are 4 more Biluko fragments left. Where the heck is he gonna find them? Creak! Creak! The sounds got louder and louder, echoing through the small path, along with the sound of neat, orderly footsteps, all in sync. The sound of an army marching, echoing throughout Yunque Tower. The Jade Consort has arrived. Everyone clear the way. At the end of the path, a super swanky palanquin came into view. The golden curtains and the intricate carvings on it were all about that exotic vibe. Everyone without business here, clear the way. Next to the fancy palanquin, a gorgeous woman in white was strolling along with a bunch of soldiers, holding a delicate little bow in her hand. The palanquin kept creaking. 2 rows of soldiers charged ahead, straight towards Yunque Tower, weapons clashing and banging. Everyone without business here, clear the way! The cultivators in front of Yunque Tower shook their heads and cleared off, gathering in the pavilion, craning their necks to watch. Lu Zhao and his crew didn't budge. The entrance to Yunque Tower was now clear, and the 2 rows of soldiers raised their spears. The creaking palanquin pulled up in front of Yunque Tower. Lu Zhao's eyes zeroed in on the woman in white walking next to the palanquin. Name: Hua Yuexing. Race: human. Realm: nascent divinity. Lower the palanquin. The palanquin slowly lowered to the ground, and the curtain was lifted. The Jade Consort, decked out in fancy robes and a golden crown, gracefully stepped out. She stood up straight, hands clasped in front of her, all dignified and elegant. That heavily lined eyeliner was a dead giveaway that she was from out of town. Hua Yuexing quickly helped the Jade Consort over to Lu Zhao, giving a slight nod and smile. Greetings, honored one. Lu Zhao glanced sideways and noticed that Jiang Aijian had vanished. Whatever, he probably chickened out to avoid being exposed. You recognize this old man? Lu Zhao's tone was as chill as ever, not even slightly intimidated by the Jade Consort's entourage. The cultivators in the pavilion were freaking out over this greeting. Even the Jade Consort is bowing to that old guy. Who the heck is he? The Jade Consort chuckled softly. Why don't you come upstairs and sit for a bit? The folks at Yunque Tower bowed slightly. This way, please. That Jiang Aijian was nowhere to be seen. He's probably worried about being exposed, whatever. Lu Zhao glanced at Hua Yuexing and headed into Yunque Tower. The broken formation was useless now, so everyone sauntered up to the 9th floor. The Nine-Bend River was in front, and the mountains were behind. It was the perfect place to chat. Then, everyone went upstairs and took a seat. Ming Shiyin, Zhao Yanhe, and Duan Musheng stood behind. Behind the Jade Consort, there was just one soldier, and the archer, Hua Yuexing, one of the 3 great sharpshooters of the imperial capital, Lu Zhao said, calling out her name, Hua Yuexing. As soon as he said the name, Ming Shiyin and the others looked at Hua Yuexing in surprise. That incredible arrow that had blocked the golden energy arrow from the Nine-Bend River was something to behold. Hua Yuexing was taken aback and bowed. I'm surprised that senior knows my name. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. If this old man remembers correctly, you used to be a disciple of the Lu Zhao sect. Hua Yuexing's face flushed, and she stepped back slightly. Betraying your sect ain't exactly something to brag about. Just like Zhao Yu, Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin were thinking, yeah, betraying your sect isn't exactly something you brag about. The Jade Consort giggled. Elder Lu, don't tease her. Hua Yuexing is a powerful archer, and she's a woman. She's not suited to wandering around. She's serving the court now, and this is her home. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. Everyone has their own path. Forcing it won't work. Speak your mind, what's this about? I came here to clear up some misunderstandings. First, back in Anyang City, that imposter Shen Yuan, using the fake name Wang Fukuo, wasn't my subordinate. Someone framed me, trying to stir up trouble between us. She paused for a moment and continued. I am from the western regions, and my sisters did die because of the second gentleman of the Evil Sky Pavilion. But I swear, I would never hold a grudge against the Evil Sky Pavilion. Elder Lu, you have a good eye. I wouldn't dare to lie. When Lu Zhao killed Wang Fukuo, he suspected that someone in the palace was trying to stir up trouble. But there was no proof. And you can't bring the dead back to life. Just hearing one side wasn't enough to convince Lu Zhao. The Jade Consort went on. Second, after Shen Yuan's death, the Evil Sky Pavilion and the royal family have been at odds. But I had nothing to do with any of that. Hua Yuexing can vouch for me. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said calmly, Why should I believe you? That question caught Hua Yuexing off guard. The Jade Consort nearly froze. Everything I've said is true. You've fought with the experts in the palace, haven't you? You can tell the difference. The Jade Consort had no voodoo energy. If she dared to stand against the Evil Sky Pavilion, she wouldn't have dared to show up alone at Yunque Tower. But Lu Zhao shook his head. How did you know I was here? Not many people knew he was coming. The Jade Consort said, I heard about the chaos in Anyang City. Only the master of the Evil Sky Pavilion could make the 4 guardians of the Nether sect submit. There is no second person I can think of. Lu Zhao slowly stood up, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. He put his hands behind his back and walked to the railing, looking out over the Nine-Bend River. The 9th floor of Yunque Tower had only a low railing, so the view was unobstructed. Lu Zhao suddenly said, Do you know why I'm here? The Jade Consort shook her head. I came here to clear up misunderstandings. I know nothing else, Lu Zhao said. Yun San stole something from this old man. Yun San is the sole heir of the Godly Thief sect. He's skilled at the Yanzi style. Yun San, that's right. The Jade Consort said, I heard he's nimble. When Hua Yuexing was still at the Luo sect, the whole sect couldn't catch him. It won't be easy for you to catch him. He's just a rat in a hole. Once this old man makes a move, he won't escape. He emphasized each of the last 3 words. Lu Zhu's face was still impassive. He stroked his beard with one hand and raised the other slightly. In the palm of his hand, the light of a prop card flickered. He looked toward the pavilion below Cloudfinch Tower. The counterclockwise swirl spinning endlessly, golden light appearing, the binding cage forming in a flash and flying towards the pavilion. Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Zhao Yanshare, standing on the Cloudfinch Tower, were completely caught off guard when they saw their master suddenly make a move, all gaping at the sight. Master made a move? Yu Fei and Hua Yuexing also stared wide-eyed. The coconut head cultivator wondered, what the heck is that? The binding cage descended from the sky, the yuan qi fluctuations creating a resonant sound. He was in the pavilion. The coconut head cultivator standing next to Zhang Mu, his expression suddenly changed, his body flashing. Crap, I'm exposed! He bolted into the forest. The binding cage grew larger and larger. This person was none other than the sole heir of the divine thief sect, Yan Ziyun San. Yun San laughed heartily, running while saying, Sorry, Senior Jilao, your little trick won't work on me. From now on, the great name of Yan Ziyun San will spread throughout the entire Great Yan, escaping from the hands of the #1 demonic cultivator. How huge of an achievement is that? The cultivators chattered amongst themselves. That guy, he suddenly bolted out, that's fast. Disguise technique, he turned from a square head to a round head. Wait, didn't he mention just now, he's? The cultivators standing in the pavilion were stunned. They looked up at the descending binding cage, then exchanged glances. Run! That's the Grand Devil of the Demon Heaven Pavilion. The Demon Heaven Pavilion's devil is here? What the hell are you doing, you idiot? You peed your pants, you piece of trash. At this moment, the cultivators finally reacted, also realizing who the little girl who reached the 9th floor of Cloudfinch Tower actually was. What? Miss of a respectable family? What scholarly background? All bullshit. A polite devil is even scarier, Lu Zhao thought to himself. Stealing my stuff. I definitely won't let it slide. Yu Fei and Hua Yuexing were stunned. To be able to use such a powerful move from so far away, what kind of skill is that? Witchcraft or some other kind of magic? Or is it a technique similar to that of the divine archers? As one of the 3 great divine archers of the divine capital, Hua Yuexing racked her brains, but couldn't figure out what kind of technique this was. Even though she couldn't perform it, she had studied at Lucaro sect for many years. All the books related to divine archery, she had read them all. But she had never heard of or seen any technique like this. Ming Xinyan seemed to see through Hua Yuexing's thoughts. He suddenly said, You said you wanted to clear up misunderstandings with the Demon Heaven Pavilion, so why didn't you make a move just now? Hua Yuexing's heart pounded in her chest. A little nervous, Yu Fei was also startled. Hua Yuexing hurriedly bowed and said, This junior was momentarily distracted and didn't pay attention. Please forgive me, senior. Lu Zhao waved his hand. Forget it. Lu Zhao stepped to the window, looked into the distance, and thought to himself. Even if Hua Yuexing had made a move, she might not have caught Yun San. The cunning of this Yun San is beyond his expectations. The binding cage had locked onto its target. Whether it could catch him or not depended on luck. Near Cloudfinch Tower, a low growl suddenly echoed. Bian arrived riding the clouds. Lu Zhao looked at the binding cage. Walking closer to Yun San step by step, he said indifferently, Can you escape? With a slight wave of his hand, the cultivators stared blankly at the legendary mount. The disciples were not surprised, but Yu Fei and Hua Yuexing, along with the soldiers standing in Cloudfinch Tower, were all speechless. Bian's hooves, claws, appearance, and flying speed were all beyond their comprehension. Lu Zhao jumped onto Bian, skillfully catching him, then chased after Yun San. Lu Zhao shouted loudly, Get out of the way! But Bian's speed was too fast. The cultivators couldn't react in time. Along the way, Bian sent everyone flying. Xiao Yanhair, standing in the Cloudfinch Tower, shouted loudly, Disciple awaits master's good news. Riding Bian, while tossing out 3 item cards, Lu Zhao thought to himself. Although he had tossed out 3 binding cages, Lu Zhao was still not sure whether Yun San would be caught or not. After all, the perfect probability of mathematics could not explain the dogshit luck of some people. Lu Zhao had originally planned to ignore it. If he was unlucky and didn't catch him, then Lu Zhao would let it go. However, Yun San's words had caused Lu Zhao to change his mind. As the pavilion master of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, the current #1 Grand Devil, how could he let the prey in his hands escape? With Bian appearing, things became easier. Just follow the binding cage. The drop point of the binding cage was where Yun San was hiding. Yun San was indeed very cunning, but could he run faster than Bian? Lu Zhao rode Bian as fast as the wind, chasing in the direction of the 3 binding cages. The first binding cage to be launched was now 10 meters wide and was still constantly growing. Bian's speed was very fast, soon catching up with the binding cage. Lu Zhao stood on Bian's back, surveying the earth. The overly dense forest had obscured his vision. Fortunately, Lu Zhao now had the cultivation of the divine court realm. Bian's rampage did not affect him in the slightest. Lu Zhao lowered his altitude, continuing to chase in the air. From the Cloudfinch Tower, the 3 binding cages could no longer be seen. Everyone was quietly waiting for news. At the same time, Yun San weaved through the trees, sprinting all the way, he smugly thought. Even if the 3 sects of Yun Tianluo joined forces, They couldn't catch me, wanting to catch me from such a distance. Haha. His speed was astonishing. He sprinted for 2 miles before starting to slow down. His cultivation was only at the Divine Court realm, but in terms of speed, he could compare to the nascent Soul realm. He had been sprinting non-stop along this road. To catch up, one would have to use great divine powers, but the north was a deep forest, so it would be even easier for him to find a place to hide. Yun-san relaxed, stopping completely. What demon heaven pavilion? What demon Tao patriarch? Bah! Huh? What is this? As soon as he stopped, he saw a huge cage descending from the sky. The binding cage was descending straight towards his head. Even cultivators with powerful cultivation would be scared out of their wits when they saw this scene. Yun-san had never seen such a miracle. The binding cage fell on his head, then turned into a ripple and disappeared into the air. Yun-san was dumbfounded, not understanding what had happened. Did it just disappear like that? Just as he was feeling strange, a voice rang out behind him. Yun-san. Yun-san instinctively turned his head to look back. Yun-san exclaimed in shock. Holy SHT! Yun-san's whole body erupted with primal chi, and he desperately sprinted away. A massive Bixi, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, was hurtling towards him. Lu Zhao stood on Bixi's back, his body protected by a layer of gang chi. Awu, Bixi pounced. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding trees were snapped in half by Bixi's charge. Finally, Bixi was about to catch up to Yun-san. He shouted, "Catch me if you can. Once you're close enough, I'm dipping." He continued to provoke. I'm using Earth Escape now. With a whoosh, he disappeared. Lu Zhao was slightly surprised. Earth Escape technique. Lu Zhao controlled Bixi to stop. He wasn't in any rush. The second and third binding collars were already on their way. The second binding collar fell in the open space 20 meters ahead of Lu Zhao and then dissipated into the air. Failing to trigger a binding probability, Lu Zhao understood the Earth Escape technique very well. After using Earth Escape, the movement speed will decrease significantly, and the consumption of primal chi will also increase greatly. With Bixi here, even if Yun-san grew wings, he would have a hard time escaping. The third binding collar arrived, expanding like a Tian Luo Diwang. A shadow resembling a vast net appeared on the ground. Finally, the third one triggered the binding probability. This scene was exactly the same as when the binding collar captured Fan Xuan at the Devil Sky Pavilion, and it even looked more magnificent. Although the space inside the Devil Sky Pavilion was large, it was still far less than being in the middle of nature. Lu Zhu looked toward the location of the binding collar not far from him, only about 20 meters away. From the sky, it looked like a fishing net cast down on the forest. Hundreds of trees were shredded by the net in the blink of an eye, and the tree fragments were gathered by the binding collar into a square shape, then shot out, scattered on the ground. Very quickly, the square area became barren, with nothing left inside. The binding collar flickered with golden light, and then burrowed into the ground. Ah! A miserable scream came from underground. The binding collar finally hit its target. Lu Zhao nodded, a smirk playing on his lips. Gotcha! Lu Zhao directed Bixi to descend to the ground. Thump! One of Bixi's feet stomped on the ground, sending rocks flying. Bixi obediently lay down on its stomach to the side. Lu Zhao clasped his hands behind his back and walked to the location of the binding collar. Cultivators who are caught are sealed off from their cultivation. This he had already seen from Fan Xuan. Therefore, Lu Zhao wasn't worried that Yun-san would escape. He calmly stood there, stroking his beard, while observing the situation. Another wail came from Yun-san from within the earth. Lu Zhao transmitted his voice. Yun-san? Still want to run? Ooh, ooh. Apart from the ooh sounds, Yun-san could barely speak. Lu Zhao flicked his hand slightly. Bixi roared as if very excited and rushed over, reaching out with its claws to dig. Before long, Bixi had dug Yun-san out. It bared its teeth, scaring Yun-san into screaming for his parents. Yun-san begged repeatedly, almost crying, Don't! Senior, please spare my life! Please spare my life! When he saw the #1 demonic figure of the era standing beside him, his whole body trembled uncontrollably. He had never been so scared before. He wanted to move but couldn't move at all. The invisible thing that was binding him was extremely tight. Take him away, Lu Zhao ordered. Bixi immediately grabbed Yun-san in its mouth. On the Yunke Tower, everyone was still waiting. Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Xiao Yanhe didn't see anything, but Yu Fei said, Senior is already old. Is it okay for him to go catch Yun-san alone? Ming Shiyin immediately replied. No need for you to worry. My master is unparalleled in divine might. It would be a freak occurrence if Yun-san could escape. I have no ill intentions. I hope you all will forgive me. While everyone was waiting, north of the Yunke Tower, Lu Xiao directed Bixi to return, stepping on hills. In Bixi's mouth was a person, clearly Yanzi Yun-san, the only successor of the Divine Thief sect who had just run away. Several cultivators who hadn't escaped but hid in the Liang Pavilion looked up at the sky and saw this scene. Yun-san has been caught. The only successor of the Divine Thief sect has been caught. This inadvertently made the cultivation world even more in awe of the Devil Sky Pavilion. The only successor of the Divine Thief sect, Yanzi Yun-san, was known for being cunning. He initially stole at Yuntian Luo. 3 sects were surrounded and blocked by the experts of the 3 great sects. But he was still able to escape. In terms of cunning alone, he was several times stronger than the Black Knight leader, Fan Xuan. Lu Zhao stood on Bixi's back, which was holding Yan Yun-san, and returned to Yunxi Tower. As Bixi flew closer, it spat Yun-san into Yunxi Tower, not caring about his life or death. Lu Zhao stepped through the air and returned. The disciples were extremely excited by this scene. Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng exclaimed, "Master is unparalleled in divine might. For all eternity?" Yu Fei was left speechless. Unparalleled in divine might was fine. But what the hell was for all eternity? Yu Fei suddenly stood up. Hua Yuexing instinctively tightened her grip on the bow and arrow in her hand. Her knuckles had turned white. During the time waiting in Yunke Tower, Yu Fei felt that Duan Musheng and Xiao Yanhe still looked like people. Only this Ming Shiyin occasionally had symptoms like mental illness. Duan Musheng and Xiao Yanhe only bowed slightly. Yu Fei bowed slightly and said, "Senior's methods are truly astonishing. I am full of admiration." Hua Yuexing cupped her hands and said nothing more. Lu Zhao walked to the side of the stone table, then stroked his beard and sat down. His gaze turned to Yun San lying on the ground. "Yun San, I will ask you, and you only need to answer. Yes, yes, yes." Yun San struggled to get up, kneeling on the ground, not even daring to breathe heavily. Lu Zhao pressed. "Where are the remaining Biluo fragments?" Yun San swallowed a mouthful of saliva and lowered his head. He said, 3 fragments are in the palace, but 2 of those fragments have already been placed in Yunxi Tower. 1 fragment is in Mo Qi of the Pure Ming Dao, and 1 fragment is in the Great Emptiness Temple. The Biluo fragment of the Great Emptiness Temple must be the one given to the monk Zhu Liu. As for the 3 fragments in the palace and the 2 fragments of Yunxi Tower, Xiao Yanyer had already obtained 1 fragment, and the remaining one was taken by Jiang Aijian from the inner treasury and given to him. So there were only 3 fragments left whose whereabouts were unknown. Lu Zhao said nothing, just silently waiting for him to continue. Yun San raised his head, secretly glanced at Yu Fei, and then stammered. "The remaining 3 fragments." He couldn't say the words. Ming Xinyin impatiently stepped forward and kicked him. "Spit it out," Yun San muttered a sentence. "Well, I don't know if I should say it or not." At this moment, Yu Fei, sitting opposite, suddenly spoke, her voice cold and without emotion. "What should be said and what shouldn't be said, don't you know?" Lu Zhao's gaze shifted from Yun San to Yu Fei. "Do you know why I knew he was Yun San?" Yu Fei's heart trembled slightly, but she maintained a faint smile on her face. "I am a woman of no consequence and don't understand cultivation, so how could I know?" Ming Xinyin seemed to have understood something, and he said with a smile, "Disciple understands. Tell me." Lu Wazhu didn't want to waste his energy saying much, Ming Xinyin then said. "Around the Yunque Tower, there are grappling hooks on ropes, paper figures, and hidden weapon mechanisms under the river. All these things need to be set up way in advance. The owner of Yunque Tower comes from the divine capital, so he must have connections with people in the palace. Yun San alone couldn't pull this off, which means there's someone else behind him." Yung Fei clapped her hands. "That makes sense. So who could that person be?" Ming Xinyin replied. "You have a grudge against the Great Void Temple, and you're familiar with the Yunque Tower." Suddenly, Yun San bolted and ran. Exclamations erupted from below the Yunque Tower. Hua Yuexing said angrily, trying to escape. Not this time. She grabbed her bow, drew an arrow, and the prime energy vibrated intensely, forming a shimmering golden barrier. Whoosh! The whole process was done in a single breath. Yan Yun San jumped out of the Yunque Tower. Boom! The Overlord Spear and the 1,000-layered Prime Shadow blocked her path. Duan Musheng spun mid-air, shattered Hua Yuexing's Prime Energy Arrow, and then launched the Scarlet Brahma net out of the Yunque Tower, wrapping it tightly around Yun San's body. Xiao Yanhe held one end of the Brahma net, tying up Yun San in mid-air like she was flying a kite. She laughed. "Master, am I awesome or what?" Yun San's cultivation is sealed, so there's no way he could escape if he jumped, so why would he still jump? Lu Zhao looked toward Hua Yuexing. Killing him to silence him, Hua Yuexing trembled and took a step back. "I wouldn't dare. I just wanted to help you, senior." Even though she's a godly archer, Duan Musheng could take her head at any moment at this distance. The atmosphere on the Yunque Tower suddenly became incredibly tense, completely silent. Even Yu Fei felt like she was struggling to breathe. She never expected the situation to turn out like this. Lu Zhao stood up, put his hands behind his back, and walked to the railing of the Yunque Tower. He looked at Yun San hanging in midair and said calmly, "You think I wouldn't know if you didn't speak up?" He raised his hand, and the primal key on his hand vibrated, prime energy gathering in his palm. The bow and arrow in Hua Yuexing's hand suddenly started shaking. Uzong Hua Yuexing was shocked. "Senior," boom, a figure suddenly flashed and stood in front of Hua Yuexing. Ming Xinyin struck out with a palm. Hua Yuexing cried out in pain and flew backward. The bow and arrow fell from her hand. The situation had completely spiraled out of control. The remaining people were so scared they collapsed to the ground, trembling all over. The soldiers were even more terrified, not knowing what to do. Hua Yuexing was one of the 3 great godly archers of the divine capital. Her reputation was no less than that of Li Marjing of the Black Knights, and Chen Zhu, Mo Li's subordinate. Li Marjing was dead, and Chen Zhu was also dead, leaving only Hua Yuexing, who had just been blasted away by Ming Xinyin at close range. Hua Yuexing was sent flying out of the Yunque Tower, and Ming Xinyin rushed forward and glared at her. "Still got the nerve to play dirty tricks? I'll take your life." The separation hook appeared in his hand, shimmering with light. The separation hook was pressed against Hua Yuexing's neck. Yu Fei's face was now deathly pale, and she quickly lowered herself and said, "Senior, please wait," Lu Zhou said indifferently. "Let her come up." Ming Xinyin immediately stopped and respectfully retreated to the side. After falling, Hua Yuexing staggered a few more steps. This blow almost seriously injured her, but luckily Ming Xinyin didn't go for the kill. Yu Fei's soft voice came, "Come up here." Although Hua Yuexing was unwilling, she still soared into the air and returned to the 9th floor of Yunquei Tower. She nervously looked at Ming Xinyin and Lu Jiao. Yu Fei went up to Lu Jiao and softly lowered herself, saying, "I only did it as a last resort." Lu Jiao said, "You admit it." Yu Fei sighed softly. "I admit it. Yun San is indeed my man." At this point, everything was clear. Lu Jiao glanced over, thinking that Yun San was Yun Fei's man, so he didn't dare to reveal her, and Hua Yuexing wanted to take the opportunity to silence him. Lu Jiao motioned to Xiao Yanhe. Xiao Yanhe waved her hand and retracted the Brahmanet, and Yun San fell back into Yunquei Tower. Xiao Yanhe, with her big eyes, smiled and said, "Master, should I break his legs so he won't dare to run away anymore?" Yun San's whole body trembled, and his hands kept flailing. Then he huddled up into a ball, looking extremely pathetic. Seeing that Lu Jujiao didn't say anything, Xiao Yanhe obediently didn't dare to mess around. She stuck out her tongue and made a face at Yun San, then stood aside. Lu Juju's gaze turned back to Yun San. Lu Jiao growled, "Speak." Yun San trembled, first kowtowing to Yu Fei, and then saying to Lu Jiao, "The remaining 3 pieces of the azure falling shard are all in Yu Fei's hands. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Please forgive me," Lu Jiao mused. So in fact, there were 4 azure falling shards in the palace. He had already obtained the Jiang'ai sword in the treasury, so he didn't need to consider it anymore. Yu Fei sighed. "Senior, the bow and arrow in Hua Yuexing's hand were made from the azure falling shard. The reason I hid it was because I didn't want to create a deep conflict with the Great Void Temple. Yun San used his relationship with me to set up mechanisms around Yunquei Tower to steal the Heaven Silkworm handguard. I didn't know anything about this." The disciples looked at the bow lying on the stone table in surprise. No wonder Master took action against Hua Yuexing. It turned out that he had seen through these tricks from the very beginning. Lu Jiao said nothing. Yu Fei quickly continued, "If I really wanted to be hostile to the Great Void Temple, how would I dare to come to Yunquei Tower and walk right into my own death?" Yunquei Tower was silent, and even breathing became difficult. Hua Yuexing cupped her hands and said, "If I really intended to be hostile, I wouldn't have stopped Yun San when they first arrived." Everyone had seen the black arrow carrying golden prime energy that had been shot towards Xiao Yan'er. Hua Yuexing had indeed blocked that arrow. Hua Yuexing said again, "I am willing to return the bow and arrow to the Great Void Temple." Ming Xinyin mumbled, "Well, that's alright then. If the azure falling shard is made properly, only 2 shards are needed to create a heaven-grade weapon. However, the supporting materials required are also extremely precious. To think these 3 azure falling shards could only make an earth-grade bow and arrow. What a waste." Lu Jiao waved his hand and retrieved the bow and arrow. The situation reversed, and he retrieved the azure falling bow. He needed to refine it again to obtain the azure falling shard. Quantity 3. At the same time, Lu Jiao looked at the progress of the quest. Retrieve the azure falling shard, 7/8. It was going more smoothly than he had imagined else. He originally thought that the azure falling shards were scattered to the 4 corners of the world, and that it would take a lot of effort to find them. He didn't expect something that he didn't care about to be a rare treasure in the eyes of others. If they also thought it was trash and casually threw it in a corner somewhere, he probably wouldn't be able to find it in his lifetime. Only one last piece remained. Lu Jiao looked at Yun San. "Yun San, I'll give you a chance to live." As soon as Yun San heard that he still had a chance, he kowtowed to Lu Jiao without stopping. As he kowtowed heavily, he said, "Please, senior, just give me your orders. As long as I can survive, I'll do anything you tell me to do. I like people who know what's good for them." Lu Jiao wasn't in a hurry, and slowly said, "If you gave the azure falling shard to the Pure Clarity Dao, then you have to get it back." 3 question marks appeared in Yun San's head. Seeing him stunned, Ming Xinyin said, "Aren't you going?" "Simple, it's been too long since I've smelled blood." As Ming Xinyin spoke, he cracked his knuckles. Yun San trembled when he saw this. How could he dare to refuse? I'll go! In the Pure Clarity Dao, experts were as numerous as the clouds. It wouldn't be easy to retrieve this last piece of the azure falling shard. But Yun San was skilled in theft. Even if he couldn't get it by asking, he could steal it. If not for the restricting cage, Lu Jiao would have had to spend a lot of effort and thought to capture a divine thief like Yun San. Yun San said timidly, "See, senior, I'll go to the Pure Clarity Dao, so can you unseal my cultivation?" Ming Xinyin quickly said, "Master, I have something to say." Ming Xinyin thought to himself, if he didn't show off now, when would he get the chance? Lu Chujiao then replied, "Speak." Yun San was skilled in the art of thievery. If his cultivation was unsealed, it would probably not be easy to catch him again next time. A mouse like him dared to be presumptuous in front of people, so he could do anything. Ming Xinyin glanced at Yun San and continued, "But if we seal his cultivation, he won't be able to use his abilities. I suggest using a Yuan Qi imprint. Even if he runs to the ends of the earth, it'll be useless." Lu Junjiao nodded in agreement with Ming Xinyin's plan. Ming Xinyin clasped his hands at Lu Jiao and walked over to Yun San. A faint green Yuan Qi appeared, transforming into a unique imprint. Ming Xinyin approached, making Yun San panic. "You, what are you doing?" Ming Xinyin shouted. "Don't move!" Bam! Ming Xinyin struck Yun San's body with a palm. Poofed! Yun San spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. This type of imprint isn't like ordinary ones. You can't just break it by being stronger. The imprint Ming Xinyin cast was different. It went into the bones and meridians, impossible to destroy. But this special imprint had a time limit. Yu Fei was surprised that Ming Xinyin used such an imprint, meaning Yun San couldn't serve her for a while. As long as the imprint was there, Yun San was still a member of the Evil Sky Pavilion, but she had no other choice. She had to resolve the conflict with the Evil Sky Pavilion now, and she was even willing to sacrifice Yun-san if necessary. So, Yun-Fei remained cold throughout the entire process. After a while, Ming Xinyin reported, "Master, I've completed it, but this imprint will only last for 3 months." Yun-san was lying in a heap on the ground at this point. Lu Jiao stroked his beard and nodded, saying to Yun-san, "I'll give you 7 days." Yun-san was stunned and hurriedly raised his head, stammering, "No, isn't it 3 months? 7 days? Is that too short?" Ming Xiyin's face immediately darkened, and he said, "You have no right to bargain. If you don't bring back the azure glass fragment in 7 days, I'll leave the mountain and hunt you down. No matter where you run, I'll find you, dig 3 feet into the ground, flay you alive, and chop you into 8 pieces." Yun-san shut up instantly. Yun-san had never been caught by anyone before, and his failure at the hands of the Evil Sky Pavilion had severely damaged his confidence. Now, he only had one word in his heart: fear, Yun-san replied. 7 days it is. Lu Jiao waved his sleeve, and the restrictive cage transformed into specks of light that floated in the air and disappeared without a trace. Yu Fei looked up at Lu Ju's special energy and praised softly, "Senior's methods are divine. No wonder the Evil Sky Pavilion has remained unyielding in the cultivation world." Lu Ju Ziu had heard flattery countless times, so he was practically immune and didn't even flinch. With the restrictive cage gone, Yun-san was overjoyed. His yuan qi gathered in his body again. Yun-san hurriedly kowtowed, saying, Junior, we'll go to the Pure Clarity sect right away." Time was tight. He was just a divine court realm cultivator, so he had to think carefully and plan meticulously to take something from the Pure Clarity sect, or it would be impossible. Ming Xinyin waved his hand dismissively. "Get lost! Get out of here!" Yun-san leaped out of the cloud-gazing pavilion and into the forest, disappearing from sight soon after. Yu Fei Niangyang smiled faintly. "Senior, I have other matters to attend to. Please allow me to take my leave." Lu Zhao slowly stood up. "Wait." Yu Fei was startled, forcing a smile. "Does Senior have any instructions?" Lu Jiao always felt something strange about Yu Fei, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Lu Jiao raised 2 fingers, saying, "It seems you're not sincere enough." Hearing Lu Jiao say she wasn't sincere enough, Yu Fei was confused, wondering, "Sincere, what do you mean?" Lu Jiao asked, "Have you met Mo Li, second prince's consort?" "Of course, I've met her. But Mo Li has always been introverted and doesn't like socializing with others," Yu replied, seemingly realizing his intention. She quickly added, "Please rest assured, Senior. My heart only belongs to His Majesty. I would never collude with them." Lu Jiao didn't reply. He clasped his hands behind his back and looked towards the Nine Twists River, his meaning very clear. Yu Fei's sincerity wasn't enough. Just then, a voice came from the 8th floor of the cloud-gazing pavilion. "Oh my, Yu Fei's finally getting a taste of her own medicine." Lu Ju simply stood silently, while Zhao Yanher, with her big round eyes, shouted, "Jiang Aijian, your voice is so distinctive. Just opening your mouth makes me want to beat you up." Unfortunately, the people on the 9th floor couldn't see him. Jiang Aijian continued, "Senior, Yun-san is Yu Fei's man, after all. If Yu Fei wasn't backing him, how would he dare covet the celestial silkworm handcuffs? If this isn't properly punished, it might damage the Evil Sky Pavilion's reputation." Lu Zhao's expression remained calm. Ming Xinyin nodded upon hearing this. "It's rare to hear you speak like a human being for once," Ming Xinyin continued with a bright smile. "The Evil Sky Pavilion's style has always been to repay all debts, both good and bad." Hearing his words, Yu Fei immediately took a step back, her maids and soldiers blocking her. Hua Yuexing also stood beside Yu Fei, and the relaxed atmosphere suddenly became tense. Jiang Aijian continued, "Senior has seen through it all along. Are you still going to pretend?" These words left everyone confused. Lu Jiao remained stern and said nothing more. Suddenly, Yu Fei's expression turned extremely ugly, and a purple aura began to emanate from her body. A familiar red lotus appeared on her forehead, but she didn't attack. She only looked incredibly ferocious. The purple aura spread in all directions. Yu Fei Niangyan. Everyone immediately circulated their protective qi, preventing the purple aura from penetrating their bodies. Strangely, Yu Fei's maids and soldiers weren't affected. As the purple aura dissipated, the red lotus on Yu Fei's forehead also gradually disappeared, and her ferocious expression slowly faded. Hua Yuexing stared wide-eyed at the scene. Yu Fei collapsed and was caught by 2 maids. The purple aura suddenly appeared and spread everywhere. While Lu Zhao's expression remained calm, his disciples were secretly shocked and quickly covered their noses. Ming Xinyin shouted, "Be careful, it's poisonous." Then, Ming Xinyin muttered, "They thought Yu Fei was a powerful witchcraft cultivator and were about to have a big fight, but who knew the red lotus on her forehead would disappear, and she'd become listless and faint." Yu Fei didn't recover even after being supported by the 2 maids for a long time. Ming Xinyin exclaimed angrily, "Jiang Aijian, you knew all along that she was being controlled." Jiang Aijian replied, "That's right. I usually keep a low profile, fearing that person might recognize me through Yu Fei's eyes." Jiang Aijian tossed his hair and added, "After all, someone like me is too outstanding and easily recognized." He didn't directly reveal his identity as the 3rd prince. The maids, soldiers, and Hua Yuexing didn't recognize Jiang Aijian and only looked at him blankly, thinking that this newcomer must be one of the Evil Sky Pavilion's devils. Otherwise, how could he be so shameless? Jiang Aijian approached Lu Jiao and smiled brightly. "Hello, Senior?" Hua Yuexing asked, startled. "You're saying Yu Fei Niangyang is being controlled?" "Duh." Jiang Aijian glared at her. "Yu Fei isn't a cultivator. Just an ordinary person. She can move freely in the palace and serve the most powerful man in the world. If I were Mo Li, I wouldn't pass up such a good target. Hua Yuexing staggered back, hurriedly touching her face and hair, fearing that she might also be controlled. Help me see if there are any flowers on my head. I don't want to be controlled, Ming Yin continued. If she's controlling Yu Fei, why not use her to ambush us? After all, she's just a puppet. Jiang Aijian raised 2 fingers. 1. Mu Li must be seriously injured. 2. The power of witchcraft through a controlled person is only 60%. Facing a powerhouse like Senior, she can only choose to avoid it. That's why she used Yu Fei to seek peace, also to buy time to heal. In that sense, Yu Fei is a victim. Mo Li has such a wicked mind. It's a waste not to join the evil sky pavilion. Swish! Everyone's eyes focused on Jiang Aijian at the same time. Such intense killing intent, Jiang Aijian quickly said. What I meant was, her wickedness is ultimately just a small path. The great path is demonic, so it's acceptable. Although the evil sky pavilion is demonic, we also despise disgusting things like harming people. Jiang Aijian glanced at the unconscious Yu Fei and said, What are you all standing around for? Hurry up and carry your imperial concubine Yu Fei back. The 2 maids quickly helped Yu Fei up and hurried downstairs. Lu Jiao didn't stop them, but slowly sat down, watching the maids take Yu Fei away. Hua Yuexing was about to turn around and leave, but Jiang Aijian said, You can't leave. Hua Yuexing was startled and didn't know what to say. Jiang Aijian asked her, What about me? You planning on going back to settle accounts with Mo Lai and throwing yourself into the tiger's mouth? Hua Yuexing was stunned. Lu Jiao stared intently at Jiang Aijian like he was looking at prey, and slowly opened his mouth. Lu Chen. Jiang Aijian trembled all over. Lu Jiao calling him by his real name really scared the crap out of him. Jiang Aijian didn't like showing off. Sometimes he only did it when he had no other choice, including this time. As soon as he finished showing off, Jiang Aijian immediately regretted it. This darn mouth of his is just too natural. Why did he have to show off? This wasn't his style. The great devil's eyes were as sharp as torches. Obviously saw through Mo Lai's trick. Even if he didn't interfere, things would have developed to this point. What's more, the person he was facing was the current #1 great devil under heaven, plus 3 little devils. Any one of them could kill him with a single move. Hey, Jiang Aijian walked up to Lu Jiao, bowed slightly, and shamelessly said, Old Senior, my name is Jiang Aijian. The world is my home. You're really calculating. Everything is going according to your wishes, huh? Lu Jiao sat by the window of Yunquei Tower, his eyes still fixed on him. Yeah. Jiang Aijian replied, Old Senior, we're in a cooperative relationship, you see. Isn't the result good for both of us now? Lu Jiao pulled out a bag of snacks, ate them, and said, I'm afraid it's not enough. When Lu Jiao returned to Yunquei Tower, he calculated a bit about capturing Yun San. He had used up 3 binding cages. Although this was just some old junk, the price of these prop cards had gone up now. Yun San only had a divine court realm cultivation base. Capturing him wouldn't get him any merit points. With merit points getting harder and harder to earn these days, he was severely anemic. Jiang Aijian forced a smile. This really can't be blamed on me. If you want to blame someone, blame your 7th disciple, Si Wuyai. The recent events were all led by him. Lu Jiao replied, This old man only knows that you're the one who asked me to come here. Jiang Aijian was confused. He thought to himself, All right, I've been tricked again. Jiang Aijian glanced at the frightened Hua Yuexing, suddenly thought of something, and suggested, Now I have something that can help Old Senior feel better, Lu Jiao urged. Speak. Jiang Aijian stood up and walked to Hua Yuexing's side. Hua Yuexing, I originally planned to take you out of the palace and then give you your freedom, but now I'll give you a bright path. Hearing this, Hua Yuexing was startled again. Jiang Aijian excitedly said, Join the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Become Ming Yin's junior. Duan Musheng and Xiao Yanher frowned, immediately showing their contempt. Ming Yin said, It's not that I look down on her, but with her little talent, she can only do odd jobs in the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Even Zhu Jifeng is stronger than her. Being spoken to like that, Hua Yuexing couldn't help but feel angry. From a young age, she cultivated in the Luo sect. Didn't like swordsmanship, saber techniques, or boxing, but only had eyes for archery. Once she started learning archery, there was no turning back, and she became the divine archer of the Luo sect. After leaving the Luo sect and joining the royal family, she gradually gained some fame, becoming one of the 3 great divine archers of the divine capital. It's just that she was young and didn't have much experience in battle, so she was ranked 3rd. Hua Yuexing clenched her fists and said, Do odd jobs, I'm not convinced. Hearing Hua Yuexing say she wasn't convinced, Ming Yin's eyes went wide, and he said, You're not convinced, so what? Want to spar with me? Come here, I don't discriminate between men and women, don't blame me if I make you cry. Ming Yin slightly raised his hand. The separation hook already appeared in his palm. Seeing the heavenly grade weapon appear, Hua Yuexing quickly retreated. She was embarrassed and scared. Once bitten, twice shy, she had already learned Ming Yin's methods just now. Jiang Aijian laughed loudly. Don't underestimate her, everyone. Hua Yuexing's talent in archery is very high, it's just that people don't know it yet. He turned his head, patted Hua Yuexing on the shoulder, and said, If you want to join the Demon Heaven Pavilion, you have to show them your real talent. Hua Yuexing bluntly refused. I won't join the Demon Heaven Pavilion, Jiang Aijian frowned. Why, Hua Yuexing replied, I'd rather go back to the palace and be punished than join the demonic path. Jiang Aijian sighed, shook his head, and suddenly spoke with a teaching tone like an older brother. Believe me, the right and wrong in the palace are much more complicated than outside. especially since Yufei's witchcraft has been solved, and Mo Li is an extremely dangerous person. Are you planning to return to the Luo sect? Hua Yuexing looked at Jiang Aijian with a complex expression. She always felt that he knew everything. Who exactly are you? Who I am doesn't matter. Jiang Aijian took a step, but was kicked by Ming Shiyin after only a few steps. Ming Shiyin glared annoyed. Stop being so disgusting, aren't you just a prince? Hurry up and get to the point, stop messing around. Hearing the word prince, Hua Yuexing was extremely surprised. Jiang Aijian rubbed his butt because it hurt, and said, even so, he's still a prince? Give him some face? Okay, I'll solve it right away, you're a prince. Hua Yuexing stared wide-eyed. Be humble, be humble. Jiang Aijian pulled her aside, whispered a few words into her ear. Like this, understand? That's how it is. Perhaps because Hua Yuexing wasn't old, she nodded after listening, and walked towards Lu Zhao. Hua Yuexing respectfully said, Junior Hua Yuexing is willing to join the Demon Heaven Pavilion, and asks old senior to accept me. Lu Zhao looked at Hua Yuexing, then stood up. You don't have the qualifications yet. Hua Yuexing was speechless after hearing Lu Zhao's reply. Her right hand mobilized her astral energy, and her left hand gently lifted up. A ray of astral energy turned into a bow and arrow in her palm. An arrow of astral energy appeared between her fingers. Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Xiao Yaner were secretly surprised when they saw this. Without weapons, only using bare hands to condense energy into form, it was the first time they had seen this scene. Whoosh! The bow pointed towards a bird flying far away in the sky outside Yunquei Tower. Whoosh! The arrow tore through the sky, accurately hitting the bird, and then fell into the forest. Lu Zhu munched on his snack while glancing at her, then softly said, Too weak. Hua Yuexing wasn't convinced. She bowed slightly and said, Please allow this junior to borrow a weapon for a moment. Without a weapon, condensing Qi into form is still a bit weaker in terms of power. Lu Zhao casually waved his hand, and the Emerald Fall bow appeared on the stone table. Hua Yuexing picked up the Emerald Fall bow, then walked to the Cloud Sparrow Pavilion's railing, searching for a target. This time, she switched to holding the bow with her right hand, her gaze even more determined than before, condensing Qi into form. Many sharp, exquisite golden Qi-formed arrows appeared on the Emerald Fall bow. Jiang Aijian saw this and grinned from ear to ear, mumbling. When Hua Yuexing holds the bow and arrow, her gaze is firm, her aura is relaxed, the confidence is back, the Qi is sharper, smaller, and clearer on the Emerald Fall bow. Hua Yuexing adjusted her breathing. A divine archer not only needs accurate shooting skills, but also excellent eyesight, where everything the eyes can see turns into a bullseye. Her arm relaxed slightly. Whoosh! The first arrow flew towards the forest. The sonic boom created by the arrow was enormous, causing dozens of birds in the forest to fly into the air. This time, when Hua Yuexing drew the bow, dozens of Qi arrows shot out, accurately taking the lives of each of the scattered birds. Roar! At Cloud Sparrow Pavilion, Jiang Aijian couldn't help but applaud. Clap, clap, clap. Well shot. A dozen arrows hitting at once. Great, awesome shooting. Cloud Sparrow Pavilion was too quiet. So quiet that only his clapping could be heard. How embarrassing. Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Xiao Yanher all stared at him like he was an idiot. Jiang Aijian defended himself. Say something fair, guys. That shot was really good. Lu Zhao shook his head slightly. True archery requires countless trials. Your talent isn't bad, but your sharpness isn't enough. You're far from qualified to join the Evil Sky Pavilion. After saying that, Lu Zhao gently waved his hand, and the Emerald Fall bow was taken aback. Jiang Aijian's expression changed. When he heard Lu Zhao's words, he nodded, agreeing with Lu Zhao's reasoning. Lu Zhao turned to Jiang Aijian and said, Because you retrieved a piece of the Emerald Fall fragment, this old man won't hold it against you. At the same time, the White Z mount arrived. Stepping on clouds, Lu Zhu lightly jumped onto the White Z's back. Xiao Yanher understood and ran over, jumping onto White Z, hugging its long horn. The others, voices were heard saying, Bow and arrow, old senior, Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng helplessly shook their heads. Looking at this, it seems we have to fly ourselves again, my heart aches. White Zine stepped into the air and flew towards Anyang City. Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng watched, preparing to follow. Hua Yuexing was stunned for a moment, not knowing what to do. Jiang Aijian pulled her back and urged, Hurry up and follow! You have nowhere else to go! Remember what I said. The palace won't take you in, the Ludo sect won't tolerate you, and the righteous sects of the world won't accept you either. Only the Evil Sky Pavilion will do. Yes. Hua Yuexing prepared to step into the air and follow. She was originally an archer, so in terms of speed she wasn't inferior to anyone, perhaps because she was eager to prove herself. Hua Yuexing rushed to follow, a little hastily. Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng turned their heads to look at her, and said, Our master said you're not qualified to join the Evil Sky Pavilion yet. Hua Yuexing stubbornly replied, I want to prove that I am qualified. Ming Shiyin threatened, Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? Hua Yuexing was startled, and then didn't dare to get too close anymore, only followed from a distance. Whoosh! Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng flew to catch up with their master. At the same time, White Z's speed was extremely fast, instantly leaving Ming Shiyin and the others far behind. Seeing Hua Yuexing standing there, the young Jiang Aijian frowned in confusion. What the heck, I told you to follow, why are you still standing there? At the same time, White Z flew like the wind, Lu Zhao stood on White Zi's back, observing the land. Xiao Yanhair pointed to a flying chariot approaching in the air above the forest across the Nine-Bend River. Lu Zhao controlled White Zi to slow down. Xiao Yanhair recognized that this was the flying chariot that had just given gifts to the disciples at Cloud Sparrow Pavilion, so this must be Si Wuyai's chariot. Xiao Yanhair curiously said, "Could seventh senior brother be inside?" Lu Ziyu Zhao recalled everything that had happened in the past 2 days, and sternly shouted, "Ungrateful wretch!" White Zine changed direction, flying towards the Nine-Bend River. With the acceleration of auspicious qi, White Zine dashed forward like a lightning bolt. Ming Shiyin and Duanmu Sheng stopped from afar, standing and watching. So did Hua Yuexing. White Zine's presence was too eye-catching when it appeared. Before they could even get close, the cultivators on the flying chariot were so frightened that they wanted to flee. "Oh no! The old senior has discovered us. Run!" The flying chariot hurriedly turned around to escape, but Lu Zhao said softly, "Want to run?" He flipped his hand and threw out a lightning gang card, then provided the target, which was the flying chariot. A ring of lightning appeared, sweeping towards the flying chariot. In the previously clear sky, a thunderbolt suddenly descended with a loud crack. The gang chi enveloped the lightning, hitting the flying chariot hard. The flying chariot stopped moving, its entire body making creaking sounds, creaking, swaying as if it was about to explode. The flying chariot was torn into pieces, turning into scattered fragments falling to the ground. Seeing this scene, Hua Yuexing stood frozen in place. When Lu Zhao took action to capture the thief Saint Yun's son, Hua Yuexing was inexperienced and didn't understand the methods involved, and she didn't see with her own eyes whether the binding cage captured Yun's son or not. But the scene of the lightning gang descending, terrifying like a thunderbolt from the heavens, and from so far away, compared to such methods, her few feather arrows just now were nothing more than child's play. Ming Xinyin exclaimed with wide eyes, "Master is unstoppable when he's angry. Seventh junior brother is going to suffer this time." Duanmu Sheng folded his arms and said, "If seventh junior brother is really in the flying chariot, then he probably can't escape. With White Zine there, even if Si Wuyai grows wings, it'll be hard for him to escape. In this situation, Si Wuyai's ability to perform is even worse than Yun San's." Ming Shiyin seemed excited as if he was watching a show. "Old Seven is finished this time." Daring to secretly observe Cloud Sparrow Pavilion from here, White Zine flew away. The cultivators on the flying chariot jumped out. When the flying chariot was destroyed, low-level cultivators could only activate their body-protecting gang chi and fall to the ground. Cultivators from the astral ocean realm and above could fly and slowly descend. "Ungrateful wretch, get out here now." Lu Zhu's voice echoed in the air. This time, he didn't earn merit points at Cloud Sparrow Pavilion. But if he can catch Old Seven and bring him back, then it's not a loss. But the cultivators were so frightened that their bodies trembled, fleeing in all directions. The sect master repeatedly instructed, must stay far away from Ji Tiandao, and must never have any intention of resistance. This has almost become an iron rule of the dark web. Right now, the only thought in their heads was to escape, to run for their lives. No one answered Lu Zhu. Lu Zhao's gaze swept over the cultivators, but there wasn't a single divine court realm cultivator, Old Seven Si Wuyai. Since obtaining the peacock plume and a complete cultivation method, his cultivation has long since entered the nascent soul realm. If he was just a divine court realm cultivator, how could he sit firmly in the position of sect master, which also meant that Si Wuyai wasn't among them? Lu Zhao called out, "Yan'er!" Xiao Yan'er's face turned a delightful shade of black as she replied, "Yes." Xiao Yan'er had been itching for a fight. At this moment, the cultivators were scrambling to escape. "Hold on, you're blocking me, I can't get out, let me out first. I'm trying to get out, quit shoving. My head's out first." As soon as the cultivators peeked their heads out, Xiao Yan'er was waiting for them. The cultivators nearby gasped when they saw the Fan Tianling. One of them couldn't stop exclaiming, "That's a heaven-tier weapon. The view of this divine weapon from this angle is just magnificent. I have no regrets, even if I die now." Xiao Yan'er's face darkened as she threatened him. "Keep staring, and I'll beat you to death." Then, she plunged into the group of cultivators like a wolf among sheep. The cultivators, getting absolutely wrecked by Xiao Yan'er, started screaming, "Help! Save us! I'm not looking, please don't blind me." "Mercy, Grandma! Who are you calling Grandma?" A moment later, Ming Xinyin and Duanmu Sheng flew over, and, seeing the scene, Ming Xinyin couldn't help but sigh. Little junior sister couldn't hold back any longer. The scene before his eyes was utterly horrifying. Ming Xinyin took a deep breath and muttered to himself, "Third senior brother, do you think little junior sister will abuse us in the future?" Duanmu Sheng, recalling the moment Xiao Yan'er received the Fan Tianling, scratched his head and said, "Probably not. Little junior sister is all grown up now. Let's hope so." The scene before them was a chaotic mess. Xiao Yan'er was stirring things up like a mud skipper. Smoke and fire filled the sky, and the Fan Tianling was dancing and sweeping across the area. Those cultivators who couldn't escape in time were all captured by the Fan Tianling, and those who dared to resist were decisively knocked unconscious by Xiao Yan'er. The terrifying power of a heaven-tier weapon was on full display. Xiao Yan'er was really enjoying this feeling of bullying the weak. Having gotten permission from her master, she played to her heart's content, but she was careful not to kill anyone. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded in satisfaction. A young one is easy to teach. If it had been the Xiao Yan'er of the past, these people would probably be dead. Most of the cultivators had been captured by Xiao Yan'er, curled up in a pile, with the Fan Tianling surrounding them, rendering them unable to move. Lu Zhao slowly descended and gently patted Baizi's head. Baizi grumbled softly, and obediently sat and waited. Xiao Yan'er asked Lu Zhao, "Master, Should I beat them up a little to loosen their tongues? I bet I can find out where 7th senior brother is hiding. Lu Zhao waved his hand slightly, signaling her to step back. Xiao Yanhe retreated to the side. Yes, disciple will step back right away. Lu Zhao, with his hands behind his back, said, I will only ask each question once. If there is even one wrong answer, bear the consequences yourself. The cultivators trembled all over. They were facing the #1 devil in the world, and he was also the sect leader's master. The sect leader had instructed them to cooperate obediently, and not to harbor any resistance. Where is Si Wuyai? Old senior, we are just subordinates following orders. The sect leader is always a mysterious figure, appearing and disappearing without a trace. We really don't know. Lu Zhao continued to ask, why are you hiding here? The sect leader ordered us to stay and observe the situation after delivering the gifts to Zhu Xiansheng. Lu Zhao stroked his beard in thought. The matter of Yun San was orchestrated by Si Wuyai. What was his true purpose? Why would he do such a thing? Ming Shiyin bowed and said, Master, 7th is really going too far this time, daring to scheme behind the scenes and use the evil sky pavilion. Disciple is willing to stay and hunt down 7th. Vowing to capture him, Lu Zhao calmly replied, I'm afraid you are not 7th's match. Not only are you inferior in cultivation, but even in scheming, Ming Shiyin is not as good as Si Wuyai. Ming Shiyin was ultimately just a clever person, but he didn't have many cunning plans, Ming Shiyin retorted, unconvinced. We'll see who's stronger. He shook his head abruptly. A hand patted Ming Shiyin on the shoulder. The owner of the hand was none other than his 3rd senior brother, Duan Musheng, who nodded in agreement. 4th junior brother is different now, huh? Recently, when sparring with junior brother, I always felt that junior brother can take a beating much better than before. Ming Shiyin was left speechless by this comment. Ming Shiyin turned his head to glare at Duan Musheng. There's something wrong with what senior brother said. Lu Zhao ignored the two of them and said to the dark web disciples, go back and tell your sect leader, if he knows he is wrong, he should come and explain himself. With that, Lu Zhao turned and walked towards Bai Zhe. Ming Shiyin felt strange and bowed to ask, Master, is that all we're doing? Do you have a better plan? Ming Shiyin offered his suggestion. Disciple feels that we should tie them all up and take them to Jinting Mountain, killing one person every day. If 7th values love and justice, he might show up. Lu Zhao did not respond to him. If things were that simple, he would have been able to teach all these disobedient disciples a lesson long ago, without having to drag things out until now. The dark web disciples, hearing this, cried out in fear and begged for mercy, making Ming Shiyin's ears ring. He was extremely annoyed. Spare us! We are just people who take money to do things. We haven't even seen the sect leader's face. Please, old senior, spare us! Duan Musheng asked suspiciously. Take money to do things. Ming Xinyin nodded and said, the real dark web isn't the gang members, but people who work ordinary jobs scattered throughout the various sects. They could be fishermen, cooks, or even high-ranking officials in the court. Since its establishment, the dark web has offended countless people. How could they gather all the gang members together and let people wipe them out in one fell swoop? Xiao Yanhe, hearing these words,